In this world, everyone can summon a soul general to fight for them. But he was born with defective soul meridians. Not only could he not summon a soul general, but even when using a mech, he could only last for 3 seconds. Just like that, he became a piece of trash despised by everyone. But then, an accident occurred. It enabled him to not only copy anyone's soul general at will, but also guided him out of danger at fatal moments. Relying on these prompts, he repeatedly escaped the clutches of monsters. Yet the monsters seemed endless. There was simply no end to the killing. In the end, he was the only star soul master left on the entire continent. Alone, he guarded the last gasps of humanity. Looking at the monsters constantly surging from the rift, he knew that today, his luck might finally run out. At that moment, the system's prompt rang out again, warning him to leave the combat zone within 5 seconds, or face certain death. Looking at the humans still boarding the ships behind him, he knew he had no path for retreat. With a thunderous roar, he began to mobilize every drop of soul power in his body, even if it meant burning his very life. He had to leave a seed of hope for humanity. As the aura around him surged uncontrollably, a massive shockwave swept through the surroundings. Countless monsters were instantly crushed into powder. But as everything returned to silence, in his hazy consciousness, he seemed to hear someone calling his name, Song Yanxiang. But when he opened his eyes, he was startled by the sight before him. He had actually returned to the age of 18. Right now, he was inside the Tiandu Nation's Mech Martial Academy. Turning back to look at the calendar on the desk, memories from 60 years ago flooded his mind. Back then, because of his defective soul meridians, he was shunned by his entire family. To protect him, the clan leader sent him to the Tiandu Nation's Mech Martial Academy. But at that time, he did not understand the clan leader's intentions at all. Relying on his status as the young lord, he lived a reckless and decadent life, acting like a lost cause. As a result, not long after, the Mech Martial Academy was destroyed in a beast tide. Even his entire family perished in battle. Seeing his family, classmates, and teachers all fighting to the death to defend Tiandu Nation, he was filled with endless regret. He hated his own cynical attitude. He hated his own powerlessness. Eventually, surviving by the skin of his teeth, he began to travel between different continents, searching for a way to fix his soul meridians. Thinking of this now, he immediately ordered the system to perform a self-scan. Only then did he realize that all the soul generals he accumulated in his previous life had vanished. This meant everything had to start from scratch. However, he did not panic in the slightest, because this time, he possessed 60 years of knowledge and experience. He would surely rewrite all his regrets. Seeing that the beast tide would arrive very soon, he knew he had to solve the defective soul meridian problem first. Otherwise, he would not be able to face the impending beast tide. Moreover, in his previous life, he solved the meridian issue too late, which caused him to get stuck at the St. Grade, unable to break through. He immediately headed to the largest pharmacy on the eastern continent, preparing to personally refine the pill to heal his soul meridians. For in his past life, he not only mastered the mechs of the eastern continent, but also the arrays of the northern continent, as well as the alchemy of the southern continent. After successfully pre-ordering his materials, he decided to go to the academy first, to set up an array, preparing to deal with the beast tide arriving in a few days. In his previous life, he was powerless against the beast tide. This time, he is going to rewrite it all. But just then, he suddenly spotted the statue of Zuo Si in the courtyard. This statue of Zuo Si was anything but simple. It was left behind by the academy's first principal. Inside it contained Zuo Si's soul jade. As long as one gains the recognition of the soul jade, they can summon Zuo Si to fight for them. In his previous life, he had fled to this statue like a stray dog. He begged to obtain Zuo Si's power, yet there was no response at all. This time, things are different. He directly summoned the system to scan the statue. After successfully locating the soul jade, he decided to take advantage of the coming beast tide to seize the soul jade in one fell swoop. Suddenly, the system notification rang out. It turns out his materials have arrived. Yes, his materials are finally here. So he packed his things and headed straight for the pharmacy. But while walking, he suddenly noticed something was off. The person who just passed by him seemed suspicious. He immediately ordered the system to perform a scan. He discovered their soul power was concentrated in the chest. That is the unique cultivation method of the Milan Nation. The Milan Nation, his own Tiandu Nation, and the Yishui Nation are known as the 3 strongest nations of the Eastern Continent. In the memories of his past life, the fuse that led to the Eastern Continent's destruction was ignited by the Milan Nation. He immediately guessed there must be some unspeakable secret hidden here. Inside the pharmacy, the attendant was enthusiastically greeting Song Yanxiang, but the moment he spoke, the attendant was stunned. He actually claimed he had no money. Breaking into a cold sweat, the attendant said, "This shop does not offer credit." But when he saw the pill Song Yanxiang pulled out, He was instantly dumbfounded, because there were not only level 3 soul renewal pills, but also level 4 and level 5 ones. There were even pills that he could not even recognize. She quickly said she had to consult the manager. Song Yunshiang said that would not be a problem, but he needed to borrow the alchemy room for a bit. However, Song Yunshiang was speechless once he entered the room. This alchemy furnace was completely unusable, but on second thought, it dawned on him. After all, no one in the Eastern continent knows alchemy. Everyone here focuses on soul general cultivation, and pills are all shipped from the southern continent. The prices are sky high, enough to cost an arm and a leg, but he did not panic at all, because in his past life, he had learned the void refining art. Even without a furnace, he could still refine pills. The next second, he unleashed his charms and began the refinement. Meanwhile, back with the manager. He was so shocked by the pills he was left speechless, because among them was a rank 5 pill, the blood-burning pill. Then he suddenly stood up, and immediately went to find Song Yunshiang. Over there, Song Yunshiang was gradually finishing his work, looking at the rank 6 recreation pill in his hand. He knew his soul meridian could finally be repaired. When Song Yunshiang pushed the door open, he found the manager and attendant had been waiting for a long time. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, the manager began to ask about the blood-burning pill's origin. Song Yunshiang knew he was probing into his background, so he did not hesitate to give the name of the marquisate. He knew that if he wanted to keep cultivating, he would definitely need a lot of wealth. These people should be from the Han Clan Merchant Guild. They control 70% of the Tiandu nation's herb business. Building a good relationship with them would be beneficial. Seeing his generous display, and knowing he was from the Jiwan marquisate of the 8 generals, the manager also desired to befriend him. After bidding farewell to the manager, Song Yunshiang walked towards the mech martial academy, but just as he brushed past a certain woman, as he was walking past that woman, he was suddenly startled. Long-buried memories were suddenly unlocked. Without hesitation, he turned around and grabbed the girl's arm. He grabbed the girl tightly, but right at that moment, the system's alert sounded. Star Soul General Holder detected. Initiating Soul General Replication. The system says, initiating Soul General Replication. System scan complete. It turns out this girl was his lover in his past life. They had met and bonded during a fateful assassination mission. Even his Liu Biu soul general from his previous life was replicated from her. But just as he was overwhelmed with grief, he suddenly spotted a group of men in black pursuing Asan. He immediately moved to intercept them. The man he bumped into scrambled up and began swearing at him. However, his companion quickly told him to stay focused and not look for trouble. Seeing they were about to continue their pursuit of Asan, Song Yunshiang stood up and confronted them. You think you can just hit someone and walk away like that? This line left the men completely bewildered. The leader started hurling insults, but before he could finish his sentence, Song Yunshiang claimed to be from the Tiandu's secret investigation department. He even flashed half of his student ID as proof. The men exchanged looks upon seeing the badge. They quickly saluted, claiming they were on the same side, but the sharp Song Yunshiang had already sensed something was off. One look at their cultivation style revealed they were from Milan Nation. Yet, Song Yunshiang did not expose them immediately. He wanted to see what kind of game they were playing. The men in black then invited Song Yunshiang to join their operation. In reality, they planned to take him to a secluded spot and finish him off. Meanwhile, Song Yunshiang was looking for a way to give Asan a hand. So, with both sides hiding their true motives, they continued the chase. A short while later, the group arrived at the outskirts of the city. When Song Yunshiang focused his gaze, Asan was already surrounded by the men in black. With nowhere to run, Asan began to summon her soul general. With a thunderous boom, the massive Liu Biu manifested before everyone's eyes. But facing Asan's overwhelming power, the men in black showed no fear at all, because they had already set up an ambush with countless mechs. The man standing next to Song Yunshiang finally dropped his act. He pulled out a blade and lunged straight for him, but Song Yunshiang was one step ahead. After dodging the initial strike, he countered by driving a blade right through the man's throat. Seeing this, the leader immediately ordered his subordinates to attack. But how could these small fries ever hope to challenge Song Yunshiang? In less than 3 seconds, Song Yunshiang had them all face down on the ground. However, Asan's situation was growing even more dire. Not only was she bound by countless chains, but she could not even manage to release her soul armor. It turns out this was a specialized array set up by the enemy, designed specifically for capturing soul generals. They had been coveting Asan's Liu Biu for a long time. At the critical moment, a fierce strike sliced through the chains binding Asan. When Asan looked back, A crimson Lu Biyu was standing tall and silent behind her. Why did you infiltrate Tiandu City? But the leader had already lost his mind to madness. He had no intention of answering the question. He began burning his remaining soul power, preparing to self-destruct. But for the reincarnated Song Yunxiang, he was all too familiar with such desperate tactics. With a single hand, he directly interrupted the self-destruction process. This move left Asan's jaw on the floor in shock. Looking at the defeated leader on the ground, Song Yunxiang knew he would not get any more answers here. So he decided to let Asan take him back to Taiyuan for interrogation. Asan was startled upon hearing this. She could not believe this stranger knew about Taiyuan. Facing Asan's questioning gaze, Song Yunxiang did not offer much of an explanation. He simply said he was not an enemy. In the next second, Song Yunxiang produced a candied hawthorn stick seemingly out of thin air. He handed it over to Asan. Asan was now more confused than ever. How could Song Yunxiang possibly know this was her favorite treat? But just as they shared this intimate moment, the entire sky suddenly plunged into darkness. Looking at the rift tearing through the heavens, Song Yunxiang felt a surge of panic. The beast tide had appeared ahead of schedule. At this moment, Asan had an expression that said, "Just as I thought." It was as if she knew something all along. Song Yunxiang hurriedly pressed her for answers. It turns out this was all a conspiracy by the Milan nation. They have already mastered the method to artificially trigger rifts. The rift appearing now was induced by the people of Milan. Hearing this, Song Yunxiang finally understood everything. He realized why those men in black wanted to infiltrate Tiandu nation. After a brief farewell to Asan, he prepared to return to the academy to fight the beast tide. As he turned to leave, he began to consult the system. He asked if he could use Lu Bu's Star Soul Steed. When the system stated it required triple the soul power, Song Yunxiang did not hesitate for a single second. He immediately started popping pills like a madman. This reckless consumption left Asan behind him completely stunned. Song Yunxiang downed 3 pills worth 50,000 each in one go. But the real shock was yet to come. An incredibly massive Star Soul Steed appeared on the spot. Asan was dazed. A Star Soul Steed that only those at the Heaven tier could summon was actually summoned by someone at the peak of the Yellow tier. Under her shocked gaze, Song Yunxiang charged toward Tiandu City. Under her shocked gaze, Song Yunxiang charged toward Tiandu City. Shuchang manhwa. While speeding along, Song Yunxiang made a silent vow. This time, he would definitely make up for every single regret from his past life. One look at their gear, and it was obvious these guys were up to no good. To help his girlfriend escape the danger successfully, Song Yunxiang directly stuck out his leg and tripped one of them. Unexpectedly, the opponent revealed a badge from the Secret Investigation Department. He claimed that Asan was a fugitive on the run. Song Yunxiang saw this and thought, now this I am familiar with. In his previous life, he was also a member of the Secret Investigation Department. Seeing one of their own, the man in black hurriedly cupped his hands in a respectful salute. After a brief exchange, he learned that an ambush had been set up ahead. They were just waiting for Asan to walk right into the trap. To ensure his future girlfriend's safety, Song Yunxiang quickly followed the man in black. Halfway there, he noticed this person's soul power was concentrated in the middle dantian. That happens to be a unique trait of the Milan people. And yet here they are, operating in this place. Could it be that the Academy's destruction by the beast tide in his past life, and the mysterious disappearance of Zuo-Si's soul, Jade, were all related to them? By now, Asan had already fled into the dense forest outside the city. Little did she know, someone had been waiting for her here for quite some time. As the old man gave the order, a level 5 barrier formation immediately materialized in the air. Simultaneously, the forest was swarming with men in black. 4 standard-issue city guard mechs loomed overhead like predators. One mech lost its patience and delivered a heavy slash. Asan quickly leapt into the air to dodge. She then formed a hand seal to begin her mech manifestation. As a beam of blue light descended from the sky, Asan slowly merged into the Lu Bu mech. In the next second, Soul General Lu Bu's complete form appeared in midair. Under the overwhelming power of the sky halberd, those standard mechs were nothing more than piles of scrap metal. They were effortlessly wiped out in an instant. Even though Lu Bu possessed the courage to hold the pass against 10,000, 2 hands are still no match for a crowd. As more and more standard mechs arrived, the Lu Bu mech gradually began to lose ground. Seeing that the time was ripe, the old man ordered the activation of the 4-star soul locking array. The old man ordered the activation of the 4-star soul locking array. In the next second, multiple magic circles suddenly appeared around Lu Bu. Before she could figure out what was happening, chains shot out from within the circles. In an instant, they bound Lu Bu, rendering him unable to move. In an instant, they bound Lu Bu, rendering him unable to move. In an instant, they bound Lu Bu, rendering him unable to move. Their true goal was not Asan herself, but to seize her soul general, Lu Bu. Just as they were about to succeed, another sky halberd was suddenly hurled over at high speed. Even the operator inside ended up biting the dust. The real Lu Bu was currently beyond bewildered. He did not recall having a twin brother. The replica mech signaled that they were not enemies. I will explain everything to you later. As the two Lu Bu mechs fought side by side, they quickly slaughtered a massive number of enemies. Meanwhile, every single attack from the replica Lu Bu, he can accurately kill the controllers inside. This scene makes Asan break into a cold sweat. He clearly only has a yellow rank cultivation. Yet his control over soul force is like that of a decades-long veteran. It is as if he is the truly peerless and valiant Lu Bu. At this moment, only one mass-produced mech remains on the battlefield. The old man is already scared witless, unable to believe that two identical Lu Bu soul generals could appear. So he charges forward bravely, wielding two large blades. However, halfway there, Lu Bu severs both of its arms. It crashes headfirst into the dense forest. The two Lu Bus then begin to interrogate the old man. Why did you disguise yourselves as members of the secret investigation department to infiltrate the Tiandu nation? What kind of conspiracy does your Milan nation have? Seeing his identity exposed, the old man stops pretending. He immediately bursts into a frenzied laughter. Go to hell, everyone. Long live the general. He then directly initiates the self-destruct sequence. Playing the self-destruct card with me. That is like trying to teach a fish how to swim. Lu Bu simply waves his massive hand. By emitting a matching frequency of soul force resonance, the self-destruction is suppressed. Then, a single punch blows the enemy mech to pieces. The old man falls from the sky and lands headfirst in the dirt. Song Yanxiang grabs the old man by the jaw. The second molar on the left hides a lethal poison for suicide. If I am not mistaken, you are one of Night Fiend's subordinates, right? Upon hearing that name, both Asan and the old man are utterly shocked. Rumor has it that Night Fiend commands over 300,000 Tehi remnants. They joined Milan Nation as mercenaries. He is also the host of the Star Soul General, Gan Zhang. On the battlefield, he is an existence that strikes terror into everyone's hearts. In his previous life, Song Yanxiang had also fought him. Due to his defective soul meridian, he ended up in defeat every time. Recalling these past events, the scar on his right eye throbs with a faint pain. Hearing this, Asan suddenly draws her blade and strikes again. She does not believe an ordinary person would know so many insider secrets. Song Yanxiang simply catches Asan's hand gently. Relax, I am not your enemy, and certainly not an enemy of Taiyuan. Don't worry, I am not your foe, let alone Taiyuan's. In a sense, in a way, my goal is the same as yours. At that moment, the sky suddenly darkens and lightning strikes repeatedly. A rift even appears in the sky. Cracks are forming in the heavens. The beast tide is appearing even earlier than in my past life's memories. Meanwhile, the previously quiet old man begins to laugh hideously. The old man beside them starts laughing manically. He says grimly, it seems the comrades of the first squad have succeeded, and they even plan to use it for military purposes. So all of this was Milan Nation's doing. That explains everything. Then Song Yanxiang angrily chokes the old man. You scum, you actually dared to extend your demonic claws toward humanity. You deserve to die. Just as the old man is about to be finished off, Asan hastily speaks up to stop him. Keep him alive. He will be more valuable that way. Only then did the old man manage to keep his life. Then Song Yanxiang summons the Crimson Flame Dragon Steed, bypassing level restrictions. This makes Asan's eyes go as wide as saucers. This is a skill that only heaven rank experts can use. With a roar from the Dragon Steed, Lu Bu launches forward like a guided missile. At this point, Song Yanxiang finally understands everything. Milan Nation triggered the spatial rift at all costs, with the objective of seizing Zuoxi's soul jade. In this life, I absolutely cannot let them have their way. Meanwhile, the Mech Martial Academy is in a state of total chaos. Even instructors with Earth rank cultivation are heavily wounded. The remaining city guard fights back desperately, but their attacks land on the monsters like a mere itch. In return, a monster effortlessly snatches one of them up. Then it bites off an arm in one go. Facing the overwhelming tide of powerful monsters, the city guard can only pray for reinforcements to arrive quickly. Just as they think they are about to perish here, a blue light pierces through a monster's body, like a dawn's first light piercing the darkness. As the smoke clears, the sky halberd stands upright in the center of the battlefield, emanating a chilling and formidable aura. From the smoke behind it, a figure slowly approaches. With a broad wave of Lu Bu's hand, the sky halberd immediately began to resonate. Amidst a series of intense hums and vibrations, it transformed into energy particles. Then it materialized directly into Lu Bu's hands. With a strike of the falling moon, it heralded the domineering arrival of the god of war, Lu Bu. The monsters could not stand anyone acting more main character than them. Roaring, they lunged forward. From this moment on, I alone shall dominate this battlefield. Where is my Diaochin? Lu Bu gripped the sky halberd with both hands. Then he unleashed a half-moon slash. It tore through the monster swarm like a nuclear explosion. It was like a nuke went off right in the middle of the horde. They were all blown sky high, but this was far from over. The whole lot sent flying, yet the show was just beginning. Total annihilation into the air. But he was not done yet. Another half-moon slash followed, forming a full moon strike. He swung again, the half-moon expanding into a full moon of destruction. Following up with another slash to complete the lunar cycle of carnage. One more strike, and the crescent became a full circle of death. The battlefield was cleared in an instant. At this rate, we can even skip the cleanup phase. No need to even sweep the floor after a mess like that. This scene repeatedly shattered the psychological defenses of everyone present. The spectacle was a total mind blow for the survivors. Is this seriously the reinforcement we called for? You are telling me this beast is on our side, wearing a three-pronged purple gold crown, clad in beast-face soul-swallowing chainmail, wielding the sky halberd to conquer all directions. Behold the great Lu Bu, as he walked off the battlefield. Song Yunxiang deactivated the Lu Bu mech. The banner of Tiandu Nation should never touch the ground. Tiandu shall prevail, with that passionate cry. The fervor in everyone's hearts was ignited once more. Their confidence in surviving the crisis multiplied. Just then, Song Yunxiang noticed something at his feet. A woman was lying unconscious on the ground, and she had dropped some equipment. I will take this soul talisman as the price for saving your life. He immediately fed her a rejuvenation pill, saving the woman's life just in time. He then handed her over to the city guard. Seeing Song Yunxiang wearing the Mech Martial Academy uniform, they asked which class he was in and who his instructor was. Song Yunxiang did not even look back. The name Song Yunxiang, I am just passing through. He then summoned the Lu Bu mech again and dashed toward other battlefields. The unconscious woman slowly woke up. Song Yunxiang, meanwhile, an old man stared at Lu Bu's departing figure. He smiled and shook his head. To think he only has a yellow rank peak cultivation. Hey, interesting. When Lu Bu's silhouette appeared in the Academy's command center, the dean's eyes widened in shock. Could this be the Soul General, Lu Bu? But why would he appear here of all places? And his target is the Mech Martial Academy. Is he friend or foe? Seeing that there were no casualties on the other battlefields, Song Yunxiang finally felt a weight lift off his chest. It seems the arrays I set up in advance are working. Since that is the case, I will go handle my own business first. Song Yunxiang pulled the reins and turned his steed around. With a move of demon descent, he arrived instantly before the statue of Zuo Si. He then opened the star coffin and flew out from the mech. He pulled out the Star Lord system to scan the Zuo Si statue. He quickly locked onto the location of Zuo Si's soul jade. Under the guidance of the Star Lord system, the Zuo Si statue began to make cracking sounds. A second later, the soul jade flew out from within the statue. But all of this was witnessed clearly by a youth below. Who are you? The youth's name was Lu Yan, a student of the Mech Martial Academy. The first time he saw the Zuo Si statue, it just so happened that Song Yunxiang was scanning the soul jade. It happened that Song Yunxiang was scanning the soul jade, but it could not be copied. The sudden humming sound made Lu Yan believe he had achieved soul resonance with Zuo Si's soul jade. So, when the beast tide erupted at the academy, Lu Yan immediately ran to the Zuo Si statue, hoping to obtain its power. He never expected to see the soul jade already in someone else's hands. I am Song Yunxiang. This guy's first words are exactly the same as in the previous life. Hearing the name Song Yunxiang, Lu Yan suddenly felt like he had heard that somewhere before. Right, you are that famous 3-second man from the academy. The moment those words left his mouth, Lu Yan felt a surge of regret. A terrifying chill crept up his spine. With a swift hand chop, Lu Yan was sent straight to Dreamland to play chess with the gods. Sorry, Lu Yan, but doing this is actually saving your life. According to the memories of my past life, after Lu Yan encountered the beast tide at the Mech Martial Academy, he was captured by Milan Nation to be an experimental subject for artificial hosts. Captured by Milan Nation to be an experimental subject for artificial hosts. Captured by Milan Nation to be an experimental subject for artificial hosts. Captured by Milan Nation to be an experimental subject for artificial hosts. Captured by Milan Nation to be an experimental subject for artificial hosts. He later appeared on the battlefields of Tiandu Nation as the masked Subject Zero. Appeared on the battlefields of Tiandu Nation as the masked Subject Zero. Appeared on the battlefields of Tiandu Nation as the masked Subject Zero. Appeared on the battlefields of Tiandu Nation as the masked Subject Zero. Although he was eventually rescued. He became a member of a mysterious organization. He became a member of a mysterious organization. He became a member of a mysterious organization. But in the end, he still met his end on the battlefield. But in the end, he still met his end on the battlefield. But in the end, he still met his end on the battlefield. Right now, Zuosi's soul jade cannot be copied. It is useless for the time being. So Song Yunshiang decided to hide him away first. Next, it is time to rescue the rest of my classmates who are still struggling in battle. What is it like for an ordinary mech to wield Lu Bu's sky halberd? It is like having an endgame legendary weapon right after creating your character. The monsters in front of me are getting insta-killed like total nobodies. Song Yunshiang looked at the Lu Bu mech. It was far too overbearing. Operating it to show off would be a bit too much main character energy. So he took out a soul talisman he obtained from a previous rescue, controlling a Wei Yuan mech again after reincarnation. A sense of familiarity welled up within him. It is just that the weapons inside are nowhere near as good as the sky halberd. Meanwhile, the other side of the battlefield is in critical danger. A monster swatted a mech away with just one hand. The heavily damaged mech has already lost its ability to fight. Just as it was about to become the monster's dinner, a rain of attacks pelted down upon the beast. Interrupted during its meal, the monster is now absolutely livid. It glared ferociously at Song Yunshiang, then it charged forward with the speed of a runaway train. Unfazed, Song Yunshiang calmly sidestepped the attack. He quickly drew his sword, performed a slick maneuver, and countered. He directly dismantled the monster's headlights on the spot. Left in the dark, the monster could only cover its head and take a beating. In an instant, it suffered 64 slashes. Seizing the opening, Song Yunshiang performed a cloud-treading leap into the sky. Landing on the monster's back, he performed a PFC surgery. By the time the surgery was over, the monster was weakened to the limit. It was even exhibiting DCX syndrome. Seeing this, Song Yunshiang shook his head repeatedly. If I had been using the sky halberd just now, this monster would have been on a one-way train to the afterlife already. So he ordered the system to forge him a proper weapon. Energy molecules slowly condensed into the shape of a weapon. A second later, the sky halberd appeared on the shoulder of the Wei Yuan mech. Excellent. This feels much more balanced now. At this point, the monster decided on a final desperate struggle and charged again. Song Yunshiang did not back down and met the charge head-on. After clashing in mid-air, the two landed separately on the ground. A second later, the monster's upper and lower body decided to file for a permanent divorce. A nearby classmate was so shocked by the scene, he was left speechless. Such a powerful monster was actually one-shotted. Meanwhile, on another battlefield, the instructor led the students in a turtle shell array, waiting for an opportunity. However, Shangguan Yinshin was the first to enter combat mode. She charged straight out of the formation. She zipped back and forth through the monster swarm, slashing everything. Just as she was enjoying the slaughter, a monster suddenly dealt her a heavy blow from behind. A single claw strike knocked the wind right out of Shangguan Yinshin. A single claw strike knocked the wind right out of Shangguan Yinshin. Without giving her a chance to breathe, it pinned her down with its foot. Without giving her a chance to breathe, it pinned her down with its foot. Just as Shangguan Yinshin was about to be torn apart by the monster. Just as Shangguan Yinshin was about to be torn apart by the monster, Song Yunshiang came flying in as if riding on auspicious clouds. He landed with a full star half-moon strike, a landing strike of full star half-moon, directly clearing the monsters from the area. This heroic entrance hit Shangguan Yinshin right in the feels. However, this single scene struck a chord right in Shangguan's heart. Yet this moment perfectly hit Shangguan's soft spot, as the narrator says. This scene happened to be exactly what Shangguan found most captivating. The man hurled the sky halberd from his hand. In an instant, it pierced straight through the cute girl's heart. One might think this was a hero saving a damsel to win her hand. But little did they know, the man had an entirely different motive. Song Yunshiang piloted his mech and leapt into the swarm of monsters. You bunch of small fries, get ready to meet your end. The monsters were unfazed, thinking he was just a meal delivering itself. Unexpectedly, in the next second, a falling moon slash was unleashed. The monsters who were just spectating all became souls under his halberd. Before their companions could even process what was happening, they followed their brothers into the afterlife just like that. Seeing this, the students and instructors were greatly inspired. They used their numbers to surround the lone beasts and immediately formed the Eagle Strike Array for the counterattack. With 5 mechs per squad on both sides, they formed the Eagle Strike Array to hunt down the isolated monsters. They formed the anti-beast Eagle Strike Array immediately, ready to strike the lone targets as a squad. The formation was set. They formed the Eagle Strike Array to launch the assault as a team. Everyone charged out like they had been waiting for this moment their whole lives. With everyone's help, Song Yunshiang handled the situation with even greater ease. He treated the monsters like sitting ducks, hacking through them recklessly. Those falling moon slashes were so intense they were sending sparks everywhere. The instructor and students managed to catch one monster that strayed from the pack. They swarmed it instantly, making it a 5-on-1 fight. Although Song Yunshiang's soul meridian had been partially repaired, using skills so frequently like this was still a bit more than he could chew. Under everyone's concerted efforts, soon only 3 monsters were left on the battlefield. Song Yunshiang raised his halberd and struck down. In a flash, 2 more were taken out. Now, only the final one remained. Song Yanxiang raised the sky halberd, posing as if to throw a javelin. In the next heartbeat, the sky halberd was thrown, accompanied by a suffocating sound of breaking air. It lunged toward the last little cutie. As Song Yanxiang stood balanced on the halberd like a golden rooster, that little beast caught the last train to the underworld. After finishing his showy move, his soul power was completely exhausted. The Wei Yuan mech slowly disassembled itself. When everyone clearly saw the person who stepped out, the students' eyes widened as if they had been struck by lightning. Holy cow, is not that the 3-second chump Song Yanxiang? Since when did he become this powerful? Just then, the cute girl walked up and said bashfully, "I am Shangguan Yinchin from class 3-1. Thank you so much for saving me just now, Junior Song." Song Yanxiang's eyes widened in surprise as well. Based on his memories from his past life, this woman was definitely no saint. Shangguan Yinchin, the host of the Soul General Long Ju, in the Great War between Tiandu Nation and Milan Nation, 5 years later. She followed her family in a last-minute betrayal of Tiandu Nation. She turned her back on her country during the heat of battle 5 years later. In 5 years, she and her clan would commit treason against Tiandu. During the final battle against Milan, the 4 great families of Tiandu betrayed the nation. The Shangguan family, one of the 4 great families, switched sides on the battlefield. After she became his enemy, if it were not for Song Yanxiang's sheer luck, he would have probably died at her hands several times over. Thinking of this, Song Yanxiang suddenly grabbed Shangguan's wrist. He pulled her close to his side. The students immediately felt a dangerous aura from this scene. Is our goddess senior really about to be snatched away like this? The narrator notes that the goddess was being claimed right before their eyes. Meanwhile, Shangguan Yinchin was blushing, already picking out names for their future children. Shangguan Yinchin's face was flushed red, her imagination already running wild. She was so flustered that she was already daydreaming about a future together. The goddess was completely lost in her own romantic fantasy. However, Song Yanxiang's only thought was how to get his hands on her Long Ju mech. Song Yanxiang was actually planning to seize her Long Ju mech right then and there. His mind was not on her, but on acquiring her powerful Long Ju mech. And then, he intended to finish off this crazy woman. He planned to eliminate the psycho then and there. This way, he could deal with a future enemy ahead of time. It was the perfect chance to take out a future threat in advance. By doing this, he could neutralize a dangerous future foe. But things did not go as he wished. Fate, however, had other plans. But as the saying goes, man proposes, but God disposes. Things were not going to be that simple. Unfortunately, heaven had a different script in mind. At that moment, the Star-Lord system sent out a high-risk warning. He immediately took Zuo Ci's soul jade out from the statue. Just as he was about to copy Zuo Ci's soul jade, Liu Yan, who was desperate for power to save others, stumbled upon him. Liu Yan immediately demanded to know who Song Yanxiang was. Song Yanxiang introduced himself. Liu Yan pondered for a moment. He quickly remembered Song Yanxiang. Wasn't he that quick-shot guy with the defective soul meridian? But by then, Song Yanxiang had already appeared behind him. With a sharp smack to the back of the head from Song Yanxiang, Liu Yan collapsed instantly, knocked out cold. According to Song Yanxiang's memories from his past life, Liu Yan was supposed to be abducted during this battle at the Mech Martial Academy. Afterward, he became a test subject for the Milan Nation, known as Subject 0M. He would appear on the battlefields during the invasion of Tiandu Nation. He was later rescued by that group of people, and became one of them. Ultimately, he died in battle as a hero. Now, although you have lost your chance to be a hero, you have also been spared the agony of being used as a lab rat by the Milan Nation. From now on, just enjoy being an ordinary student. Having said that, Song Yanxiang commanded the system, copy the Zuo Ci soul jade. But the system replied to him, cannot copy a soul jade without a host. Song Yanxiang had no choice but to store the soul jade in the system space. He could only wait until he found a suitable host, before attempting to copy it again. With the soul jade in hand, Song Yanxiang immediately set out to rescue the instructors and students. However, if he piloted the Liu Bu mech, and suddenly appeared before them, it would ruin his signature, modest and low-profile style. So, he projected a student model mech instead. Without a second thought, he charged toward the training grounds. At the same time, He Yan was locked in a life-and-death struggle with Tao Yi, but she was simply no match for the beast. With one swipe, Tao Yi sent her flying over a dozen meters. The massive impact instantly paralyzed her, just as Tao Yi was about to devour her. The beast's backside was struck by several sudden arrows of light. The sneak attacker was none other than Song Yanxiang, arriving just in time. Tao Yi was not about to let anyone interrupt its meal. It immediately lunged at Song Yanxiang with a menacing stride, but Song Yanxiang effortlessly dodged the beast's attack. Then came Song Yanxiang's respect moment. In no time, he had hacked Tao Ying until it was covered in wounds. He spotted his chance and leaped into the air, preparing to deliver the finishing blow to Taoyi. But the next second, he was dumbfounded. The student sword actually could not pierce Taoyi's hide. All those slashes were just like giving it a scratch. This one-handed sword is absolute trash. Star-Lord system, construct a sky halberd for me, stat. In an instant, a sky halberd appeared in Song Yanxiang's hands, though the sight of him holding the sky halberd looked a bit out of place on the student mech. Returning with decades of combat experience, he was a natural. Slaying those fierce wolf monsters was as easy as cutting vegetables. The class representative and the senior girl instantly turned into his fangirls. Just a moment ago, Song Yanxiang could not kill Taoyi with the one-handed sword, so he decisively switched to Lu Bu's sky halberd. He unleashed a falling moon slash on the beast that was asking for death. Before Taoyi could even react, its head was severed from its body. His overwhelming power completely stunned He Yan. She did not snap out of it until Song Yanxiang asked her if she was all right. I am fine. Thank you for saving me. Fellow student. Song Yanxiang waved his hand dismissively. Don't mention it, class rep. I am going to help out elsewhere now. Watching Song Yanxiang's receding figure, He Yan felt a bit starstruck, but then she suddenly realized she had forgotten to ask for his name. Meanwhile, at the Mech Martial Academy dormitory area, the crowd was huddled together for defense. That is when the bloodthirsty Shangguan Yinshin suddenly charged out and began a massive slaughter of the Taoyi beasts. Facing the sudden sneak attack from the Taoyi, she was able to dodge it with ease, but being besieged by a swarm of Taoying simultaneously, she was quickly overwhelmed and defeated. Just as the Taoyi was about to turn her into its next meal, Song Yanxiang arrived just in the nick of time. With a single sweep of 1,000 armies strike, he cut down the Taoying that was about to devour Yinshin. Next, Song Yanxiang began slicing through them like a hot knife through butter. In no time, the beasts were slaughtered one by one. As for Yinshin, she was already head over heels, mesmerized by the badass standing before her. She looked like she wanted to marry him right then and there. Song Yanxiang then stepped forward and helped Yinshin up, asking if she was still fit to fight. Blushing deeply, Yinshin said she was fine, and expressed her gratitude to Song Yanxiang. At that very moment, the system suddenly warned him that his soul power was running low. His mech would undergo star dissolution in 40 seconds. Not daring to waste any more time, Song Yanxiang immediately rushed toward the next battlefield. Everywhere he went, the Taoyi met their doom. Seeing reinforcements arrive, the others hurriedly took their formations to counterattack, but they soon realized there was an extra person behind them. It turned out that person was Yinshin, who had been following closely behind Song Yanxiang. Song Yanxiang continued to fight as a lone wolf. A single falling moon slash instantly wiped out a whole group of Taoyi. Meanwhile, the others could only surround and hack away at a single, unlucky Taoyi. After this intense slaughter of the beasts, Song Yanxiang came up with a new idea to conserve soul power. That was to modify the students' mechs. He decided to implement it once this beast tide ended. At this point, only 3 Taoyi remained on the battlefield. Song Yanxiang had only seconds left before star dissolution. With a few swift swings of his halberd, he took down 2 of them. Then, with a sudden dive, he hurled his sky halberd at the last Taoying in the distance. In an instant, the sky halberd pierced right through it. Song Yanxiang then descended from the sky, landing with 1 foot atop the sky halberd. The beast perished on the spot. Everyone watched in absolute awe. The power of this man was simply off the charts. But in the next second, their jaws dropped, because the person before them was none other than the one they called trash, Song Yanxiang. What a romantic and heartwarming scene it seemed. However, not only were they not a couple, but they both also had their own secret agendas. The man only wanted to copy the girl's mech into his system, and then deal with her then and there. The girl, however, was busy thinking of how to bag him and take him home. Just moments ago, Song Yanxiang had finished off the beasts with ease, but his soul power had been completely drained, as his true form was revealed before everyone. The crowd could not help but be struck with shock. They never would have imagined that the powerhouse from a moment ago was actually Song Yanxiang. Even the principal was visibly stunned. She could not help but marvel at how well Song Yanxiang had hidden his strength. But then she suddenly remembered. The weapon Song Yanxiang used was a sky halberd. She immediately connected the dots. The one piloting the Lu Bu mech was also Song Yanxiang. Legend says Zuo Si can shapeshift at will. Could this kid have already become Zuo Si's host? Once this beast tide is over, I will have to drag this boy in for some serious questioning. At the same time, the others on the battlefield also underwent star dissolution, intending to rest and recover their soul power on the spot. Meanwhile, Song Yanxiang had already refined a star-gathering array. Just as he was about to hand it over to everyone, Yinshin suddenly appeared before him with a bashful look. Junior Song, thank you for saving me just now. I am Shangguan Yinshin from the 3rd year class 1. Upon hearing her name, Song Yanxiang's expression stiffened. This crazy woman is Long Ju's host. In the decisive battle between Tiandu and Milan 5 years from now. The Shangguan family will defect at the last minute. Furthermore, she had landed him in mortal danger multiple times. In his past life, if it had not been for the Star-Lord system's help, he would have died at the hands of this crazy woman long ago. Thinking of this, Song Yunxiang immediately grabbed Yinchen's hand. With one swift pull, he brought her right in front of him. And that leads us to the scene at the very beginning. Following a soft chime from the system. System alert, Soul Jade replication failed. Target individual does not possess a Soul Jade. Only then did he remember. At this point in time, Yinshen has not obtained the Longju Soul Jade yet. According to the timeline, the moment she acquires that Soul Jade should be 10 months from now. Song Yunxiang immediately let go of her hand. He offered a sheepish grin and apologized to her. The love-struck Yinshen actually thought Song Yunxiang was captivated by her beauty, that he was so worked up just because of her. To ensure he can smoothly obtain the dragon map later, Song Yunxiang took out a soul renewal pill for Yinshen to take. He definitely does not want Yinshen to kick the bucket just yet. Seeing that Song Yunxiang had such high-quality goods, the instructor also came over to ask for some. Song Yunxiang quickly claimed that he did not have many left. Even though I am out of soul renewal pills, I have already prepared a star-gathering array for everyone. As Song Yunxiang tossed the array talisman into the air, a star-gathering array was instantly generated. Everyone immediately felt the difference. Their soul force absorption speed increased fivefold. Afterwards, Song Yunxiang bid them farewell. He leaped up and rushed toward the martial arts arena, and Yinshen followed him closely, sticking to him like glue. 3 days ago, he was just trash in everyone's eyes. 3 days later, he has undergone a total glow-up into a powerhouse boss. Even the instructor wants to call him master. The reason for such a rapid transformation is that he has been reborn, carrying the entire team on his back, based on the memories of his past life. Song Yunxiang knew the exact date the Beast Tide would hit the Mech Martial Academy, so he went to the martial arts arena in advance, to set up an array that slows down the fierce beasts. And because of this array, the instructors and students were able to hold out until now. However, the Taoyi seemed to realize the arena would weaken their speed, thus they all retreated and switched to long-range attacks. Just at that moment, a beam of light directly pierced through a Taoyi perched on high. That is right. The one who arrived is Song Yunxiang. The Taoyang also reacted immediately. They launched a coordinated attack on Song Yunxiang. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang instantly surged soul force into his feet. Relying on his agile movement, he dodged the Taoyi's attacks. He flickered right before them and delivered a fatal strike. This display left even Instructor O speechless with shock. She could sense that this person relied on a tiny bit of soul force emitted from his feet to execute subtle footwork, sliding and positioning while in a hovering state. This level of technical skill is simply legendary. And then there is that massive halberd-type weapon. It seems born for the sole purpose of slaying beasts. But Song Yunxiang's next move shocked Instructor O even more, because he used the 7-star steps, the secret footwork of the Black Armor Guard. Then he leaped into the air again. Capitalizing on the momentum, he slashed at the Taoyi with a falling moon slash. In a split second, they were completely wiped out. At this point, Instructor O could no longer keep her cool. Who exactly is this powerhouse? How can he, using a mere student-grade mech, pull off ultimate moves like the 7-star steps and falling moon slash? However, Song Yunxiang's mind was focused solely on exterminating the beasts. He had no idea that he had already become a top-tier legend in their eyes. With one final strike of the sky halberd, the Taoyi in the arena were all slaughtered by him. Seeing the boss finish off over a dozen Taoyi in the blink of an eye, Instructor Cheng actually thought about asking to be his disciple. Just then, Yinshen arrived at the arena, panting heavily. Song Yunxiang, can't you just wait up for a girl? Everyone is shocked upon hearing the news. This incredibly powerful big shot turns out to be Song Yunxiang. At this moment, Song Yunxiang deactivates his mech and appears before them. Instructor U's face is filled with disbelief. The kid who went missing for 3 days suddenly became this powerful, but he immediately dismisses any thought of asking for guidance. Instead, he begins to question Song Yunxiang sternly. Where on earth have you been these past few days, kid? Isn't your soul meridian defective? Weren't you only capable of barely fighting for 3 minutes? You would better give me an honest explanation. Song Yunxiang spreads his hands with a naive smile. Look, instructor, didn't the mech just automatically deactivate because time was up? While Song Yunxiang is making excuses, he is actually thinking to himself. The duration of the manifestation has increased this time. It seems my body is adapting to the soul meridian repairs from the recreation pill. But the keen Instructor O notices something about Song Yunxiang. This manifestation lasted for a full 10 minutes. He suspects the boy faked his soul power damage. What is his motive for hiding his strength and infiltrating the academy? Just as Song Yunxiang is smiling sheepishly, while pondering a way to respond, a mech suddenly descends from the sky. The principal herself has actually come to see him. Furthermore, she activates a soundproofing array to prevent anyone else from hearing their conversation. Just a moment ago, Song Yunxiang was wondering how to answer Instructor U's interrogation. Then the principal suddenly dropped in. The two instructors stop questioning Song Yunxiang immediately. They quickly deactivate their mechs and salute the principal. Although the principal expresses her gratitude for Song Yunxiang's timely rescue, she also wants to hear his explanation regarding the matter of hiding his true strength. Song Yunxiang's expression instantly becomes troubled. He does not know if he should reveal the Star-Lord system. It is hard to tell if the principal before him is a friend or a foe. Seeing that Song Yunxiang seems to have something to hide, she immediately taps her wrist comp to activate the soundproofing array. Then she leans in close to Song Yunxiang. This startles Song Yunxiang quite a bit. He instinctively takes a step back. You hid your strength to sneak into the Mech Martial Academy. All for the Zuosi Soul Jade, was not it? Stop pretending. Have you already become Zuosi's host? I saw it clearly. That Crimson Lu Bu Mech in the West District. That was manifested by you using Zuosi's power. Am I right? Upon hearing that Zuosi has the power of manifestation, Song Yunxiang is momentarily stunned. In his past life, he never knew Zuosi possessed such a capability. Moreover, according to the Tiandu Nation's records, Zuosi not only has the power to manifest, but also the ability to mimic other mechs' skills and moves. Legends even say Zuosi can hide a Star Soul Master's true power level. So, the cultivation level you are showing now is also proof that you are Zuosi's host. Song Yunxiang thinks, I can't believe the principal mistook me for Zuosi's host. Well, might as well roll with it. Impressive, Principal GU. I thought I hid it so well, yet you saw right through me. You are right. I indeed obtained the Zuosi Soul Jade. Seeing Song Yunxiang admit it so readily, the principal immediately shows a look of a successful schemer. She instantly begins to negotiate a deal with him. Otherwise, she will charge him with treason. It turns out prototype mechs are different from mass-produced ones. The Soul Jade inheritance of every prototype mech must be registered with the Starry Sky Bureau. Unauthorized operation is a violation of the Tiandu Nation's mech management regulations. Song Yunxiang, if you choose to deal, I will help you apply for the registration. But if you refuse, you know exactly what the consequences will be. Faced with such blatant coercion, Song Yunxiang had no choice but to agree. Seeing Song Yunxiang comply, the principal immediately activated the optical computer. He revealed that the current Beast Tide outbreak is very likely man-made. So far, they have discovered 3 core locations suspected of housing induction devices. A Heaven rank expert has already been dispatched to the Eastern District. I will personally lead a team to the Southern District. Now, I need you to go to the Northern District to rescue the second prince. The second prince, Tian Zahai, is the representative of the pro-war faction within the Huang clan. Rumors from my past life said he died during this beast tide. However, the public cause of death was an assassination by a Taizhou hitman. Because of that, Asan was branded a wanted fugitive. But Taizhou only cares about stopping internal human conflicts. How could they possibly initiate a war on their own? Could this be another conspiracy by the Milan nation? Have you ever seen such a clingy little temptress? Just because a man grabbed her hand in the heat of the moment, she follows him around all day long. Now she is sticking to him like a leech, clinging tightly to that man. Just a moment ago, the principal activated a soundproof array to talk with Song Yunxiang. Who would have thought Yinchen actually hacked the principal's system and broke the array? That is how she found out Song Yunxiang is the host for Zuosi. Now she is even more determined to hold on tight to a big catch like Song Yunxiang. Meanwhile, under the principal's carrot and stick pressure, Song Yunxiang had to agree to rescue the second prince, Tian Zahai. He also wondered if Asan might show up there. So, he immediately took a soul renewal pill. Then Lu Bu, riding the Crimson Flame Dragon steed, materialized right in front of everyone. This completely dumbfounded the instructors and students on the spot. Just as Song Yunxiang was saying his goodbyes, Yinchen suddenly appeared. Without a word, she equipped her mech and jumped onto the Crimson Flame Dragon steed. Hey, you crazy woman, get off right now. We are over capacity. But Yinchen still held onto Song Yunxiang for dear life, refusing to let go. Helpless, Song Yunxiang had no choice but to let her follow. It would be better if she did not accidentally get herself killed. Watching Song Yunxiang ride into the distance, the principal suddenly began to mutter to himself. I hope my story can help you fool the others. As for the secrets you are hiding, I will be the one to dig them up. On the way, Yinchen went on a crazy monster slaying spree, attracting aggro everywhere. Song Yunxiang had to clean up her mess while trying to make progress. He was truly speechless at this madwoman's antics. He then told her to stop causing more trouble for him. They were currently in a race against time to save someone. Only then did Yinchen snap out of her battle frenzy. She repeatedly apologized to Song Yunxiang. She explained that as soon as she enters a battlefield, she can't suppress the urge to go on a killing spree. Song Yunxiang was left utterly speechless by her peculiar hobby. But then again, he could just use her as a convenient tool. By By the way, Senior Shangguan, if we encounter a powerful enemy later, I will hold them back. Could you help me grab something when the time comes? Yinshin agreed to Song Yanxiang's request without a second thought. Meanwhile, the situation for the second prince, Tian Zihai, has become critical. The commander of his guards is heavily wounded and on the brink of death. Originally, Tian Zihai had received intelligence that Milan spies were going to stir up trouble in Yuanting City, but he wanted to play the long game to catch the big fish. He tried to find evidence to convince his father, the emperor, to go to war. Little did he know, he fell right into the enemy's trap. Instead, he ended up trapped in a perilous situation. He even dragged the residents of Yuanting City into this mess with him. Just then, a guard shouted in terror as another wave of beasts attacked. They immediately assumed a defensive formation to face the enemy, but they did not expect the beast appearing this time to be a Changshi, a creature with heaven-rank combat power. And at that moment, they noticed a massive dark shadow appearing on the other side as well. Facing a pincer attack from two powerful enemies, the guards dared not be careless. They quickly told the maid to take the second prince and flee. They would stay behind to stall for time and hold off the foe. But the keen-eyed Tian Zihai noticed something. The aura coming from the other side was not that of a beast. Perhaps that dark figure was not an enemy. It could be reinforcements coming to their aid. At this moment, the Changshi also faced the massive dark figure. It began to hiss and roar. It turned out a rift crystal had grown inside its stomach, and a rift crystal is a spatial storage medium. That is why the Taoi's food only went in and never came out. The secret lay within the rift crystal. Now, on the way to rescue second prince Tian Zihai, it was still unknown what kind of high-level powerhouse they would face. To be safe and prepared for anything, Song Yanxiang told Yinshin that while he stalled the enemy, she should take the chance to find the rift crystal in the Taoying's corpse. He would have a great use for it later. As soon as Song Yanxiang reached the North District battlefield, the Changshi sensed danger approaching. It let out a deafening roar at Song Yanxiang, but Song Yanxiang was not about to indulge it. The sky halberd in his hand shot out instantly. A second later, it was pinned right in front of the beast. The creature was immediately intimidated by this massive weapon of slaughter. Only then did the guards realize the other party was actually their savior. Tian Zihai, however, was full of doubts. Not only had he never seen this mech before, it was even a specialized mech that possessed a mount. Seeing the Changshi suppressed by the sky halberd's presence, Song Yanxiang immediately urged Yinshin to scavenge the Taoying's remains. But the Changshi was not stupid. Seeing that the deadly weapon had not actually attacked, it reached out to touch the sky halberd. However, it was blocked by a layer of light. It turns out Song Yanxiang had placed an array on the sky halberd. His goal was simply to buy time for Yinshin. Seeing the array appear, Tian Zihai immediately realized the other party was stalling for time, but he did not know why they were doing it until Yinshin pulled the rift crystal out of the Taoying's corpse. Then it suddenly clicked for him. That is it. A rift crystal is worth a fortune. It is a top-tier material for making storage talismans and mech talismans. Was this guy stalling just to line his own pockets? By now, the Changshi realized something was wrong. It launched a fierce assault on the array. Song Yanxiang hurriedly swallowed a soul renewal pill to hold the line. Just then, Yinshin came running back with the rift crystal. Unable to wait any longer, Song Yanxiang instantly reached out to pull the rift crystal through the air. This move stunned Yinshin on the spot. He could actually use soul force to manipulate objects from a distance. Once he had the rift crystal, Song Yanxiang immediately recalled the sky halberd. As man and beast stared each other down, the atmosphere became instantly explosive. In the next second, they were locked in a mid-air struggle. Song Yanxiang relied on a long calculated strike to jam the rift crystal into the Changshi's tentacle, but he was also sent flying quite a distance by the Changshi before stopping. Without a word, Song Yanxiang began chanting an incantation. Blow up for me. The rift crystal embedded in the Changshi's tentacle exploded instantly. Then the Changshi, with half its body missing, appeared before everyone's eyes. Seeing this, Tian Zihai showed a look of sheer shock. To think such a crazy tactic existed. It is truly an eye-opener. Song Yanxiang, however, had the look of a successful trickster. My bad. Right now, I am not strong enough to go toe-to-toe with a heaven-grade expert, so I had to resort to some dirty tricks. The beast Changshi was just too greedy. It dared to eat food fed by a stranger, and ended up being blown to smithereens. Actually, just moments ago, because of his low cultivation level, Song Yanxiang knew he could not kill the Changshi with raw strength alone, so he played dirty and used an underhanded move. It is a pity it did not blow the Changshi to kingdom come instantly, but Song Yanxiang's performance still earned him high praise from Tian Zihai. He did not expect the mech martial academy to be such a den of hidden dragons. To severely wound a heaven-rank Changshi with only a yellow rank cultivation. It is simply unbelievable. According to ancient records, there has never been a documented case of a rift crystal exploding. This man likely possesses a secret method to detonate them. If this technique were applied to the military, it would yield twice the results with half the effort. When the maid learned he was only at the yellow rank, her jaw dropped in absolute shock. How is this even possible? Bridging a gap of 3 major realms to take down a Changqi. This guy must be some kind of hidden powerhouse. After being wounded by the blast, the Changqi actually got smarter. It immediately sent the Hudu to attack Song Yanxiang, attempting to drain his soul power completely. Meanwhile, it stayed back to launch long-range attacks. This really put Song Yanxiang in a tight spot. He instantly channeled soul power into his feet, activating the 7-star steps. Like a ghost, he flickered and reappeared right in front of the Changqi. Then, he delivered a crushing blow to its head with his halberd. The sky halberd immediately cracked into pieces. As expected, the difference in cultivation realms is real. The structural strength maintained by my soul power is still insufficient. However, my goal has already been achieved. Song Yanxiang raised 2 fingers, chanting a cryptic incantation. Creation surge, aura's reverse flow, detonate. The Changqi's body erupted like a massive firework. As the thick smoke cleared, the thick-skinned beast was surprisingly still alive. Infuriated, it lunged straight at Song Yanxiang. But Song Yanxiang, clutching a rift crystal, was waiting for the perfect moment. The beast opened its bloody maw to devour him, and in the next second it bit down on Song Yanxiang's arm. After hitting the ground, Song Yanxiang chanted the mantra once more. In an instant, the rift crystal exploded violently inside its stomach. This time, luck was no longer on its side. The beast completely vanished from the face of the earth. After deactivating his star release, Song Yanxiang looked toward where the Changqi stood and muttered to himself, "What a waste." Even its core crystal was blown to bits. Meanwhile, the guards had already lowered Tian Zihai to safety. He cupped his hands to Song Yanxiang in a gesture of gratitude. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang quickly returned the courtesy, stating he was sent by the principal to provide backup. He told Tian Zihai there was no need for such formalities. Song Yanxiang then proceeded to introduce his background. Just then, their conversation was interrupted by Commander Lu's coughing. Seeing the injured man, Song Yanxiang immediately jumped over. He pressed 2 fingers against the commander's chest to examine the wounds. He soon realized the commander's soul meridians were shattered. He could not circulate soul power to heal himself. Song Yanxiang then poured a bottle of spring renewal pills into his mouth. This move left Tian Zihai standing nearby, completely dumbfounded. The man who was just at death's door a moment ago suddenly became as energetic as a tiger. Even his years of accumulated old injuries had vanished. He looked like he had aged backwards by 10 years. It turns out that not long ago, Commander Lu had been severely injured by a beast's ambush while trying to protect the second prince, Tian Zihai. Fortunately, thanks to Song Yanxiang's timely intervention, he managed to cheat death. Staring at the pill Song Yanxiang gave to the commander, Tian Zihai's face was a mask of disbelief. He never expected Song Yanxiang to pull out a 5th-rank saint-grade pill so casually. Moreover, the refining method was incredibly unique. I originally thought you were just a warrior with extraordinary strength, and I was considering whether to recruit you to my side. But now it seems there is an alchemical grandmaster backing you. I suppose I can only aim to be your friend now. At the same time, in the eastern district, another Changqi was roaring menacingly at an old man. But in the eyes of the elder, it was nothing more than a deathbed struggle. The old man slowly raised the broken sword that had accompanied him through years of battle. A pillar of light instantly pierced the heavens. With a thunderous shout from the elder, one sword to shatter the mountains and rivers, that terrifying pillar of light falls with a deafening roar, a massive force of destruction, as if it is about to split the very earth in 2. Even the Changqi shatters inch by inch under the impact of the light pillar. The soldiers watching from a distance can't help but gasp in awe. A single move to instantly kill a heaven-rank beast. Elder Shu truly lives up to his reputation as a half-step saint-rank master. But when they turn back to look at Elder Shu again, there is already no trace of him left. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a small squad has failed their mission. They are preparing to retreat and rendezvous with the other teams. Suddenly, Elder Shu appears and blocks their path. Trying to run, "You will have to ask my slippers for permission first." The captain immediately recognizes him. It is the expert who just took down the Changqi. Terrified, they scramble to pull out their mech talismans to gear up. But why would Elder Shu give these scrubs any time? The slippers, imbued with terrifying power, are already flying toward them. With a loud thud, the captain is slammed against a distant boulder. Before they can even react, another man is stomped ruthlessly into the ground by Elder Shu. What a bunch of Idiots. In the world of martial arts, speed is everything. Who is dumb enough to wait for you to charge your moves? Elder Shu makes short work of these losers in no time, grabbing the captain by the collar. He vanishes with a few casual leaps. At the same time, at the core battlefield of the South District Rift, the Changchi has been riddled with holes by the soldiers. As the beast finally collapses with a thunderous crash, the dean finally lets out a sigh of relief. This time, she had to assemble 1,000 profound rank warriors, just to barely hold her own in the fight. Victory was nothing short of a miracle, but it came at a heavy price. Just then, Elder Shu suddenly appears before her, dragging the captain. The dean quickly disengages her mech to salute Elder Shu. Elder Shu tosses the captain down for her to deal with, but the dean is curious. Why did Elder Shu hand this person over to her specifically? It turns out Elder Shu suspects the city guard and the secret investigation department have been compromised. That is why he entrusted the prisoner to the dean. Little did he know, someone was already aiming right for the center of his forehead. These rats resort to assassination when they can't win a fair fight. They have no idea that disaster is about to strike them. Instead, just as their leader orders the old man's execution, a projectile pierces straight through the mech of the one aiming. Before the leader can even react, he is captured alive by the opponent's soul-snaring net. Seeing the spies dealt with, Elder Shu immediately praises the dean. You have got quite the knack for controlling the board, I see. With that, he takes his leave and leaps away toward the North District. The dean is left wondering, is he interested in the second prince, or that mysterious Song Yunxiang? On the other side, Yinchen runs towards Song Yunxiang, cradling the rift crystals. Song Yunxiang did not expect this crazy woman to be so capable, to think she could extract all the rift crystals herself. Seeing so many high-grade rift crystals, the second prince immediately asks Song Yunxiang to sell them to him. He promises Song Yunxiang a handsome reward. This proposal is exactly what Song Yunxiang had in mind. He happens to be looking for a stable, long-term buyer. At this moment, Yinchen notices the second prince. She quickly disengages her mech to pay her respects. Only then does Song Yunxiang realize that the Shangguan family is part of the pro-war faction supporting the second prince. So, the Shangguan family's rebellion in his past life was indeed connected to the second prince's death. The maid pulls out all their funds with a look of reluctance. She does not understand her master. Why buy rift crystals from Song Yunxiang when he could just order Yinchen to harvest them directly? But Commander Lu told her, the difficulty in obtaining a rift crystal is not in the extraction, but in the method of the kill. They quickly finalized the deal. Song Yunxiang even provided the second prince with a special free shipping service. He directly cast a spell to store the rift crystal into a storage talisman. Looking at the storage talisman Song Yunxiang handed over, the second prince stood there, dumbfounded like a wooden chicken. Song Yunxiang had simply delivered too many shocks to him. At this moment the prince thought, I must stay on this man's good side. Even if I can't recruit him to my faction, I absolutely cannot make him an enemy. On the way back, Song Yunxiang looked puzzled. Why is there no trace of a San's presence here? Could it be that she has already successfully left Yuanting City? It seems it is about time I go home and take a look. In my past life, Yuanting City was destroyed in this beast tide. A month later, my hometown was also swallowed by the beasts. I barely managed to escape from that carnage, and was later rescued by the Black Armor Guard reinforcements. Now, there is still time. I must speed up my cultivation and get stronger, to redeem the regrets of losing my loved ones in my previous life. Just then, sensing danger, Song Yunxiang instantly lashed out with a kick, but it was easily caught by the opponent with a single hand. The young man saw that the old gatekeeper's martial arts were peerless. It was as if he had just laid eyes on a world-class treasure. A mischievous idea immediately popped into his head. He wanted to snatch the old man up for an experiment, but the old man was as sharp as a fox. He saw right through Song Yunxiang's hidden agenda at a glance. Just a moment ago, feeling a sudden crisis, Song Yunxiang fiercely threw a kick, but Elder Shu caught it with ease. He sighed inwardly, this brat. Single quote, despite only having a peak yellow rank cultivation, he possesses such keen intuition. He is certainly hiding a lot under the surface. At this point, Song Yunxiang finally recognized the newcomer. He did not expect the old gatekeeper to actually be a magnificent heaven rank grandmaster, and he immediately realized who this person was. This must be the heaven rank expert the principal mentioned. So he promptly cupped his hands and bowed to Elder Shu. Upon hearing Elder Shu's name, Commander Lu's face stiffened. He knew Elder Shu was a legendary half-saint, the renowned Wanli sword, the head of the three swords of southern continent. He reached the heaven rank at just 30 years old. His signature technique, one sword shatters rivers and mountains, dominated the eastern continent. He once rushed alone to the northern border battlefield to provide aid, slashing down 3 void-suppressing ships in a single move, turning the tide of the war. Later, it was said that in order to break the ancient teaching that only hosts can reach the saint rank, he resolutely went into seclusion to temper his mind and transcend his limits, all just to forge a path to the saint rank for ordinary star soul masters who lack the aptitude of a host. And as for hosts, they are those chosen by the original soul, Jade Mechs. Long ago, the immortals only left behind 108 soul Jade Mechs for the human race. Therefore, the chosen hosts could reach the saint rank as long as their cultivation was sufficient. Now, Song Yanxiang suddenly felt something was off. Why did not the principal arrange for Elder Shu to come to the rescue? Instead, he sent me here. With Elder Shu being a half-saint powerhouse, how could the second prince have died here in my past life? Could it be that there is an expert here, even more terrifying than Elder Shu? Thinking of this, Song Yanxiang could not help but look at Elder Shu. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration hit him. In this era, there is no established system yet for training ordinary star soul masters to break through the saint rank bottleneck. If I can train a saint rank army, could not I just steamroll this entire era? And this Elder Shu right in front of me is my perfect experimental subject. At this moment, the keen-eyed Elder Shu sensed that Song Yanxiang was acting very strange. Young lad Song, why do your eyes have that same excitement a chef has when seeing a rare ingredient? You brat, you are not planning some other scheme, are you? Song Yanxiang hurriedly denied it with an awkward smile, but in his heart, he was secretly sighing about Elder Shu, as expected of an old fox who has seen it all. His observation is incredibly sharp. Even though Elder Shu knew Song Yanxiang was putting on an act, he did not press the matter further. Instead, he asked if Song Yanxiang was the host of Zuosi. Seeing that Elder Shu also assumed he was Zuosi's successor, Song Yanxiang gave a silly grin and admitted it. At the same time, he asked them to keep it a secret for him. After learning about Song Yanxiang's identity as a host, the second prince's doubts finally vanished. However, Elder Shu still questioned Song Yanxiang. How could he cross 3 major realms to slay a Changqi? Could it be that he was still hiding some unspeakable secret? Song Yanxiang felt helpless. He had no choice but to recount the process of killing the Changqi. The part about detonating the rift crystal instantly piqued Elder Shu's interest. Thus, Song Yanxiang had to explain it to everyone once more. It turned out he had engraved an array onto the rift crystal, and then used alchemy techniques to catalyze and reverse the crystal structure, triggering a spatial collapse that caused the explosion. Just then, Song Yanxiang suddenly sensed someone approaching. Elder Shu, on the other hand, broke into a cold sweat. He did not expect Song Yanxiang's perception to be even sharper than his own. This man had returned to 60 years ago by a stroke of luck. He wields high-end techniques with absolute mastery. The pills he casually refines are of saint grade, and he can even use beast crystals to create explosions. He could even instantly trigger 3 level 5 defensive arrays. His endless bag of tricks shocked everyone, and all of this was done to protect the second prince and complete the mission. Just moments ago, upon sensing the approach, the guards acted as if facing a great enemy. They quickly formed a defensive stance to protect the second prince and the others, relying on his keen perception. Song Yanxiang immediately knew the enemy was split into 8 groups, totaling 24 people. Among them was a heaven-tier powerhouse. This left him very puzzled. Would Milan Nation really go to such lengths just to kill a mere second prince? The second prince also had his suspicions. For so many Milan experts to infiltrate the nation's heartland, he feared his elder brother, the crown prince, wanted him dead. Right at that moment, Song Yanxiang urgently warned everyone. There was another heaven-tier powerhouse hiding in the shadows. Elder Shu was once again shocked by Song Yanxiang. He did not expect the kid's senses to be so acute. Even he had not been able to detect that powerhouse's presence. Seeing their cover was blown, the enemies immediately ordered the assassination of the prince. However, Song Yanxiang was already prepared. He tossed array talismans into the air. 3 defensive arrays were generated instantly. Then, he threw a bottle to Elder Shu, telling him to protect the second prince well. He also warned him to stay alert for the hidden powerhouse. Looking at the pill in his hand, Elder Shu was so shocked he was speechless. Under the enemy's barrage of energy beams, Song Yanxiang's defensive arrays did not just hold firm. They actually absorbed the enemy's soul power beams. Song Yanxiang then leapt up to take care of those small fries. Seeing this, Commander Lu also charged straight at the enemy leader. But he was mocked by his opponent. His mech's gaudy decorations were all useless, redundant structures. This instantly infuriated Commander Lu. He decided to give this red and green crab a massive beatdown. The two of them immediately clashed in battle. On the other side, a small fry hiding in the dark tried to sneak attack, only to be skewered right through the heart by Song Yanxiang. In no time, all the nearby small fries were cleaned up. This scene was witnessed by by the enemy leader. He did not expect a burlap-clothed mech to appear here. Did those useless Taehi mercenaries actually fail? While he was momentarily stunned, Commander Liu uses the Qilin tail swing to blast him away in one move. Before long, the battlefield reaches a fever pitch. Song Yanxiang deals with those small fry with a single strike for each one. Furthermore, he can control his strength to leave them alive for questioning. However, when the second prince sees Song Yanxiang and witnesses him use the falling moon slash, he loses his composure. The reason is that the falling moon slash is the signature technique of the commander of the Black Armor Guard. Commander Di Lan is a Saint Realm powerhouse and one of the Tiandu 8 generals. He has always followed the path of a loyal official. He never participates in factional disputes and keeps a very low profile. The second prince thinks to himself, if I can pull Song Yanxiang into my camp, perhaps the Black Armor Guard will no longer remain neutral. The world is truly going to the dogs, and morality is in decay. A dignified Earth Realm expert, actually attacking an unarmed old man. You shameless little brat. After speaking, Elder Shu's aura instantly explodes outward. Then, with a single leap from where he stands, he directly crushes the small fry's mech arm underfoot. Then, with a single hand, he chops off the arm on the other side. The small fry instantly loses all combat capability. But it is not over yet. Elder Shu strikes again with another palm, slamming him directly into the ground. In the distance, Song Yanxiang silently watches all of this. He knows Elder Shu is attacking the enemy's weak joints, on purpose to create the effect of dismantling a mech bare-handed. He is doing this to provoke the fighting spirit of the powerhouse hiding in the shadows. On the other side, Commander Liu has also gained the upper hand. He swings another Qilin tail swing. The captain is sent flying like a cannonball, blasted hundreds of meters away. The captain can't figure it out. His opponent was just a wounded man on the verge of death. How did he suddenly become so fierce and powerful? Could the intelligence be wrong? Now the target has a Liu Bu mech by his side, and there is also a semi-saint powerhouse. It seems I have no choice but to call upon that person. The captain stops overthinking and drops to one knee. The enemy experts are too strong. I beg the Saint Envoy to intervene and assist us. At this moment, the Saint Envoy hiding in the dark finally reveals herself. What a bunch of useless trash. In the end, my Pingtian sacred sect has to clean up the mess. Seeing that the powerhouse is from the demon sect, everyone immediately acts as if they are facing a formidable foe. The Pingtian sacred sect is also known as the demon sect. They are a superpower controlling half of the Milan nation's military and politics. Based on what I know from my past life, the two god realm powerhouses at the peak of the eastern continent's strength. One of them is the Pingtian Old Ancestor. The other is stationed in Qishui Nation. 400 years ago, the Eastern Heavenly Emperor suddenly vanished. King Milan helped the emperor's illegitimate son to the throne, while he himself acted as the regent behind the scenes. The eldest princess took the opportunity in the 3 eastern provinces to establish Qishui Nation and declare herself empress. After the illegitimate son grew up, he secretly allied with Qishui Nation to defeat King Milan and re-establish the Tiandu Nation. Unexpectedly, as King Milan was on the verge of death, he was saved by the Pingtian Old Ancestor, who helped him establish Milan Nation in the Northern Territory. From then on, the once unified Eastern Heavenly Empire was split into 3. Although Tiandu Nation has no God Realm powerhouse to guard it, it has many Saint Realm powerhouses, barely maintaining the delicate balance between the 3 powers. But Song Yanxiang feels that something is wrong. The Pingtian sacred sect has never supported military expansion. Could it be that something has happened over in Milan Nation? Just then, Saint Envoy Manluo leaps down and deploys her mech. She instantly disappears before everyone's eyes. Her target is the seemingly defenseless Elder Shu. She slowly draws her blade from behind her back. With a single leap, she strikes at Elder Shu. In the blink of an eye, Elder Shu raises his broken sword to block her attack. A powerful shockwave erupts. The shockwave instantly sent the nearby guards flying. Watching the fierce battle between Elder Shu and Manluo, the second prince quickly realized something. With the performance boost from her mech, Manluo seemed to have gained the upper hand over Elder Shu. But there was no time for him to overthink. The aftershocks of the fight shattered the defensive array in an instant. Song Yanxiang hurriedly tried to lead them to a safer spot, but Manluo was not going to make it that easy. She was not about to let them just walk away. While trading blows with Elder Shu, she seized an opening to hurl her throwing knives at Song Yanxiang. However, with his god-tier perception, how could Song Yanxiang not sense the approaching danger? With a single execution of the 7-star steps, he effortlessly evaded the twin blade strike. Yet, she was merely baiting Elder Shu into a distraction. The moment he worried for Song Yanxiang, she delivered a kick that sent Elder Shu flying hundreds of meters. The twin knives followed up with another relentless assault, but Elder Shu managed to parry them with ease. By the time Elder Shu regained his focus and looked for her, she had already vanished without a trace. It turned out she had already slipped behind him. Caught off guard, Elder Shu took another heavy kick to the back. The sheer force of the impact slammed Elder Shu deep into a wall. A dignified half-saint tier powerhouse was actually being suppressed by a peak heaven tier. Infuriated, Elder Shu unleashed his full aura in an instant. A domineering pillar of crimson light soared into the sky. Elder Shu was going to make Manluo taste his ultimate strike, but Manluo only smiled, mocking Elder Shu's effort. That finishing move certainly has terrifying power, but if it does not hit the target, it becomes utterly meaningless. Elder Shu, of course, knew that better than anyone. This was the ultimate technique he had developed, specifically to contend with saint-tier powerhouses. Sensing something was wrong, Manluo tried to escape and dodge at the last second, but it was clear that by now, Elder Shu's attack had already locked onto her. In the next second, she was hit by his strongest blow. The divine fire column descended from the heavens. As the smoke and dust finally cleared, a tattered and broken mech suddenly appeared before everyone's eyes. Song Yunshiang's face instantly turned to shock. He did not expect the Milan Nation's second-generation mech to be this resilient. Looks like I will have to find a way to get my hands on this mech. Elder Shu had also given Manluo a massive surprise. She never imagined that Elder Shu could use such a dilapidated mech to unleash such a devastating attack. So she decided to reveal her own trump card. With a playful smirk, she commanded the system. Activate Demon Dismantling Mode. A mech that looked like it had been demonized abruptly appeared in front of the crowd. Before Elder Shu could even recover from his shock, Manluo had already vanished from the spot. When she reappeared, she was already behind Elder Shu. Predictably, Elder Shu took a brutal kick from her. Immediately after, she utilized a space rift to flash right in front of Elder Shu. With a swift stroke of her blade, she severed one of Elder Shu's arms. Then, she followed up with another heavy kick. The gap between half-saint and quasi-saint was truly immense. From then on, Elder Shu had no power to fight back under her fierce assault. But Elder Shu still tried to mount a desperate counterattack. Just as Manluo launched another kick at him, he hurriedly grabbed her leg, preparing to strike back. But Manluo was even faster. Her blade pierced straight through his body. Then she grabbed his head and swung her blade to decapitate him. She then stomped violently on his falling torso, sending him crashing into the ground like a cannonball. Manluo then descended, carrying the mech's head. Without a word, she crushed it into pieces. This level of power is truly intoxicating. As I am now, killing a half-saint is like slaughtering a dog. Even if I were to face a true saint-tier powerhouse, I might actually stand a chance. Meanwhile, Elder Shu lay there, coughing up blood incessantly, but disregarding his injuries. He pulled a small bottle directly from his pocket. It was the 6-star realm transcending pill that Song Yunshiang had given him. Song Yunshiang had provided it beforehand, just in case, giving Elder Shu this realm transcending pill as a safety net. Now is the perfect time to see the actual effects after Elder Shu consumes the pill. The moment Elder Shu swallowed the realm transcending pill, he immediately entered a state of profound enlightenment. In this instant, he delved deep into the recesses of his own heart, where his deepest obsession resided. 30 years ago, in Quan City of the Qishui Nation, already at the mid-stage of the Heaven Realm, he had suffered a crushing and total defeat in that battle, all because he had offended Huang Miaoyan, a Saint Realm powerhouse of the Qishui Nation. She was the host of Wen Zhang, and ordinary Star Soul Masters were nothing but ants in her eyes, let alone one trying to elope with her niece, who was also her successor. If her niece, Soar, had not pleaded so desperately for mercy, she would have killed Elder Shu long ago. That battle had left Elder Shu utterly humiliated. He cut his hair as a vow, swearing to find a path to the Saint Realm for ordinary Star Soul Masters. He vowed never to set foot in the Qishui Nation again until he reached the Saint Realm. But the day he enters the Saint Realm will be the day he returns to the Huang family in Qishui to propose marriage, and the time to challenge that Saint Realm powerhouse, who tore them apart, Huang Miaoyan. Soar, one day, I will crush these towering walls of tradition and take you away from the prison of the Huang family. At this thought, Elder Shu's eyes snapped open, with violent ripples of soul power radiating from his entire body. The overwhelming pressure made Saint Envoy Manluo sense that something was wrong. This is an aura that only belongs to the Saint Realm. What on earth did that old geezer just eat? Looks like I need to find a way to escape. Elder Shu's breakthrough to the Saint Realm was exactly as Song Yunshiang expected. Although he broke through, he probably won't be able to maintain it for long. But this also also proves a point. The so-called rule that non-hosts cannot reach the saint realm can be shattered by external forces. From now on, there will be no distinction between the saintly and the mundane. I should find an opportunity later to teach Elder Shu the true beyond F-rank cultivation technique. At this moment, Elder Shu finally understands why Huang Miaoyan said that below the saint realm, all are merely ants. It turns out the difference between the two is truly like heaven and earth. He reached out and made a grasping motion, and that tattered mech talisman instantly returned to his hand. Sorry, old partner, I hope you can still withstand the power of the saint realm. Manhwa wanted to interrupt Elder Shu's mech deployment, but she could not break free from his saintly pressure. Soon, a golden mech appeared before everyone's eyes. Now, Manhwa was nothing more than an ant in his sight. With a casual wave of his hand toward Manhwa, she was sent flying back like a cannonball. Elder Shu pressed his advantage, appearing in front of Manhwa in a flash. Without a word, he struck her with a single hand. The immense power directly shattered her mech into stardust. She was knocked unconscious by Elder Shu's single strike. However, the medicinal power of the realm-transcending pill was also exhausted. The captain hiding in the distance saw that the Saint Envoy had been captured alive. He hurriedly ordered his subordinates to retreat, but before they could even start to run, they were completely surrounded. It turned out the Dean had already arrived with his men. Song Yanxiang could not help but sigh that the Dean was truly a sly old fox, timing it perfectly to sweep up the battlefield, but he did not care for such fame and wealth. While everyone was busy exchanging pleasantries, Song Yanxiang quietly collected Manluo's dropped mech talisman, then went to support Elder Shu, who was suffering from soul power exhaustion. Elder Shu, however, was sighing with regret. What a waste of such a precious realm-transcending pill. If I had taken it while in better condition, perhaps I could have grasped that sliver of opportunity to break through my bottleneck permanently. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang quickly leaned in and whispered to Elder Shu, "How about I give you another one later? You just need to find a place for secluded meditation to attain enlightenment." After hearing that, Elder Shu's composure instantly shattered. He never expected Song Yanxiang to still have another one. What he did not know was that a realm-transcending pill was not anything precious in Song Yanxiang's eyes, and to think he actually thought that he owed Song Yanxiang a massive favor. But Elder Shu quickly brought up the fact that Song Yanxiang was not truly the host of Zuosi. He promised to help clean up all the traces of the battle left behind. He told him to focus on playing the part of Zuosi's host with peace of mind. Consider it as paying back half of the favor he owed. Song Yanxiang immediately blacklisted Yinshin. Then, he dialed the principal's number. He wanted to see what that vixen wanted from him now. As soon as the call connected, the principal's explosive shouting came through. She berated him for keeping his do not disturb mode on for so long. Song Yanxiang put on a look of pure innocence. He turned the tables, blaming her for that medal ceremony nonsense, which had robbed him of any peace for the past few days. He claimed he had no choice but to hide behind closed doors. Realizing the reason, the principal quickly changed the subject. All right. Regarding the Star Heaven Observatory, I have already handled your official host certification. I will make a public announcement during the victory ceremony. Honestly, I am doing all this for your own good. Song Yanxiang looked skeptical. He thought to himself, that vixen. Single quote. Surely she has got another scheme up her sleeve, right? But then again, this works out. Now he could openly and legitimately use the Star-Lord system to replicate mechs. Seeing that Song Yanxiang still looked annoyed, the principal did not bother arguing further. She simply told him to get over to the workshop's training ground immediately. The reason was the blueprint Song Yanxiang gave her a few days ago. The workshop had already completed the prototype model. Even after hanging up, Song Yanxiang was still suspicious. He could not tell if the vixen had her eyes on him as a big fish, or if she just wanted to use him as bait. However, Song Yanxiang did not dwell on it, because he was certain he could break through to the saint rank within a year. By then, in the entire eastern continent, only the two god-rank ancestors could possibly threaten him. Although the losses at Yuanting City were severe this time, at least they suppressed the beast tide. They also foiled the Milan nation's conspiracy. That alone had already altered the trajectory of fate in this lifetime. As for the items scavenged from the guys who were hunting a San, the second prince should find them useful back in Tiandu. Elder Shu also received the realm-transcending pill I gave him. He is likely in secluded meditation somewhere, pushing for a breakthrough. As for that crazy woman, Yinshin, she also got the rift crystal from me. Wait, damn it, why did I block her? Before waiting for her to transfer the payment, lost in thought, Song Yanxiang unconsciously found himself at the Memorial Plaza. Wuzhen Liaozhen Lucheng Denghai. Looking at the names on the cenotaph, Huang Yuzhu Zhongyixi Wulin Denghai. Staring at those names on the monument. He Yan. Huang Yuzhu Zhongyixi. Thinking about those whose names were etched there, he felt a slight stir in his heart. He knew there were many casualties this time, but he did not expect to see so many lives lost. After a moment of solemn reflection, Song Yuanxiang arrived at the training ground. The principal immediately presented the completed prototype to him. We have only managed to finish 3 units based on your blueprints. As for the other 2, there are still some technical issues that have not been resolved. Oh, by the way, this is Mr. Nanguo from Taiyuan Heavy Industries. His team was responsible for manufacturing the prototypes. The principal then introduced Song Yuanxiang to Mr. Nanguo. Upon learning the person before him was Song Yuanxiang, Mr. Nanguo was instantly struck with shock. He immediately dropped to his knees before Song Yuanxiang. This gave the principal quite a fright. She had no idea why Mr. Nanguo would suddenly kneel to Song Yuanxiang. To think a prestigious and highly respected senior would actually perform a kowtow to a mere student. This gave the principal quite a scare. She did not understand why Mr. Nanguo would suddenly pull a stunt like this. As it turns out, while Song Yuanxiang was headed back to the Mech Martial Academy, he encountered refinery workers surrounded by beasts. Song Yuanxiang stepped in just in time. Only then were they lucky enough to keep their lives. Now, he represents all the employees to thank Song Yuanxiang. At the same time, he also has a humble request. He wants to know if the design blueprints truly came from Song Yuanxiang's hand. Song Yuanxiang did not even hesitate. He replied that he had indeed created them himself. It was just a sudden spark of inspiration he had, thinking there was nothing particularly special about it. Upon learning that Song Yuanxiang was the creator, Mr. Nanguo's eyes instantly lit up. He immediately started bowing repeatedly to Song Yuanxiang, begging Song Yuanxiang to take him as a disciple. The principal hurriedly spoke up to advise Mr. Nanguo not to joke around. Song Yuanxiang is merely a first-year student at the Mech Martial Academy, while you are a dignified rank 4 mech engineer. He is not even fit to carry your shoes. Mr. Nanguo waved his hand and cut the principal off. He stated that the principal knows nothing about structural engineering, judging solely by those few blueprints of Song Yuanxiang's. His attainments have already far surpassed a rank 6 mech engineer. As for carrying shoes, it is me who is not worthy of him. Mr. Song, I am willing to recommend you to go to Tiandu City, representing the Southern Continent's mech engineers, to participate in the mech design convention 3 months from now. Song Yuanxiang pondered for a moment. He knew that in his past life, the 8th mech design convention was dead on arrival due to various technical flaws in the mechs. Therefore, he did not agree rashly. He simply brushed it off, saying they would discuss it later. But the stubborn Mr. Nanguo still insisted on Song Yuanxiang taking him as a disciple. Left with no choice, Song Yuanxiang finally relented, saying he would share and exchange knowledge whenever possible. The principal also quickly stepped in to smooth things over, suggesting they test the prototype's performance first. But Mr. Nanguo started playing dirty, straight up declaring himself Song Yuanxiang's registered disciple. His stubbornness left Song Yuanxiang not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Soon, Song Yuanxiang configured the first test mech. Upon his command, the shoulder cannons fired instantly. The target range was immediately blasted into a massive crater. The explosive power barely met Song Yuanxiang's expectations. Next, he switched the shoulder cannons to hive cannons. The target was riddled like a sieve by the shells. In no time, the target turned to ash amidst the explosions. Seeing the blast, the principal was secretly terrified. She knew that this model of mech would become a nightmare for both beasts and heavy armored troops. The young man saved an old man's life, only to have the old man chase him down to be his master. Seeing the old man's talent was abysmal, the lad politely declined him, but the old man refused to give up. He shamelessly insisted on calling himself a disciple. Song Yuanxiang was caught between laughter and tears by this move. He had no choice but to indulge the old rascal's demands. Song Yuanxiang then began testing the prototype the old man built. The first mech's firepower barely reached his expectations. Without a word, he moved on to testing the 8th mech. Under his soul power control, the floating flying swords shot out instantly. They swarmed the target in a frenzied stabbing spree. This scene left the principal breathless with admiration. If this mech were handled by an elite pilot, wiping out several enemy squads of the same rank would be child's play. It was indeed as the principal thought. Floating flying swords require not only a powerful divine sense, but also precise soul power control. At the same time, one must understand the structure of enemy mechs. Only then can they pierce defenses for a one-hit kill. Otherwise, they are nothing more than tools for harassment. Soon, Song Yuanxiang configured the 3rd mech. When the principal saw the mech's bizarre weaponry, she immediately assumed its combat value would be mediocre. But Mr. Nongguo begged to differ. He knew this mech had no technical merit to speak of, yet he was shocked by its potential tactical application. Song Yunxiang then asked the principal to use the academy's defense array to simulate some live targets for him to practice on. He wants to test the combat effectiveness of this specific mech. Before long, a pack of Hudu comes charging right at him. Song Yunxiang immediately activates the defense shield and switches to melee mode. The Hudu are completely wiped out under his frantic barrage. Only now does the headmaster understand Song Yunxiang's true intention. So that is how it is. Using a defensive counterattack to deal with high-speed enemies during a charge. If these mechs could be deployed to the front lines, that would truly be something to look forward to. Just at that moment, Song Yunxiang receives a video call from shopkeeper Hong. Shopkeeper Hong tells him that the airport routes have been restored. They can depart as early as this afternoon. Song Yunxiang thanks shopkeeper Hong with a smile. Then he asks him to help follow the previous list and go purchase another small batch of various spirit medicines. Hearing this, shopkeeper Hong looks completely astonished. Another small batch. Young Master Song, the entire medicinal ingredient market in the southern continent has seen prices skyrocket because of you. But Song Yunxiang does not care at all. He simply instructs him to make sure the job gets done. Meanwhile, the headmaster is already plotting how to get her hands on the test prototypes. She is thinking about how to trick Song Yunxiang into handing over the design blueprints. Unexpectedly, after handing the test mech to Mr. Nongguo, Song Yunxiang even instructs her to choose from the best instructors and students, to select suitable Star Soul Masters, so they can adapt to the combat performance of these mechs as soon as possible. This completely catches the headmaster off guard. She does not understand what Song Yunxiang is up to, but Song Yunxiang's next words snap her back to reality instantly. Song Yunxiang expects her to fulfill her promise. In 1 month, she must lead an elite force to reinforce the Southern Wilderness Great Wall. The Southern Wilderness Great Wall, the joint defense line of Tiandu Nation and Chishui Nation. Have you somehow obtained some critical intelligence? But Song Yunxiang shuts down her questioning. He simply states he will notify her when there is confirmed news. Then he bids them farewell and makes a cool exit. Shortly after, Song Yunxiang arrives at the Yuanting City airport. At that moment, a man is having an argument with the staff. Song Yunxiang instinctively looks over. To his surprise, he sees a little girl from his past life. It is actually you. I never expected our paths would cross again. If one day fierce beasts ravaged the world, and you luckily escaped with your life, but you had not eaten for many days. If someone shared half a bun with you, then, and asked you to promise to be a hero who protects humanity, what choice would you make? In his past life, Song Yunxiang kept his promise to that little girl, defending the human race until his very last breath. Encountering the girl once more, he can't help but recall the events of his previous life. In the last life, Song Yunxiang followed the refugees out of Yuanting City, heading south into the desert of death. They naively believed that since no civilization existed in the desert, no fierce beasts would come to attack. So, as soon as they entered the desert, people stopped to rest. Song Yunxiang also sat down quickly to recover his strength. Just then, a little girl suddenly approached him. She directly handed him a bun to eat. The innocent girl thought that as long as Song Yunxiang was full, he would have the strength to protect ordinary people like them. Looking at the little girl before him, he was stunned for a long time, but he still pretended he was not hungry, telling the girl to save it for her family. He knew that in such a situation, food was more precious than gold, but at that moment, his stomach betrayed him. It kept growling loudly. Song Yunxiang immediately looked embarrassed. Seeing this, the little girl split the bun in two and gave half to him. Then she asked Song Yunxiang if he was a student of the Mech Martial Academy, because her older sister wore the same kind of clothes. But in order to let them escape, her sister ultimately chose to stay behind in the city, to intercept the beasts and buy them some time. At the thought of her sister, the little girl could not help but burst into tears. But she told herself she must not cry. Her father is the chief engineer of Taiyuan Heavy Industries, and in the future, she wants to be just like him, building powerful mechs, to wipe out all those beasts. But before she could finish her sentence, her stomach started growling loudly. Song Yunxiang quickly offered his bun to her. To his surprise, the little girl did not just refuse it. She insisted on watching him finish the bun, so he would have the strength to protect them. Song Yunxiang had no choice but to comply with her request. Seeing that Song Yunxiang had finished the bun, the little girl immediately started chatting with him about the future. If she ever becomes a mech engineer, Song Yunxiang must be her exclusive Star Soul Master test pilot. This certainly put Song Yunxiang in a tough spot. He did not know how to respond to her, and the little girl, seemingly afraid he would not agree, reached out her hand for a pinky swear. Seeing such a sincere and adorable girl, Song Yunxiang could not bear to break her heart, so he made the pinky swear, promising to keep his word. After that, they introduced themselves to each other. Only then did Song Yanxiang learn her name was Tang Xiaowen. Just then, Xiaowen's mother found them here. The two of them said their goodbyes, but unfortunately, tragedy struck unexpectedly. Though the desert does not usually attract alien beasts, they accidentally woke a beast slumbering beneath the sands. They had met once over half a bun. The man had even promised the little girl that he would protect the human race. But not long after the little girl left, a beast in the desert suddenly lunged out to attack. The man used every trick in the book to slay the beast, but the little girl and her mother had already perished in the beast's jaws. This left the man in profound grief. Now, having lived a second life, Song Yanxiang is determined to completely change Xiaowen's fate. In the VIP lounge, Xiaowen's father, Tang Jinshui, was still arguing with the staff, but he had already been fired by Taiyuan Heavy Industries, losing his boarding privileges. The staff would not let their family board the ship. At that moment, Song Yanxiang suddenly appeared and instructed the staff to take them to his private cabin. Then he took out a supreme card. Seeing this, the staff's attitude changed instantly, welcoming them aboard with a smile. But Tang Jinshui looked suspicious. He did not understand why this young man would want to help them, but anyone who could produce a supreme card must be incredibly wealthy or powerful. Just then, his niece Ruowei explained that Song Yanxiang was a student at the Mech Martial Academy and had saved her life during the beast tide. The Tang couple immediately caught on. So Song Yanxiang was helping them because of Ruowei. Little did they know, their daughter was the real reason. Soon, the group arrived at cabin number 1. Manager Hong immediately came out to greet Song Yanxiang warmly. It has been many days. Young Master Song, you are as dashing as ever. After exchanging some pleasantries, they got straight to the point. Manager Hong took out the spiritual herbs Song Yanxiang needed and handed them over. He suggested that since it was still early, he could take a stroll in the gardens if he had time. After that, he bid everyone farewell and left. Before long, a maid came by to ask what Song Yanxiang would like to order for his meal. Song Yanxiang did not expect the maid to be from the beastkin. This stirred up memories of his past life. In his previous life, while in the Imperial Tomb's secret realm, Song Yanxiang was unfortunately sucked into a spatial rift. The chaotic space currents carried him to the southern continent. The southern continent is a place where beastkin and spirits live together. Humans there are actually considered a rare species. The southern continent is different from the eastern continent. They do not have the technology for mass-producing mechs. Spatial rifts and alien beasts are also extremely rare there. Legend has it that the last beast tide occurred 500 years ago. The beastkin and spirits, due to the innate imbalance of their two soul meridians. Therefore, it is extremely difficult for them to become star soul masters. Those capable of constructing a mech are even rarer, like phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. In the southern continent, Song Yanxiang acquired the unique heritage of the Yao clan's physical tempering, as well as the spirit race's alchemy techniques. Later, he was taken in as a personal disciple by the fighting ancestor. Unfortunately, the fighting ancestor's mech was lost during the Great War 500 years ago, sealed away by the 5 Elements Grand Array. Back then, Song Yanxiang was not yet proficient in the way of arrays, so he missed the chance to copy that legendary mech. Just then, the maid spoke up, interrupting Song Yanxiang's train of thought. Song Yanxiang gave a gentle nod to indicate he was fine, but in his heart, he was wondering if he would ever have another chance to return to the southern continent. He wanted to make up for his past regrets, and perhaps solve those unsolved mysteries along the way. This blonde guy starts fighting at the slightest provocation. He even wanted to beat that Yao clan member to death with his bare hands, simply because his family was killed by rebellious Yao. He loses all self-control the moment he sees one. A moment ago, when Song Yanxiang asked everyone what they wanted to eat, Tang Xiaowen suddenly blurted out that she wanted buns. Her mother quickly covered her mouth with her hand, repeatedly apologizing to Song Yanxiang. But when Song Yanxiang learned she wanted buns, he immediately instructed Xiao Meng to find a pastry chef to make some fresh. He even specified that they must use radish filling. As soon as Xiao Meng left, he closed his eyes to rest his spirit. At that moment, a small hand tugged at his clothes. Song Yanxiang opened his eyes to look. It turned out Tang Xiaowen had already come to his side. Then Tang Xiaowen asked him, "Do you also like eating buns with radish filling?" Song Yanxiang replied that while he would not say he loved them, ever since he had them once, he felt they were quite good. Hearing this, Tang Xiaowen immediately opened her small backpack. "I originally planned to save this for the journey, but to thank you, big brother, for letting us board the ship. Please have this bun." Looking at the bun in his hand, memories of his past life instantly flooded Song Yanxiang's mind. However, he quickly snapped out of his reminiscence, looking at the thin little girl with a smile. He then split the bun in two. The two of them ate the bun together, just like that. In his past life, he failed his promise to protect her. In this life, he will change Tang Xiaowen's fate, allowing her to grow up happily by her parents' side. Meanwhile, The passengers in cabin 3 of the TN class wanted to sightsee in the atrium, but they were stopped by the guards. They were told to return to their cabins and sit down. Once the airship stabilized its flight, the atrium would be open to them again. But Naira would not take no for an answer, looking like she was dead set on going out. Seeing this, Phage reached out and pressed down on her head. Just then, the maid Xiao Meng suddenly pushed the door open and entered. The two sides could not dodge in time and collided head-on. Xiao Meng quickly got up and apologized to them. At the same time, she tried to wipe Naira's skirt clean with her hand. Little did she know, she had just crossed a forbidden line. As a result, she was sent flying by a kick from Phage. Then Phage began to ruthlessly trample on Xiao Meng. The guard wanted to step forward to stop him, but was held back by Naira. She is just a mere Yao slave. If we beat her to death, we will just pay the compensation. Just as Phage was about to finish Xiao Meng off with a punch, Song Yanxiang suddenly appeared and caught his hand. Friend, this is my personal maid. Who gave you the right to lay a hand on her? Song Yanxiang's grip tightened significantly. Naira hurriedly stepped forward to explain. Our apologies, elder. He gets like this whenever he sees a Yao slave from the cat ear tribe. Please be patient with us. Here are 50,000 lower realm coins. Consider it compensation for our momentary impulse. Elder, what do you think? Looking at the lower realm card, Song Yanxiang fell into deep thought. Meanwhile, Phage had just regained his freedom. Naira forced Phage to apologize to Song Yanxiang. Song Yanxiang did not want to dwell on it and let them go, judging by their skin tone and the way they performed their salutations. Song Yanxiang suspected they were from the Haxia Nation. The Haxia Nation is located to the southwest of the Tiandu Nation. The Haxia Nation is located to the southwest of the Tiandu Nation. They are longtime rivals with the Longhai Nation, which is dominated by the beast race. Consequently, capturing and trafficking the beast race has become a major economic industry for the Haxia Nation. In the eyes of the Haxia people, the beast race has become nothing more than mere merchandise without any dignity. Just then, Song Yanxiang suddenly heard a beautiful singing voice coming from the central cabin. He could not help but look over there. To his surprise, it was her, Lin Jinghua, one of the future 4 great songstresses of the Tiandu Nation. In his past life, he heard rumors she was a resident singer for the Hong Clan Merchant Guild. He did not expect it to be true. On this violently shaking airship, others had long been dazed by the turbulence. Yet as this man walked, he moved as if on level ground, completely unaffected by the motion. This was because he could adjust his muscle strength to act as a buffer, thereby neutralizing the ship's vibrations. Just a moment ago, Song Yanxiang was focused on refining pills. He needed to prepare his family in advance for the upcoming beast tide. Suddenly, the airship jolted violently. Has it set sail already? Luckily, I reinforced this private room with an array, so the turbulence did not affect me. After speaking, Song Yanxiang put away the newly refined pills. Given his current Earth realm cultivation, producing 8-star pills was indeed a bit of a stretch. At the same time, Tang Xiaowen's family was feeling dizzy from all the shaking. Song Yanxiang then walked out of the private room. Tang Xiaowen hurriedly called out to Song Yanxiang, inviting him to sit beside her. However, Tang Xiaowen's mother looked shocked. She did not expect Song Yanxiang to be completely unfazed by the jolting. She could not help but sigh inwardly, noticing that the person before her was truly extraordinary. Ruo Wei was also wearing an incredibly shocked expression. Was classmate Song using a movement technique? But it seemed as if he was relying solely on his physical strength. By now, Song Yanxiang had sat down next to Tang Xiaowen. He immediately sent a message to his family. It is good to be heading home. I can't wait to see you all. Upon receiving Song Yanxiang's transmission, Steward Mu, the head of the East Wing, hurried to report to Song Jingzong. Steward Mu hurried to report to Song Jingzong. Steward Mu hurried to report the news. Marquis, I have just received a transmission from the young master. He is expected to arrive home by tomorrow noon. Hearing this, Song Jingzong immediately turned on his holographic device. He saw the news broadcast, announcing that Song Yanxiang had become the successor to Zuo Si. He clenched his fists in excitement. He immediately ordered the steward to deploy 2 sky-suppressing warships from the army to escort him. The steward felt that deploying warships privately might be somewhat inappropriate, but Song Jingzong barked at him to go and do it immediately. Looking at the family photo in the frame, Song Jingzong fell into deep thought. Not only has Yanxiang healed his soul meridians, but he also seems to have gained some sort of formidable power. Oh, my dear daughter-in-law, could all of this really be as you predicted? Meanwhile, Xiao Meng brought over the buns she had just finished making for everyone. After taking a bite, Tang Xiaowen froze instantly. Song Yanxiang thought she was choking, but he did not expect it was simply because the bun was so delicious. So Song Yanxiang also took a bite. It tasted like the specialty style from the mid-reaches of the Chang River, near the border of the Qishui Nation. This flavor truly brings back memories. The last time I ate this, back at Yuanting City, the headquarters of the Black Armor Guard. After finding out how delicious the buns were, Xiao Meng immediately blurted out that Miss Lin Jinghua was the one who taught her the recipe. Just as she remembered something she wanted to tell Song Yunxiang, she was interrupted by the sound of musical instruments from outside. It turns out the performance in the courtyard has already begun. Have you ever seen such a pathetic Liu Biyu? Even the Crimson Flame Dragon Steed has been turned into a cringe-worthy prop. This is so bad the real deal can't even look him in the eye. But the audience seems to absolutely love it, simply because Liu Biyu has already become their role model. Just a moment ago, while everyone was tasting the buns, beautiful singing suddenly drifted from the courtyard. The show had officially started. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang brought Tang Xiaowen and the others out to watch, and they were seated in the best spot, the Diamond VIP section. Zhang Deji, from Cabin 2, cast a look of sheer disdain their way. Even I, the second young master of the great Zhang family, am not qualified to ride in Cabin 1. Who on earth are these people? They look pretty average to me, though. At that moment, Naira also spotted Song Yunxiang in the VIP section. As far as she knew, those qualified to sit there must be highly valued guests of the Han Clan Merchant Guild. For the sake of the Samarin family's interests, we must find an opportunity to get on their good side. Hearing this, Phage looked toward the VIP area. To his surprise, he saw Xiao Meng from the Beast Tribe. His rage was instantly ignited. This scared Xiao Meng so much her fur literally stood on end. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang turned his head and shot a warning glare at Naira and her crew. For them to be sitting in such a prime spot, it seems their identities are anything but ordinary. I will have to investigate them once we get back, to see if they have any value I can exploit. Song Yunxiang then told Xiao Meng she did not need to be afraid, and motioned for her to sit right next to him. At that point, the host took the stage to announce the next act, which was the Great Battle of Yuanting City. The series, a lone rider slaying a horde of demons. Song Yunxiang's face immediately contorted in embarrassment. You have got to be kidding me. What kind of nonsense play is this? The performance began right after. A commoner ran out screaming for help, with 3 Taoyi beasts chasing right behind him. Just as the commoner was about to be a snack for the Taoyi, 3 student mechs arrived just in time to stop them. They quickly engaged the Taoying in combat, but it was not long before they were utterly defeated by the beasts. Right at that moment, another mech suddenly appeared on stage. It was Zuo Si, arriving to save the day. He muttered a couple of lines and transformed into Liu Biyu. The audience below instantly erupted with passionate cheers, because Liu Biyu is the hero in all their hearts. In a flash, Liu Biyu wiped out those 3 beasts, but the plot that followed was a total eyesore. The great second prince, Tian Zihai, had been adapted into the second princess. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang spat out the tea he had just sipped. What the hell is a second princess? If Tian Zihai ever found out about this, he would definitely have you all executed. Before long, there appeared on stage a Changqi, an ancient ferocious beast. To protect the second princess, Liu Biyu decisively battled the heaven-ranked Changqi despite being outmatched. Such a heroic act sent the audience into a frenzy of cheers. Even Zhang Deji's blood was pumping with excitement. After being rescued, the second princess planned to offer herself in marriage, but she was flatly rejected by Liu Biyu, simply because he is a wanderer whose heart belongs to the world. He then promptly bid his farewell and left, leaving the second princess standing alone and confused in the wind. Meanwhile, Rui's eyes were filled with tears, because the sentiment and the scene were exactly the same as when Song Yunxiang rescued her. But this play made Song Yunxiang unable to look away, not out of awe, but disbelief. This script is way too over the top, is not it? The performance is a total mess. Unfortunately for him, his timing was off. Zhang Deji, who was standing nearby, overheard him. He immediately lashed out at Song Yunxiang. Sir, not only are you being disrespectful to Miss Lin Jinghua, who wrote this masterpiece, but you are also insulting the great senior depicted in this play. I demand you come forward and apologize to them right now. These 2 hotheads were ready to throw hands over a single word. The reason for the fight was all for their idolized hero, Liu Biyu. Yet they had no idea that the real Liu Biyu was right there on the scene, and he happened to be the very person they despised. Just a moment ago, while Song Yunxiang was roasting the opera for its ridiculous and distorted plot, he was unluckily overheard by Zhang Deji. Zhang immediately stood up and demanded an apology from Song Yunxiang. He acted as if he would beat him to a pulp if he did not comply. Song Yunxiang felt a wave of annoyance. He could not help but wonder where this chubby guy got his crazy attitude from. Meanwhile, Naira, who was watching from the side, saw the argument brewing between Song Yunxiang and Zhang Deji. She instantly realized that this was a golden opportunity to earn some goodwill. So, the 2 of them decided to step in and help Song Yunxiang. At that moment, Tang Xiaowen jumped out and yelled at Zhang Deji. You fat pig, are you looking for trouble on purpose? Watch out, or my big brother will knock your teeth out. Upon hearing this, Zhang Degi's temper flared instantly. He started shouting back at Tang Xiaowen. He hated nothing more than being called a fat pig. But then, Phage stepped up to add fuel to the fire. So what if she calls you a fat pig? What are you going to do about it? Seeing that the newcomers were barbarians from the lower realm, Zhang Degi did not want to cause a bigger scene. He told them to stay out of this business. But Phage had already pulled out a mech talisman. I have got a pretty short fuse, since you have already ruined my mood while I was enjoying the performance. I guess I will just have to take my frustration out on you. Seeing the situation escalate, Zhang Degi's Uncle Wu also summoned his mech talisman. The atmosphere became incredibly tense as both sides reached a breaking point. Right at that moment, Lin Jinghua spoke up to interrupt their dispute. Honored guests, could you please set aside your disagreement for a moment? Allow this humble lady to explain. When they realized it was Lin Jinghua speaking, both men instantly turned into starstruck fanboys. Song Yanxiang could not help but sigh inwardly. Though Lin Jinghua still seemed a bit green and innocent now, she already showed faint signs of the superstar aura she would possess 3 years later. Seeing that no one objected, Lin Jinghua immediately continued. The play has indeed been artistically enhanced. It is not entirely based on the literal truth. But then, she suddenly shifted her focus. The young master in Cabin 1 might have actually participated in that great war. That would explain his criticisms of the content. However, for commercial reasons, some adaptations to the story were unavoidable. I hope the young master can be understanding. Hearing this, a look of awkwardness crossed Song Yanxiang's face. Afterwards, Lin Jinghua, in order to settle their dispute, decided to perform a song herself. Zhang Degi, seeing a way to save face, was more than happy to agree, and so, the conflict that was about to erupt was thus dissolved as her beautiful voice filled the air. Memories from years ago were stirred in Song Yanxiang. He too had once been a loyal fan of Lin Jinghua. Many of her songs were still fresh in his mind. Before anyone realized it, Lin Jinghua had finished her performance, but the crowd was far from satisfied. They kept chanting for an encore. She had no choice but to take out her unfinished work, Burning Star. She hoped that performing it live might spark a glimmer of inspiration. This took Song Yanxiang by surprise as well. He did not expect her to have composed Burning Star this early. Back then, she relied on this very song to rise as one of the 4 great divas. As the music began to play, Song Yanxiang started humming along with Lin Jinghua. Memories of his past life instantly flashed before his eyes. His humming became more and more lost in the moment. He only snapped out of it when he realized the entire venue had gone dead silent. Song Yanxiang stood there looking completely bewildered. It was not until Xiao Meng told him that the latter half of the lyrics had not been written yet that he realized he had zoned out and accidentally sang the final verses. The line, "The one who returns shall be me," was the ending that had been troubling Lin Jinghua for a long time. In her heart, she had always yearned for the day she could return with dignity to the Lin family of Qishui Nation. Deeply moved by the connection, Lin Jinghua immediately bowed in gratitude to Song Yanxiang. She never expected to find a true kindred spirit here. This left Song Yanxiang feeling incredibly awkward, almost as if he had been caught cheating on an exam. The lyrics the man had hummed unintentionally actually benefited the girl immensely. Her cultivation, stalled for years, broke through in an instant. However, the phenomenon caused by her breakthrough attracted a massive swarm of vicious beasts. Just moments ago, after Lin Jinghua heard Song Yanxiang's humming of Burning Star, the emotional resonance of the lyrics cleared her mental block. The bottleneck at the peak of the Yellow Realm began to loosen. Lin Jinghua immediately seized this rare opportunity, sitting cross-legged to break through her realm's shackles. A moment later, a pillar of light shot straight into the clouds. This caused Zhang Degi to turn pale with shock. He never imagined Lin Jinghua was also a star soul master, let alone one who could reach the Black Realm at such a young age. But everything was within Song Yanxiang's expectations. Once the state of mind is liberated, breaking through a bottleneck is only natural. Right at that moment, the boundless sky was suddenly obscured by a cloud of birds. Song Yanxiang immediately realized something was wrong. He did not expect a spatial rift to appear here, but at this time, the crowd was still busy congratulating Lin Jinghua on her breakthrough. Little did they know, danger was closing in. After thanking the crowd, Lin Jinghua turned to express her gratitude to Song Yanxiang. He had enlightened her and opened her eyes. She also hoped that after the performance, Song Yanxiang could visit her to offer some guidance, but she was abruptly interrupted by him, leaving her momentarily at a loss. At the same time, the cockpit sensors detected the appearance of the spatial rift. The captain immediately ordered to activate the advanced defense array and issued a warning to the passengers about an incoming beast attack. He urged everyone to return to the cabins quickly. Countless Baifeng flying beasts emerged from the rift. They launched a coordinated assault on the airship. The powerful force caused the airship to rock violently. Just as Lin Jinghua was about to fall, Song Yanxiang lunged forward and caught her. Naturally, Lin Jinghua thanked him once again, but Song Yanxiang had no time for pleasantries. His mind was racing, thinking of a way to quickly eliminate these beasts. Inside the cockpit, the captain knew the defense array would not hold for long. They had to organize a counterattack first, thin out the beast numbers, then wait for a chance to break through the encirclement. Meanwhile, they sent a distress signal to the nearest city, requesting the garrison to come for support. The security team soon launched a counteroffensive against the beasts. The captain ordered his men to hold the line at all costs. They could not let the beasts breach the defense array. Then the captain's voice echoed from the cockpit, urging all passengers to take refuge on the lower deck immediately. The current situation is critical. Any Star Soul masters among the passengers with combat capabilities, please go and assist the security team immediately. We must defend against the beasts together. Seeing this, Zhang Degi also wanted to do his part. He knew that at a time like this, everyone is in the same boat. If the ship's defense array is breached by those ferocious beasts, then nobody's getting out of here alive. But in the end, he was still carried away by his subordinates. Naira also felt that Zhang Degi was right. They had to lend a hand. Otherwise, this place will truly become their grave. By now, Song Yanxiang had already pulled out a mech talisman, but this scene was caught right in Ruowei's line of sight. Wait, is not that my mech talisman? I thought I lost it during the last battle. I even went and applied for a new one. To think he was the one who picked it up. He has actually been carrying my mech talisman with him this whole time. Those drones are actually ferocious beasts. Right now, they are launching a frenzied assault on the airship, and the spots they are targeting are all the weakest points of the defense array. The captain immediately gave the order. Dispatch the security team to guard the array, but his subordinate informed him of the grim reality. The entire security team is locked in a fierce battle at the bow. They can't break away to protect the defense array. Hearing this, the captain felt utterly helpless. Now, he can only pin his hopes on those VIP guests in the central court. He hoped the powerhouses among them would step up to face the enemy. Meanwhile, the beasts in the sky suddenly changed their formation. Immediately after, a massive pillar of light struck straight down. In an instant, the defense array was shattered by the beam. Seeing the falling boulders, about to crush the diva to death, suddenly a defensive talisman shot toward them at lightning speed. The talisman instantly transformed into a shield that protected them. It turned out Song Yanxiang had intervened to save them. This left Lin Jinghua absolutely stunned. He can actually manifest an array instantaneously. Just who on earth is he? But Song Yanxiang had no time to pay attention to Lin Jinghua. At this moment, he was staring at the sky with a grim expression. The beasts had already slipped through the defense array. Seeing this, Uncle Wu leapt into the air. At the same time, he tossed a mech talisman to Zhang Degi, telling Zhang Degi to look after himself. Then, he immediately deployed his mech. Brandishing a giant halberd, he slashed at the beasts. In a split second, he was locked in combat with the monsters. Right then, the system suddenly issued a warning to Song Yanxiang. It had detected a massive threat approaching. It urged Song Yanxiang to evacuate the area immediately. But Song Yanxiang was wondering what it could possibly be. He knew it definitely was not some small fry like a Baifang. The only things that could threaten him now are beasts at the Saint tier or higher, while leaving would be a piece of cake for him if he wanted to save everyone on this airship. He found himself biting off more than he could chew. I have only managed to copy the basic mech so far, plus these 2 mech talismans I picked up, but none of them have flight capabilities. If only Cao Ren and the others were here. At that moment, Uncle Wu was outmatched by the Baifang and knocked down by a single strike. The Baifang took the chance to blast him with a concentrated breath attack. Seeing this, Naira did not just sit idly by. She ordered Phage to join the fray, although Phage and Zhang Degi did not see eye to eye. Right now, they had to sink or swim together. In no time, he had his mech fully equipped, just as the Baifang prepared to attack Uncle Wu again. Unexpectedly, it was the one struck first. It turned out Phage had stepped in at the crucial moment. This was something even Uncle Wu did not expect, that Phage would actually save him, but he was not about to let anyone show him up. He seized the giant axe and swung it at Baifeng again. And so, a 2-on-1 battle commenced. Meanwhile, Xiao Ming was persuading the crowd to head to the lower deck for shelter. This move aligned perfectly with Song Yanxiang's plan, but Tang Xiaowen believed that Song Yanxiang could protect them. Staying by Song Yanxiang's side was the safest option. In the end, she was still carried away by her mother. Ruowei, however, was unwilling to go with them, because she was also a Star Soul Master. This time, she wanted to fight shoulder to shoulder with Song Yanxiang. Even though she was being lugged around by someone, she did not show the slightest bit of anger. Instead, she looked like a total fangirl. She even said thank you to the person carrying her. Just moments ago, Uncle Wu and Phage were locked in a fierce struggle with the beasts. Phage decided wanted to exploit his speed advantage to distract the beast, while Uncle Wu waited for the perfect opening to deliver a fatal blow. Phage quickly succeeded in luring the beast into a chase. Uncle Wu seized the giant axe, aiming to slay the beast in one go. Unexpectedly, he was knocked flying by another beast. At this moment, inside the defensive array, several beasts had already burrowed their way in. Everyone realized things were going south. Sure enough, the beasts launched an indiscriminate attack on them. Seeing this, Niu immediately equipped his mech. He blocked the beast's strike. Zhang Degi managed to dodge a bullet thanks to him. Lin Jinghua and Ruowei also instantly equipped their mechs to stand in front of the crowd, but Song Yunxiang was even faster than them, with an instant cast defensive array. He had long since protected Tang Xiaowen's family. When Ruowei turned to look for Song Yunxiang, there was no sign of him left. By then, he was already carrying Naira, standing safely inside the defensive array. At this moment, Naira's heart was filled with shock. She had not expected Song Yunxiang to be this powerful, to think he could block a beast's attack with his bare hands. But before she could snap out of her shock, Song Yunxiang set her down and vanished again. On the other side, Zhang Degi was clutching a mech talisman and muttering to himself. Zhang Degi, you can't be a coward. As long as you have courage, you can overcome anything. Just like that hero in Yuanting City, who turned the tide of the battle. Trembling, he shouted the command for Star Soul equipment. In an instant, a mech materialized behind Niu. Niu turned around to ask Zhang Degi if he was okay. Zhang Degi immediately raised his hand to show he was fine. He then attempted to equip his weapon. But just then, a beast lunged straight down at them. Seeing this, Zhang Degi began to panic. He grabbed a weapon at random to meet the attack. Niu used a parry, knocking the beast back. Zhang Degi seized the chance and leapt with all his might. He delivered a heavy hammer blow right to the beast's head, ending the beast's life on the spot. Meanwhile, Song Yunxiang had already returned to Tang Xiaowen's side. He immediately told Tang Xiaowen's family not to go to the lower deck. Staying near him was much safer. However, Tang Jinsui looked utterly confused. The battle is raging right here. Wouldn't the lower deck be safer? But Song Yunxiang told Tang Jinsui that even more powerful beasts might appear soon. He needed to play it by ear, depending on the situation. If things take a turn for the worse, I will find a way to get them off this ship. Once they realized how dire the situation was, their faces turned pale with shock. There are even more powerful beasts that have not shown up yet. Abandoning ship at this altitude. Those two facts alone were enough to shake them to the core. But then, Tang Jinsui had a second thought. He felt Song Yunxiang should not just stand by and watch people die. As they say, with great power comes great responsibility. Thinking this, he immediately tried to persuade Song Yunxiang. Why do not we go talk to the captain right now? Maybe there is a better way to handle this. Instead, he got a massive lump on his head from his wife's fist. Shut your mouth. We can barely save ourselves, and you are out here playing the saint. The lyrics the man absent-mindedly sang actually allowed the girl to find the spark needed for a breakthrough, but the phenomenon caused by her rank up attracted a whole pack of vicious beasts. Under the beasts' coordinated assault, the defensive array was shattered in no time. Left with no choice, everyone scrambled to join the fight. At that moment, Ruowei and Lin Jinghua were surrounding one of the beasts, but it suddenly launched an attack at Lin Jinghua. Luckily, Ruowei gave a timely warning. Only then did she manage to dodge the beast's strike, but she immediately rejoined the combat squad to slay the monsters. At the same time, Shen Dai was apologizing to Song Yunxiang. She told Song Yunxiang not to take her husband's words to heart. Their whole family was willing to follow Song Yunxiang's lead. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang said it was fine. After all, if he had not brought them onto this ship in the first place, they would not be in this danger. No matter what, he would ensure their safety. On the other side, the beast was mopping the floor with Uncle Wu. By now, he was nothing more than a lamb to the slaughter. However, right then, Phage suddenly appeared behind the beast, aiming right for the monster's spine. He delivered a devastating blow. Howling in pain, the beast turned to retaliate, but Phage was faster. His hand blade pierced straight through its head. Having been saved, Uncle Wu expressed his thanks to Phage. Even though he always hated Phage's smug attitude, he had to admit, Phage's strength was the real deal, and Phage remained as arrogant as ever. Old man, remember, you owe me one. Then, they began fighting side by side against the beast tide. Currently, the human camp situation looked grim. Niu was sent flying by a beast's kick. Zhang Degi was being pinned down and thrashed. Lin Jinghua was snatched up by a beast, and then hurled directly at Ruowei. The two of them collided in a heap. The beast immediately began charging up energy, preparing to deliver a fatal blow to them both. Just as they thought their lives were over, a hand suddenly grabbed the beast's tail. With a powerful swing, he slammed the beast into the ground. The newcomer was none other than Song Yunxiang. Witnessing this scene, everyone could not help but look shocked. They could not believe it. The hero who could turn the tide of battle actually appeared here. And at this moment, Song Yunxiang had already finished off the beast. Just then, he suddenly felt a new danger approaching. The girl who was a weakling in need of rescue just a moment ago suddenly transformed into a mech warrior. Turns out she had been hiding her true strength all along. But at this moment, her friends were in grave danger. She had no choice but to reveal her trump card and intervene. Just a moment ago, after Song Yunxiang had saved Lin Jinghua and her companion from the beasts, he suddenly heard Zhang Degi screaming for help. Seeing that he was about to become beast food, Song Yunxiang immediately pulled the sky halberd from the beast's corpse. Unexpectedly, this startled the other beast. It immediately lunged towards him. Seeing this, he instantly threw the sky halberd. The next second, the beast was pierced through. It flew apart in all directions like scrap metal. This scene left Zhang Degi utterly shocked. It was actually that hero, the one who single-handedly turned the tide, who had saved him. He simply could not believe it. The legendary figure from the opera, actually appearing right here. At this time, another horde of beasts broke through the defensive array. Song Yunxiang realized that with their current combat strength, they probably would not last long. Under the assault of this beast horde, he had originally planned to conserve his strength. To deal with that hidden threat, it seemed he had no choice but to reveal his hand early. Star-Lord system, unlock Lu Bu's Earth rank armament for me, the sky-shattering cloud dreadbow. Upon receiving the command, the system immediately began the explosive soul power disassembly. The sky-shattering cloud dreadbow is Lu Bu's strongest long-range weapon. Although its power is astonishing, its energy consumption is also immense, unless absolutely necessary. Song Yunxiang really did not want to use it. Meanwhile, Phage and Uncle Wu were locked in a fierce battle with the beasts. Just then another beast joined the fray. The two of them could not help but turn pale with shock. Another one. There is no end to these damn things. But before they could finish their sentence, 4 flying wheels suddenly appeared just in time, blocking the beast's attack. Phage looked at Naira with a grave expression. He knew the Golden Moon Wheel was an armament still in its testing phase. For Naira to risk exposing her trump card in front of everyone meant the situation had already reached a critical point. But after retrieving her flying wheels, Naira feigned a relaxed demeanor. My timing was perfect, was not it? Aren't you going to praise me? However, the beasts were not about to give them time for idle chatter. Soon the beasts assumed an attack stance. Seeing this, Phage and Uncle Wu quickly retreated to Naira's side. Miss Naira, what should we do now? Even if it is 3 against 3, our chances of winning are not that high. However, it seems the other side is also hesitant to make a rash move. This stalemate will be disadvantageous for us. If another one shows up, we will be in real trouble. Hearing this, Naira immediately laid out her plan. I will use the flying wheels to pin down 2 of the beasts. You two, seize the opportunity and work together to finish off the remaining one. Phage and Uncle Wu immediately nodded in agreement. To ensure a flawless victory, the two decided to combine their efforts to kill the weakest of the beasts. Uncle Wu would be responsible for drawing the beast's attention, while Phage would seize the chance to circle behind it for a sneak attack. Just as they were about to execute their plan, an arrow of light suddenly shot towards the beasts. That terrifying power pierced through the sky. In an instant, the 3 beasts were turned to dust. It turned out to be Song Yunxiang, who had lent a hand. His arrow had resolved their crisis, but they were just left completely dumbfounded, with absolutely no idea what had just happened. All they knew was a flash of light, and the 3 beasts vanished without a trace. The 3 of them stood there, utterly bewildered, completely unaware of what had just transpired. Just then Uncle Wu gently rubbed his eyes. Could it be that I am getting too old, and my eyesight is failing me? How did that happen in the blink of an eye? That beast was turned into literal ashes. Phage stood there with a look of utter confusion. He hurriedly asked Naira, did a flash of light just streak past? Naira immediately started gesticulating with excitement. Yes, yes, yes. A streak of light just flashed by at lightning speed. The beast was instantly obliterated into dust by that brilliance. At this moment, Zhang Degi was even more hyped than they were. That crimson mech, it is exactly like the one from the opera. It has to be him. He is the hero from the Battle of Yuanting City. Hearing this, Naira looked completely shell-shocked. What? He is actually the hero who turned the tide of that war. Meanwhile, Song Yunxiang had a worried expression on his face, because that last strike was a bit too overkill. He accidentally punched a hole right through the luxury cabin. Now, his only hope is that there are no casualties. Just then, he heard a sharp warning from Lin Jinghua. It turned out that while he was spacing out, 3 beasts were already lunging straight at him. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang immediately commanded the system, unlock the sky-shattering claw. With a crisp chime, the system successfully unlocked the weapon. The sky-shattering cloud dreadbow immediately began to transform. In an instant, the sky-shattering claw materialized, equipped onto the arm of the gauge mech. Song Yunxiang took the chance to swing the claw, cleaving the incoming beast right in half. The second beast hurriedly skidded to a halt right in front of him. Song Yuanxiang instantly seized this golden opportunity, ending its life with a single swipe, seeing its companions slaughtered one after another. The third beast desperately tried to flee, but Song Yuanxiang leaped through the air and caught up in a flash. With a swift strike, he pierced it clean through the heart. This scene left everyone staring in jaw-dropping silence. Lin Jinghua was deeply shaken by Song Yuanxiang's sheer power. Young Master Song can kill several beasts at the Earth Realm or higher in just an instant. Perhaps he really can help me. Ruowei was also wearing a look of disbelief. It has not been long since the Battle of Yuanting City, yet classmate Song's combat power has actually increased several times over. At this moment, Song Yuanxiang was alertly scanning the high altitude. It is still hiding and has not made a move. Could it be that it is wary of something? Meanwhile, Phage finally realized that Song Yuanxiang was indeed that hero. His heart could not help but tremble. This is truly terrifying. Thank goodness I did not fight back earlier. Otherwise, the consequences would be unthinkable. Hearing this, Naira chimed in mockingly. That is right, little Phage. In the words of the Tiandu people, this time next year would have been the first anniversary of your death. During their brief exchange, a large swarm of beasts had already flooded into the defense array. In an instant, the monsters had them completely surrounded. Meanwhile, inside the cockpit, the situation was looking grim. A subordinate informed the captain. The defense array will fail within 10 breaths. The captain immediately ordered him. Keep broadcasting the SOS signal on all channels. But before the signal could even be sent, they were attacked by a beast. They had no choice but to quickly evacuate the cockpit. Right at that moment, the beast was suddenly impaled by a halberd. Song Yuanxiang had arrived just in time. The beast was then sliced into 2 pieces. The captain never expected that there would be such a powerhouse among the passengers. At that moment, the subordinate suddenly spoke up. The Crimson Mech. He is the hero who turned the tide of battle. He is indeed that legendary hero who saved the day. The man is a hero who can reverse any desperate situation. He saved an entire city single-handedly. News of his heroic deeds spread quickly across the nation. Soon, he became a national idol for everyone. And now, just as the captain was in dire straits, Song Yuanxiang intervened just in time to save him. This left the captain feeling incredibly overwhelmed with emotion. What an absolute honor. I never imagined that young Master Song would actually be that hero from Yuanting City. My whole family are diehard fans of his. I have got to find a chance later to get his autograph. Maybe I could even snag a selfie with him. Just thinking about it is exciting. Meanwhile, the situation for the security team outside has become critical. Right now, only the captain and one team member are still struggling to hold the line. Captain, there are more and more of these damn beasts, no matter how many we kill. The brothers have suffered heavy casualties. We are reaching our breaking point. If we retreat now, we might still make it out alive. Hearing this, the captain immediately cut him off. We cannot retreat. Don't forget, we are the security for the Hong Clan Merchant Guild. The safety of the passengers comes before everything else. The team member let out a helpless sigh. If I am unlucky enough to die in battle, what will happen to my family then? But how could the captain not know that? Yet the captain was well aware of the risks. However, it is their sworn duty. Besides, the Hong Clan's pension for fallen soldiers is very generous. Plus, the compensation from the Hong Clan is more than enough. So even if I am unfortunate enough to fall, it won't be in vain. Seeing this, the team member no longer hesitated. Damn it, you wretched beasts. I will give you everything I have got. Immediately after, he loosed his arrows toward the beasts. Following that, arrows were fired rapidly at the monsters. But in the end, they were simply outnumbered. Soon a beast broke through the defense and lunged at them. Seeing the danger, the captain hurriedly pushed the member aside, but he could not dodge in time and was sent flying by the beast's impact. In the next second, the beast snapped its jaws toward his head. Is this where it all ends for me? I really do not want to go out like this. At least with the Hong Clan's pension, the family debts can finally be cleared. Just as the captain thought his life was over, the beast's body was suddenly pierced by a halberd. It turned out Song Yuanxiang had arrived to save him. The captain stared blankly at his savior. At this moment, he was in a state of complete shock. Song Yuanxiang merely gave him a cool, brief glance. Then he looked up at the beasts circling in the air. If Cao Ren or Ao Bing were here, perhaps things would be much more convenient. By now, the captain had snapped out of his daze. He immediately clasped his hands and knelt to thank Song Yuanxiang. Thank you, young Master Song, for saving my life. Hearing this, Song Yuanxiang told them no thanks were necessary. He then ordered them to retreat to the safe zone. The number of beasts is only increasing. Looks like I will have to use that move to test the waters. After speaking, he hurled the sky halberd toward the beasts. Seeing such a powerful strike miss its mark, the captain and his man could not help but feel it was a waste. However, they did not realize Song Yanxiang's true intention. When Song Yanxiang used the dragon tongue bow to fire off a breathtaking shot, the flying arrow struck the sky halberd with precision. The resulting explosion sent shards raining down on the beasts. In an instant, the sky looked as if fireworks were blooming. Only then did the captain understand the plan. So that is how it is. I can't believe such a combat style even exists. Dozens of beasts were slain with just a single strike. Young Master Song is simply too badass. However, Song Yanxiang's single strike, but it only served to completely infuriate the beasts. Countless vicious creatures could be seen, swarming right toward them. Song Yanxiang's expression immediately turned suspicious. Those few beasts, I am afraid their combat power has already reached the Earth rank or higher. Could it be that the threat the Star-Lord system warned about refers to them? The beasts were currently gathering energy, preparing to launch an all-out assault on them. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang looked grave. Damn it, with such a dense barrage of beam attacks, even if I can dodge with everyone, the ship's hull behind us won't be able to withstand it. Just at that moment, the beast swarm was suddenly struck by countless beams of light. They were instantly blown to pieces, their formation collapsing. It turned out that reinforcements had arrived just in time. The captain immediately ordered the subordinates to open the video screen. The newcomers were the Crimson Transformation Army of the Jiwan Song family. They had come specifically to escort Song Yanxiang home. He was once the trash that everyone in the family despised, but through a series of coincidences, he had become a national hero. However, the female subordinate was completely unaware of this. She even teased him, saying the leader of the 4 great playboys of Jiwan City actually had a change of heart and took a low-profile civilian ship. A short while ago, Song Yanxiang's spectacular strike had wiped out dozens of beasts in an instant, but this had also completely enraged the rest of the beasts. Consequently, they all began to converge on Song Yanxiang's position. Just as they were about to kill Song Yanxiang, the Crimson Transformation Army, acting as escorts, arrived in the nick of time. As the main cannons of the sky-suppressing ship roared, the swarming beasts were annihilated in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, the crew members could not help but be overjoyed. The captain, however, had a puzzled look on his face. Strange, why is it the Song family's Crimson Transformation Army? Aren't they supposed to be stationed at the southern border? Why would they travel all this way to come to the rescue? The crew member thought he might be overthinking it. They are probably just on a mission, and happened to be passing by. Seeing this, the captain no longer hesitated. He immediately ordered to deactivate the defensive array, transfer all energy to the power furnace, and push forward at full speed to rendezvous with the Crimson Transformation Army. The sudden acceleration of the airship left Song Yanxiang stunned for a good while. It was not until he saw the sky-suppressing ship in the distance that he finally understood, but a look of doubt immediately crossed his face. The Crimson Transformation Army, eldest sister Song Yunjin's unit, the one composed entirely of female generals. Why on earth would they appear here? At the same time, the captain was also looking at the civilian ship with a face full of confusion. Instructor Demyu, are you sure the young master is on that civilian ship over there? That does not seem like his style at all. Why would the head of the 4 playboys of Jiwan City suddenly become so low-key? Hearing this, Steward Mu was speechless. He knew that the Marquis now placed great importance on Song Yanxiang, so he quickly reminded the captain not to use the wrong title. He is just a steward of the Song Mansion's East Wing, and he did not want to court disaster over a mere form of address. He then pointed the captain toward that red mech. When the captain saw Liu Bu, he was stunned on the spot. It is actually the powerhouse who saved the second prince in Yuanting City. I did not expect him to be on this ship as well. It seems that although our young master is a bit of a waste, his luck has always been quite extraordinary. If it were not for this powerhouse's presence, I am afraid they would have struggled to hold out until we arrived. Steward Mu, however, remained silent. Wait until you realize that powerhouse is none other than young Master Yanxiang, whom you dismissed as a loser. I am afraid you will be even more shell-shocked then. At this moment, the airship has entered the protective range of the sky-suppressing warship. Seeing this, the captain immediately ordered his subordinates to open fire. In an instant, countless beasts were obliterated by the ship's cannons. Once the crisis was averted, Song Yanxiang hurried to help the captain up. You guys find a place to settle down and recover quickly. I am planning to head back to the inner court. But just then, he suddenly received a system warning. Warning, massive rift spatial reaction detected. Host, please evacuate the area within 5 seconds. Song Yanxiang was instantly struck with horror. What? A massive spatial rift. Meanwhile, on the other side, the others, thinking the danger had passed, had already deactivated their mechs. They were all chatting in small groups, completely unaware that danger was about to strike again. Suddenly, Song Yanxiang appeared before everyone. He immediately cut their conversation short. He then reached out his hand toward them. Quick, jump onto my hand. We have to get out of here right now. This sudden scene left Tang Jinshui utterly bewildered. He had no clue what was going on. But in that split second, a colossal beast appeared right in front of them. Song Yanxiang stared in terror at the beast before his eyes. It is the Kun. How can there be a god-tier beast here? Why would it show up in a place like this? Why on earth is it here? The system alerted Song Yanxiang. Evacuation window missed. Calculating alternative escape routes. Just how terrifying is a god-tier beast's power? It let out a thunderous roar at the tiny humans. The sonic wave attack sent everyone crashing down in agony. Those with weaker cultivation began bleeding from their eyes and ears. It turns out not long ago, as the sky-suppressing warship arrived just in time, the beast tide was immediately blown to pieces. Seeing this, the god-tier beast Kun stopped hiding. It instantly crossed the spatial rift and loomed over the airship. That massive shadow left the crew members speechless with fright. One of them stammered as he asked the captain, "Captain, what kind of monstrous thing is that?" Hearing this, the captain could not help but curse out loud. "How the hell should I know? But judging by the look of things, I am afraid we are all dead meat." Meanwhile, the captain of the sky-suppressing warship was also in shock. How can there be a beast of such magnitude? What tier could it possibly be? Beside him, Steward Emu's expression turned grave. Could this be what the third lady mentioned? The god-tier beast, the Kun. Its body is truly as massive as a whole city. Back on the other side. On the other side, the Kun's gigantic form left Song Yanxiang stunned for a long while. However, he quickly noticed something was off about this Kun. Inside the Kun's belly, there seems to be an unusual soul power fluctuation. Suddenly, Song Yanxiang received a system prompt. Alternative escape plan calculation complete. But in that very instant, the Kun opened its massive maw and took a violent breath. Song Yanxiang immediately realized things were taking a turn for the worse. He instantly warned everyone to cover their ears. Then he promptly took out a defense array talisman. By then, the Kun had already unleashed its sonic wave attack. Wherever the sound waves reached, only wails of despair remained. Those who could not cover their ears in time bled from every orifice. Even the mechs could not maintain their forms and deactivated on the spot. Fortunately, Song Yanxiang's instant array protected Xiao Wen and the others just in time. Otherwise, they would have been doomed. Song Yanxiang did not expect the Kun's sonic waves to be this terrifying. He could only helplessly ask everyone to hold on a bit longer. The sonic attack would be over soon. Meanwhile, the captain endured the pain to open the hatch, hoping his crew would hurry and escape to the lower deck. At the same time, things were slightly better on the sky-suppressing ship. Steward Mu is a heaven-rank expert, after all. His Ganshi barrier could still barely withstand the sonic attack, but the captain was still left with lingering fear. When she learned that this was just a casual roar from the Kun, she nearly lost her composure. This world-ending sound was actually just its normal cry. If it roared a few more times, would not they all be wiped out right here? Thinking of this, she immediately ordered her subordinates to turn the main cannons and aim at the Kun. But just as they were about to fire, Song Yanxiang immediately stopped them. This left them utterly confused. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang quickly switched to the live feed. The captain could hardly believe her eyes. She did not expect the legendary expert to be that useless young master. As for Song Yanxiang, when he saw Steward Mu, he instantly felt much more at ease. He immediately asked Steward Mu why he was there. Steward Mu replied promptly, saying he had come to take him home. Hearing this, Song Yanxiang smiled slightly. The word home was something he had not heard in a very long time. He then thanked everyone who had come to receive him, and explained the situation to the captain. The Kun is a peak god rank beast. It is absolutely not an enemy they can fight. However, according to the Kun's nature, as long as they do not show hostility, the Kun would not bother with insects like them. Next, Song Yanxiang ordered everyone to shut down all power sources. Wait for the ships to drift out of the Kun's alert range before looking for a chance to escape. Both captains were shocked upon hearing this. They knew that if the ships fell from such a height, the slightest error would result in total destruction. But Song Yanxiang told them that this was their only chance for survival, because he had once seen a Kun swallow half a city in a single breath. They had no choice but to follow Song Yanxiang's lead. With a single command from Song Yanxiang, the three ships instantly lost power and plummeted. The swarm of beasts chased after them in unison. Just as Song Yanxiang said, the Kun did not pursue them. Soon, the ships dropped to the position designated by the system. Song Yanxiang immediately ordered them to restart the ships and push at full speed to escape the danger zone. Have you ever seen a beast larger than an aircraft carrier? With just a simple roar, it can make humans bleed from every orifice. Tiny humans are nothing more than ants in the Kun's eyes. If the Kun had not been too proud to chase after insignificant human insects, Song Yanxiang and the others would never have escaped the Kun's grasp. However, that swarm of bifang beasts was still relentlessly pursuing them. They could only push the engines to the the maximum to shake off the swarm. But right at that moment, the airship's speed suddenly plummeted. It turned out that earlier, to defend against the beast attacks, the ship had been diverting power to maintain the defensive array. This eventually led to the airship's current power shortage. Seeing the speed dropping rapidly, the captain could not help but panic. He knew that if he did not come up with a plan, everyone on that ship would be toast. Meanwhile, the suppression ship had also noticed something wrong with the airship. This is bad. That ship young Master Song Yunxiang is on. It just went through a massive battle. Its power source must be completely drained. Hearing this, the captain immediately ordered, aim for both sides of the airship. In the next second, countless tow cables were fired directly at the airship. Instantly, the hull was firmly hooked by the cables. With the sudden acceleration, the people inside the ship were all knocked head over heels by the inertia. The airship's captain, unaware of the situation, thought they were under attack by beasts. He immediately ordered his subordinates to prepare for battle. Even if they were to die, they would not go down without a fight. But his subordinate told him the ship's speed was actually increasing. It was the Crimson Transformation Army's ship, pulling them forward with cables. Seeing this, the captain was overjoyed. Now he would not have to worry about his family collecting his life insurance just yet. However, trouble arose on the suppression ship's side because it was towing the airship. Its speed dropped significantly, and the high-level beasts behind them would catch up before long. Right now, the power source could not maintain the main cannon's fire. The captain made a split-second decision and dispatched a combat squad to intercept. They quickly assembled, equipping their mechs. In no time, they appeared on the deck in perfect formation. Everyone, get ready to engage the enemy. Let those ugly monsters witness the might of the Crimson Transformation Army's female warriors. As soon as the squad leader finished speaking, they immediately assumed a firing formation. At that moment, the beast tide was diving toward the ship, but they were met with a dense barrage of light beams. Instantly, countless beasts were killed on the spot. Although the Crimson Transformation Army used their formation advantage to hold the beasts at bay, they were ultimately outnumbered. The beasts then targeted their defensive weak points with suicide attacks. Ship number 2's formation was instantly disrupted. They had no choice but to switch to their blades and engage the beasts in a bloody melee. Seeing ship number 2's line broken, the captain immediately ordered a detachment to provide support. As the support team arrived, the squad leader immediately commanded them to clear out the beasts that had boarded. Clear out the beasts that have boarded the ship, then regroup into firing formation. But then another swarm of beasts arrived. Just when the squad leader thought they were in for a desperate struggle, a massive beam of light pierced through the entire beast swarm. The beasts hit by the beam were instantly turned to ash. This left the squad leader completely stunned. Who saved us? Meanwhile, the one who had intervened, Song Yunxiang, was currently gasping for breath. He quickly took out some pills to replenish his soul power. The power of the sky-shattering arrow was indeed immense, but its soul power consumption was just too high. After recovering a bit of soul power, Song Yunxiang fired another sky-shattering arrow at the beasts. In the next second, the beast's hit exploded on contact. By this time, the captain was deeply shocked by Song Yunxiang. Every shot could obliterate several beasts. It was simply unbelievable. Young Master Song Yunxiang actually possessed such terrifying combat power. If there was someone you once utterly despised, and they suddenly became the heroic idol you have respected your whole life, would you continue to be a die-hard fan? Or would you switch sides and become a hater? The answer is pretty obvious. Zhang Deji wisely chose the former, and even decided to take Song Yunxiang as his role model, to become a great hero who saves the world. Right after Song Yunxiang stepped in to help the Crimson Transformation Army, Zhang Deji was beyond hyped. He immediately joined the ranks of the Crimson Transformation Army. Meanwhile, the security team, despite heavy losses from the previous battle, also regrouped and joined the fight. The three of us will hold the left flank. As for the right flank, I will leave it to Miss Jinghua and Miss Ruowei to stand their ground. Seeing this, Naira and her companion also set up their defensive stance. Phage, I will cover the rear. You just support me from the side. Hearing this, Phage immediately nodded in agreement. He then used his palm cannons to launch an attack on the beasts. He continued to fire palm cannons at the charging beasts. Just like that, he herded the beasts right into the strike zone of the Golden Moon Wheel. Seeing that the timing was perfect, the moment had finally arrived. Naira instantly unleashed the Golden Moon Wheel to strike the beasts. In an instant, several beasts were killed on the spot. But immediately after, Naira noticed something was off. Naira quickly sensed that the situation had changed. What is going on? Why did they suddenly stop attacking? This sudden turn of events left everyone completely bewildered. They had no idea what was happening until the haunting cry of the god-tier beast, the coon, echoed through the air. Only after the beast swarm retreated in unison did everyone realize that the coon was signaling a full retreat. This realization filled them with instant joy. At the same time, the crew members were reporting the news of the beast swarm's retreat. Hearing this, the captain let out a long sigh of relief. She could finally stop worrying and let her heart rest. Outside, Song Yanxiang was also muttering to himself. They have finally left. It seems like we are finally out of the Kun's danger zone. He then swallowed 3 pills to recover his soul power. The continuous, high-intensity output had left Song Yanxiang utterly exhausted. If the beasts had not retreated, he probably would have been worn down to death. Once the beast swarm had completely vanished, everyone erupted into cheers of joy. I can't believe we actually escaped from such terrifying beasts. It is truly a miracle amidst misfortune. Meanwhile, Steward Mew was sighing with emotion. This is wonderful. We really owe it all to young Master Yanxiang this time. Otherwise, how could we have escaped the Kun's clutches unscathed? Hearing this, the captain showed a look of confusion. By the way, young Master Yanxiang, how did you know about the Kun's habits? Song Yanxiang hurriedly waved his hand. I am exhausted. Let us talk about this later. I am going back to the cabin to sleep first. I will leave the rest to you all. He then cut off the communication. Dragging his weary body, he started walking back. But halfway there, he passed out directly. In the end, Ruowei had to carry him back on her back. After this battle, everyone felt a deep heartfelt gratitude toward him. Even though Song Yanxiang was still unconscious, they all bowed to him with the utmost respect as they departed. 4 hours later, 4 hours passed by, as the arrival announcement at the port rang out. Song Yanxiang finally woke up from his slumber. He hurriedly got up and rushed out of the cabin. Yonggan City, home after such a long time. I am finally back. At the same time, inside Yonggan City, a man was lazily stretching his arms. What took you guys so long? I have been waiting forever. Well, since the weather is nice today, I will let it slide this time. Our White Dragon Gang is a legitimate organization now. From now on, you need to watch your mouth. Address me as chief, you got that. His subordinates quickly nodded in agreement. Then he tightly clenched his fist. I, Go Sha, am destined to join the Tiandu 8 generals. I will be the man who becomes the strongest Star Soul Master. The era of Go Sha is just beginning. After saying that, he smiled and touched the ring on his chest. Am I right, Elder Du? By the way, when will I finally get Cao Ren's soul jade? An elderly voice immediately resonated from within the ring. It should be soon. That destiny belongs to you. Yonggan City is located in the southeast corner of Tiandu Nation. It is a fortress city built upon treacherous terrain. It borders Qishui Nation to the east. To the west lies Mt. Yonggan, the edge of the southern wilderness mountain range. It stands in watch with the southern wilderness Great Wall at the front. Behind it are the vast and fertile central plains of Tiandu Nation. This place is not only the heart of the central plains, but also a vital gateway to the southern wilderness. It serves as a crucial military stronghold against the southern beast tide. Over the past 20 years, Tiandu and Qishui signed a joint border defense agreement, relying on the southern wilderness Great Wall and the Zikong Mountains. Connected with the southern wilderness mountain range, they built a unified defense line. Connected with the southern wilderness mountain range, they built a unified defense line. This indirectly boosted the economic development of Yonggan City. At this moment, the Hong clan's airship had already docked at the Yonggan City airport. Under the guise of thanking Song Yanxiang, the captain shamelessly pestered him for an autograph. Not until he secured 6 separate signatures did he finally leave, looking satisfied with himself. This left Song Yanxiang completely speechless. Good grief, just how many daughters does this guy actually have? Before he could finish complaining, the voice of Steward Mew came from behind him. Young Master Yanxiang, I trust you have been well. Song Yanxiang turned around instantly. He immediately gave Steward Mew a giant bear hug. Uncle Mew, long time no see. I have missed you so much. However, Steward Mew felt this gesture was a bit over the top. It has only been a few months since we last met. Song Yanxiang felt a moment of awkwardness. But then, he discovered a secret. On the surface, Steward Mew was only at the late profound stage. But in reality, he was a master at the mid-heaven stage. In his past life, he was too weak to notice. He used to think that in the entire Song Manor, only the old Marquis was at the heaven stage. He never imagined that Steward Mew, who always cared for him, was actually a heaven stage expert, and his cultivation was even higher than the old Marquis. Just then, Steward Mu's question interrupted his train of thought. Song Yunxiang quickly explained to Steward Mu, "These are my friends and their family." Then he introduced Steward Mu to Xiao Wen's family. They politely returned the greeting and introduced themselves. Following that, Song Yunxiang gave Xiao Wen his contact information. He told her to come and visit him whenever she had time. Xiao Wen clapped her hands happily and cheekily insisted on bringing Sister Ruowei along. Song Yunxiang smiled and patted her head. "Of course you can. You can bring whoever you want." After that, he bid Tang Xiaowen's family farewell and departed. But just then, Lin Jinghua approached him again. She directly slipped a small note into his hand. "Young Master Song, I will be staying in Yanggan City for half a month. If you have time, please come find me. Jinghua wishes to have an intimate, late-night talk with you." Before Song Yunxiang could even react, Lin Jinghua had already run off, her face blushing deep red, leaving him standing there, utterly at a loss. At this moment, Steward Mu suddenly cleared his throat. "Young Master Yunxiang, the Marquis has arranged a family banquet for tonight. Your fiancée, Miss Kong Xinxin, has also been invited." Hearing this, Song Yunxiang's gaze instantly turned cold. In his past life, right after he escaped death and returned to Yanggan City, Kong Xinxin had brought heaven-rank experts to his door to break off the engagement. Every time he thinks of this, it makes him feel utterly sick. And those relatives, the uncles and brothers who look down on him as a useless failure. It is time to let them witness what a real face-slapping looks like. Soon, Song Yunxiang arrived at the landing pad. The private chauffeur of the Song Mansion's East Wing had already been waiting there for a long time. Just as Song Yunxiang passed by the chauffeur, Sha Beija, the latter could not help but be stunned for a moment. However, he immediately regained his composure and boarded the airship. But not long after they set off on the return journey, Sha Beija suddenly noticed something was off. "Young master, your cultivation has actually broken through to the earth rank. Could it be that your soul meridian has been healed?" Realizing the situation was improper, Steward Mu immediately reminded him to focus on piloting. But how could Song Yunxiang not be aware of all this? "I did not expect Uncle Bei to be a mid-stage heaven-rank expert as well. By sensing my cultivation, he effectively exposed that his own strength is far above mine. With Uncle Mu being so cautious, it seems Uncle Mu might know much more than he lets on." Meanwhile, Zhang Degi was still snoring away in a deep sleep. He did not wake from his dream until Uncle Wu called him. The newly awakened Zhang Degi was still in a bleary-eyed state. It was not until he remembered that he had once fought side by side with his heroic idol that he jolted wide awake. He immediately jumped out of bed, wanting to treat the hero to a meal, to properly build a friendship with him. But when he learned that the hero had already left, he instantly burst into tears. However, he did not want to miss this chance. He immediately ordered Uncle Wu to investigate. He was determined to cling to this powerful figure's leg, even if he had to be a mere accessory. A clan banished to the borderlands actually hides so many experts with terrifying strength. But the more experts there are, the more dangerous their situation actually becomes. They might even face total clan extermination because of it. While Steward Mu and the others were on their way home, Song Yunxiang asked with some concern about the appearance of the Kun. But how could Steward Mu not have anticipated this? He was one step ahead and had already handled everything to prevent the Kun's appearance from causing mass panic among the citizens. Steward Mu used the pretext of military secrets to issue a gag order to all the passengers of the Hong Clan airship. Only then did Song Yunxiang feel at ease. He then took out the card that Naira had given him. While on the passenger ship, "I ran into two people from the southern realm. I had a bit of an encounter with them. Uncle Mu, help me look into them and find out what their background is." With just one glance at the card in Song Yunxiang's hand, Steward Mu knew exactly where it came from. This card belongs to the Qishui nation. It is a style commonly used by their 6 major noble families. In the Qishui nation, the royal court ruled by the barbarian king is supreme. The Qishui nation holds the barbarian king's royal court in the highest regard. The 6 noble families are split into 3 factions that keep each other in check. These 6 families form 3 factions to maintain a balance of power. First is the conservative faction, led by the Samarin family. They control 70% of Qishui's technology and economy. The economic powerhouse. They hold the reins of Qishui's technology and financial sectors. Opposing them is the expansionist faction, led by the Mulu family. They command half of the Qishui nation's military forces. As for the old money Sukumu family, they lead the neutral faction, but they are merely puppets of the restorationists. The restorationists are a relic of the old empire from over 400 years ago. They refuse to submit to the hegemony of Milan nation. Yet they won't recognize the legitimacy of Tiandu nation either. For centuries, they have been delusional, trying to use external forces, using the wildlands to reclaim the Central Plains, dreaming of restoring the glory of the Great Unification era. Strictly speaking, the Restorationists, led by the Huyan clan, are not truly Qishui people. They are nothing more than a group of pathetic souls with no home to return to, just a bunch of homeless, pitiable people. After finishing his explanation, Steward Mu turned to look at Song Yanxiang, only to find that the young man was distracted, reading the note Lin Jinghua gave him. She had invited him to meet in the top-floor suite of the Yonggan Hotel. Seeing this, Steward Mu immediately cleared his throat loudly. Young Master Yanxiang, regarding your fiancée, Miss Kong Xinxin. Song Yanxiang knew exactly what Steward Mu was implying. He immediately cut him off. I know, Uncle Mu. I know where to draw the line, but Uncle Mu, is it possible for the Qishui nation to secretly join forces with Milan nation and launch a pincer attack on us from behind? After hearing this, Steward Mu immediately dismissed his suspicions, because that would not align with the interests of the conservatives, or the neutral faction, unless those old geezers are all no longer in this world. Shortly after, they returned to the Song Manor. Old Ma San, the gatekeeper, immediately stood up to greet them. Song Yanxiang rushed forward to support him, but with just one handshake, Song Yanxiang broke into a cold sweat. It turns out Old Man Ma is also a powerhouse at the mid-stage heaven realm. Young master, will you go to the East Court to rest, or to the Middle Court to see the old Marquis, or perhaps play a few rounds of cards with this old man first? We can talk after a game. Song Yanxiang laughed it off quickly. Maybe next time, Uncle Ma. I have to head over to the old man first. He then bid farewell to Old Man Ma and left in a hurry. He quickly made his exit after saying goodbye to the old gatekeeper. Song Yanxiang had barely walked away when the driver sent a telepathic message to Old Man Ma. Did you notice? The young master has already broken through to the Earth realm. Old Man Ma nodded slightly. He gave a subtle nod of agreement. I noticed. The young master not only repaired his soul meridian, but just now he even seemed to be trying to scout my true cultivation level. The changes in Song Yanxiang brought them more than a little shock. Meanwhile, Song Yanxiang was lost in thought. Why are they all hiding their cultivation levels? Is there some hidden secret I do not know about? Soon, Song Yanxiang met the old man. He had barely opened his mouth before the old marquis flickered right in front of him. He then patted him on the shoulder. Not bad at all. You have broken through to the Earth grade. Come, let us go to the study. Tell me everything about what happened to you during this time. But at this moment, Song Yanxiang was deeply shaken by the old marquis. He never expected his grandfather to be hiding his true cultivation level. Moreover, he is a half-saint powerhouse. His strength might even surpass Elder Shu's. Good grief, I did not expect the Song family to be hiding so many trump cards. If the Song family has a half-saint and 3 mid-stage heaven-grade experts guarding them, yet they were still wiped out in the southern wilderness beast-tide in my past life, doesn't that mean the preparations I have made so far are not even enough to turn the tide? Suddenly, Song Yanxiang was startled once more. It was the aura of a saint-grade powerhouse. Though it is as faint as a candle flickering in the wind, and extremely weak, it is definitely a genuine saint-grade presence. Could it be that the Song family is also hiding a saint-grade powerhouse? The more hidden cards the Song family has, the more it means my own preparations are woefully insufficient. Perhaps there is only one way. I might as well just help them all reach the saint grade. The hero who saves the people from the brink of disaster is actually seen as a useless playboy by his fiancée. Not only did she cheat on him, but she is also coming to his door to break off the engagement and cut ties. Just a moment ago, as soon as Song Yanxiang returned, the old marquis called him to the study. The two of them sat down for a game of chess. Song Yanxiang tried his best to suppress his skill to only 30% of his true level, but the old marquis still saw right through his restraint. The game is decided. Grandfather, you have lost this round. Not bad. Your chess skills have improved significantly. It seems I can't go easy on you next time. Then the old marquis found an excuse to dismiss Steward Mu. After Steward Mu left, the old marquis finally spoke, asking to review the previous game, but Song Yanxiang did not know what he was trying to imply, so he quickly changed the subject. Grandfather, you must have received the news from Yuanting City by now, right? After placing a piece, the old marquis spoke slowly. I have heard. You have done well. Not only did you repair your broken soul meridian, but your cultivation also reached the Earth grade. You even became the host for Zuo. I am very happy for you. Even though the old marquis did not ask directly, Song Yanxiang was wondering how best to explain it. He could not exactly say he was a soul who traveled back from 60 years in the future. That would be far too shocking. For now, he could only lie and say he had accidentally entered a secret realm, and in an illusion array within that realm, he had perceived and lived through 60 years of the future. Thinking of this, he immediately spoke up. Grandfather, if I said I stumbled into an ancient secret realm and gained a massive opportunity inside, what would you think? Before Song Yunxiang could finish, the old marquis directly waved his hand to interrupt him. Look, my mistake just now was placing the piece here. Now I will move it over here instead. Song Yunxiang had no choice but to continue the game with the old marquis. As the game reached its peak, the old marquis suddenly spoke again. Look at this. In a game of chess, if you lose, you can always review the board. Every piece on that board follows the same logic. But what if a chess piece accidentally leaps off the board and becomes the player himself? The old man's question left Song Yunxiang momentarily speechless and stunned. It was as if he were being given a hint. Don't get so lost in the game that you lose sight of the big picture. Meanwhile, at the city lord's manor in Yonggan City, Xinxin was having a heated argument with her father, Kong Fan. She insisted that no matter what, she would never marry Song Yunxiang. But her father remembered the kindness the Song family showed them years ago. Besides, the two families had arranged this marriage 20 years ago. Moreover, this time, Song Yunxiang had performed great service in the Battle of Yuanting City. He had even become the host of Zuo. So for the Song family's banquet, he insisted his daughter attend the celebration regardless. But Xinxin remained completely unmoved. So what if Song Yunxiang is Zuo's host? How could he possibly compare to my brother Go Sha? Hearing this, her father flew into a rage. What future does that street-dwelling thug have? He is nothing more than a piece of trash. Seeing her father disparage Go Sha like that, Xinxin immediately retorted. He is now the leader of the White Dragon Gang, and in 1 month, he will become the host of Sao Ren. Even if Song Yunxiang really is Zuo's host, he still can't hold a candle to my brother Go Sha. Kong Fan was just about to rebut, when a voice from outside interrupted him. If you won't marry him, then do not. It is just the mere Song family after all. The newcomer was Kong Fan's father, Kong Zheng, the true patriarch of the Kong family. The head of the Kong family had arrived. Seeing her grandfather standing in mid-air, seeing her grandfather defying gravity like that, Xinxin was overjoyed. Grandfather, you can actually fly now. Grandfather, you can actually fly. You are actually flying. Kong Zheng quickly waved his hand. How could I possibly fly? That is a feat only for those at the God stage. I have merely just broken through the heaven stage bottleneck. I am simply using borrowed force to tread on air. Upon hearing heaven stage, both father and daughter stood frozen on the spot. Only after recovering did they invite Kong Zheng into the room. Grandfather, with your current realm, how do you compare to that old marquis of the Song family? Kong Zheng pondered for a moment. That old fool Song Jingzong has been stuck at the early heaven stage for years. I am afraid he has already reached his limit. Though I have just broken through to the heaven stage, I am confident I can go toe-to-toe with him. Seeing this, a look of malice appeared on Xinxin's face. That is wonderful, grandfather. Let us go to the Song family and break the engagement. If anyone objects, you can just beat them up. Kong Fan tried to tell his daughter to stop being so reckless, but he was stopped by a wave of Kong Zheng's hand. I heard everything you two were discussing just now. Actually, I feel that Xinxin and that Go Sha boy are a much better match. It would be more beneficial for the Kong family's interests. In our current generation of grandchildren, Xinxin is our only girl. If she marries into the Song family, it can only guarantee us a few decades of peace. But if she can bring in Sao Ren's host as a grandson-in-law, not only will we have a century of wealth, but returning to the central continent and reclaiming our ancestral roots might actually be possible. I hear Go Sha is an orphan. If he marries into the Kong family, we will pour all our resources into cultivating him. I believe we will rise to power very soon. Kong Zheng then turned to look at his granddaughter, Xinxin. Are you confident enough to have Go Sha marry into the Kong family? Xinxin replied with a blushing face. Of course I am. In fact, we have already shared the intimacy of husband and wife. Kong Zheng immediately slammed the table, preparing to annul the engagement. But Kong Fan believed that everything must be done properly and legitimately. We need to find a suitable reason to break the engagement. However, Kong Zheng spoke up domineeringly. What reason do we need? I am already a heaven stage powerhouse known to the whole world. Might makes right. A powerhouse's fist is the only logic needed. If that old geezer Song Jingzong dares to lift a finger, I would not mind wiping out the Song family while I am at it. For a moment like this, I have specially prepared something good. This is what I got from the Hong Clan Merchant Guild's auction. The 3-star power strengthening pill. The man lied, claiming he had accidentally entered an ultra-ancient secret realm. Inside, he meditated on a great opportunity from 60 years in the future. He attempted to hide the truth of his reincarnation from his grandfather. Little did he know, his grandfather already knew everything. For this reason, he even handed him a mysterious wooden box. It turned out that not long ago, just as Song Yanxiang had returned to the Song Manor, the old Marquis pulled him over to play a game of chess. But during the review of the game, the old Marquis suddenly asked him, "Look here, a lost chess game can be reviewed and replayed. All the pieces are the same, but if a piece accidentally jumps off the board and becomes the player themselves, what would you do?" Song Yanxiang was suddenly taken aback. He did not understand why the old man would ask such a question. Seeing him hurriedly try to change the subject, the old Marquis said, "Actually, it is nothing. I just wanted to take back a move, that is all. By the way, what were you saying about some secret realm earlier?" At this moment, Song Yanxiang stared blankly at the old Marquis. He thought to himself that the old man seemed to know some secrets. It really seemed like he knew something. But on second thought, he brushed it off. Then he began to speak of how he had accidentally entered the ultra-ancient secret realm. In that secret realm, he obtained a certain opportunity. Not long after, a beast tide erupted in the southern wilderness. The southern wilderness Great Wall was destroyed in a single day. The soldiers of the Song family were all heroically sacrificed. Every last one of them died for the cause. The Song family's forces were completely wiped out. Later, the Milan nation invaded. The final battle at Tiandu City ended in a tragic defeat. He fled to Qishui nation and received the empress's protection. And so, Song Yanxiang briefly recounted his years of wandering and displacement. But just then, the head steward, Song Jin, came rushing toward the study in a panic. "Where is the Marquis? Is he in the secret chamber?" Seeing the head steward so flustered, Steward Mu quickly asked what had happened. He replied immediately, gasping for breath, "That person's condition is currently unstable. There is no time to explain. I must see the Marquis." As he spoke, he tried to enter, but was stopped by Steward Mu. "The Marquis and young Master Yanxiang are discussing important matters. My apologies, Brother Jin." Meanwhile, inside the study, Song Yanxiang had already reached the end of his tale. At the last human stronghold on the northern continent, powerless to save the day, he chose to self-destruct. And then he woke up from his meditation. After finishing, he explained with a sheepish smile, "It truly is unbelievable." He was afraid the old man would think he was just making things up. But now, even he was a bit dazed. Was I trapped in a phantom array all along, just living through a dream? Or did I truly travel back from 60 years in the future? However, the old Marquis was currently muttering under his breath. A full 60-year cycle. Strange, she never told me it would take this long. Then he turned to ask Song Yanxiang about the system. "You mentioned that the Star-Lord system you possess can copy the origin mechs of other hosts. Is this the absolute truth?" Upon receiving Song Yanxiang's firm confirmation, the old Marquis could not help but think to himself, "So, this is what my daughter-in-law meant by double insurance. This must be it." But I doubt even she expected that this brat could survive for 60 years before finally kicking the bucket. With that thought, the old Marquis immediately warned Song Yanxiang, "The matter of the Star-Lord system is of grave importance. You must never reveal this to anyone else. As for being the host of Zuoxi's host, regarding your status as Zuoxi's successor, this facade is actually quite brilliant. You should continue using the identity of Zuoxi's host. Use it as your cover." Song Yanxiang immediately nodded in agreement, because at this point in time, the old man is the only one he truly trusts. Just then, the old Marquis stood up and spoke again. "Follow me. It is time I handed some things over to you. These are things your mother left for you. Everything I know also came from her. She once prophesied that one day, you would suddenly become extraordinarily powerful, either by your soul meridian's self-healing, or by claiming you traveled through time and space." Hearing this, Song Yanxiang was completely stunned. Meanwhile, the old Marquis had already pulled a wooden box out from a hidden compartment. "She instructed me that when that time comes, I should not be surprised at all. No matter what you say, I must believe you. So, I am giving this wooden box to you now. She also wanted you to remember this. The laws of the world cannot be defied by human strength. Beneath the star net, all are but pieces on a chessboard." Song Yanxiang was frozen on the spot. His heart was filled with immense shock. Who on earth was my mother? She actually even knew about the star net. However, the old Marquis paid no mind to his expression. He simply urged him to study the chess endgame, which was also modeled after his mother's work. As for what he could comprehend from it, that would depend on his own talent. Right at that moment, layers of halos suddenly rippled across the sky. Both of them sensed the sudden disturbance simultaneously. Song Yanxiang could not help but mutter in a low voice, "It is that weak saint-tier aura from just now." And at this time, the old Marquis had already dashed out of the room. The dying elder merely coughed a few times, yet it sent the two people nearby flying. If they had not reacted in time, they would have been injured by the elder's soul power fluctuations. It turns out that just moments ago, right after the old marquis gave the mysterious box to Song Yuanxiong, halos had suddenly appeared in the sky. The old marquis realized something was wrong immediately, so he hurriedly called Song Yuanxiong to head there together. On the way, Song Yuanxiong could not help but feel puzzled. Song Jin is the head steward of the Song Marquisate's inner court, and also a trusted confidant of the old man. He should be from the same generation of veterans as Uncle Mew. But why is his cultivation only at the peak of the black tier? Could it be that the eastern court of the Song Marquisate has something special about it? And who exactly is the person they are talking about? At that moment, head steward Jin suddenly turned back towards Song Yuanxiong. Marquis, is young Master Yuanxiong coming with us as well? The old marquis remained silent, but in his heart, he was calculating. It is time to let Yuanxiong in on some of the family's deep secrets. Soon, they arrived at the inner courtyard of the Song Manor. They had just entered the elevator. Song Yuanxiong's face showed a hint of suspicion. This is the elevator leading to the underground, secluded cultivation chamber. But he quickly felt something was off. Could there be another secret room? An even deeper underground space? As the elevator opened with a ding, everything before his eyes confirmed his suspicion. An underground space lit by artificial lights. An array designed to isolate soul power fluctuations. I never expected that beneath the Song Manor there would be such a unique place. He followed the old marquis like this, walking into a room, and the elderly man before them was already in a state where his life force was nearly exhausted. The old marquis hurriedly stepped forward to help the elder up. Third uncle, how are you feeling now? Hearing him called third uncle, Song Yuanxiong was shocked. He is actually the old master's third uncle. Saint stage fluctuations. Are they coming from him? I never saw this person in my previous life. If he is at the saint stage, could he be the host of some origin mech? At this moment, Song Bingchuan spoke slowly. I feel that my time is coming to an end. I am afraid I have less than a month left. Who is this little fellow? The old marquis immediately replied. Third uncle. He is my grandson, Yuanxiong. Hearing that the boy was Yuanxiong, Song Bingchuan took a look at Song Yuanxiong, the child of Xiao Lang and Jor, the son who was born with a defective soul meridian. Seeing this, Song Yuanxiong quickly knelt and bowed. This junior Yuanxiong greets great uncle. Song Bingchuan reached out, signaling him not to stand on ceremony. But through this single touch, Song Bingchuan immediately sensed it. His cultivation is at the early earth stage, and he has even repaired his soul meridian. So he happily told him to stand up. After Song Yuanxiong thanked Song Bingchuan, he immediately commanded the system, copy great uncle's soul jade mech. But after a long while, there was not the slightest reaction. What is going on? Why is not the Star-Lord system responding? Just then, Song Bingchuan suddenly clutched his chest. The old marquis anxiously asked what was wrong, but at this moment, Song Bingchuan could no longer hold back a violent cough. The soul power fluctuations emitted from him blew them back on the spot. The old marquis immediately propped up a barrier to block it. Song Yuanxiong also relied on his elegant movement technique to dodge the ripple of fluctuations. This scene left the old marquis utterly astonished. Impressive, kid. Even saint stage soul power fluctuations can't harm you. It seems your strength is far from ordinary. However, at this moment, Song Yuanxiong was even more confused. So it turns out great uncle is the hidden saint stage powerhouse of our Song family. But why can't the Star-Lord system copy his soul jade mech? Could there be some specific reason for this? When Song Bingchuan's soul power fluctuations faded, the old marquis rushed forward to inquire with concern, but he was interrupted by Song Bingchuan's hand wave. It is nothing. I just lost control for a moment. As my life force reaches its end, this body is like a leaking balloon. Saint stage soul power is leaking out uncontrollably. I did not expect Kid Yuanxiong to actually dodge it. He really does have some tricks up his sleeve, as expected of the son of those two. Seeing the situation, the old marquis hurriedly spoke up. That is right. Yuanxiong had a miraculous encounter while he was away. Not only did it repair his soul meridians, but his strength has also progressed by leaps and bounds. And supposedly, through the opportunity he found in that secret realm, he could actually see more than a month into the future. Specifically, the tragic scene of the southern wilderness beast tide submerged Yongin City. After hearing this, Elder Bingchuan looked deeply worried. A secret realm from a super ancient civilization. Young Yuanxiong, in that future you saw, did our Song family manage to survive? Song Yuanxiong spoke up immediately, almost completely wiped out. Elder Bingchuan could not help but be greatly alarmed. The old marquis saw this and quickly steered the conversation back. Third uncle, regardless of whether what Yuanxiong saw is a true future or just a fleeting dream within an illusion array, we must remain on our guard. I believe it is better to make preparations in advance. Therefore, there are certain secrets that we should probably let Yuanxiong know now. Elder Bingchuan took a deep breath. I will tell him myself. Young Yanxiang, listen carefully. I, Song Bingchuan, was once ranked among the Tiandu 8 generals. I am the host of the Sao Ren Mech. After hearing this, Song Yanxiang's brow furrowed slightly. This was a secret he never knew in his past life. The pills the man refined so casually can not only boost cultivation, but also extend one's lifespan. This made his grandfather so excited, he became incoherent, simply because this was what they needed most. In fact, just a moment ago, when Song Yanxiang learned that Elder Bingchuan was the host of Sao Ren, he was beyond shocked, but on second thought, something felt off, because this contradicted his experiences from his previous life. Furthermore, when he touched Elder Bingchuan just now, the Star Lord system did not show any reaction at all. At that moment, the old Marquis suddenly asked him, by the way, Yanxiang, in that future you spoke of, don't tell me you did not see your third great uncle. Song Yanxiang answered immediately, in the future I witnessed. Elder Bingchuan indeed never appeared. Moreover, the host of Sao Ren was a young man named Go Sha. After hearing this, Elder Bingchuan let out a soft sigh. I am afraid by then, my lifespan had already run out. The Sao Ren mech would have naturally left me, recondensing into a soul jade to find its next host. Perhaps the young man you just mentioned was Sao Ren's next chosen host. Meanwhile, the old Marquis was muttering to himself, is there really no other way? There must be a way. Ah, right. I once read in some documents that in the southern continent, there are pills that can increase one's lifespan. If we could obtain one for third uncle, I would not hesitate, even if it meant bankrupting our family. At the mention of pills, Song Yanxiang snapped out of his thoughts. Pills, of course. How could I have been so blind and missed the obvious? A 7-star soul renewal pill adds 3 to 5 years of life. An 8-star longevity pill adds 5 to 10 years. And a 9-star eternal pill can even add over 30 years. At this point, the old Marquis looked at him with great bewilderment. You actually know of these pills that can extend one's natural life. Do you have some kind of connection? Wait, didn't you just save the prince? Could you perhaps ask him to intervene? But then Song Yanxiang suddenly cut him off. Grandfather, I understand what you mean, but there is no need to disturb the imperial family. I happen to know how to refine longevity pills myself. Hearing this, the old Marquis excitedly grabbed Song Yanxiang's shoulders. When did you learn alchemy? That is a high-grade longevity pill we are talking about. Can you really refine it? You should know that even the imperial alchemists can only refine 6-star pills at best, and the success rate is less than 1 in 10. To dispel the old Marquis's doubts, Song Yanxiang immediately took out a high-grade pill. Upon seeing the pill, the old Marquis was beyond thrilled, because he could sense that this pill was at least 7-star grade or higher. Song Yanxiang could not help but smirk. That is right. This is an 8-star heavenly spirit pill I refined. It can boost a heaven-tier cultivation by a minor realm, but it only works once, he said as he handed the pill to the old Marquis. At this moment, the old Marquis had made up his mind. He wanted Song Yanxiang to have the same authority as the head of the family. All manpower and resources were at Song Yanxiang's disposal. He just hoped that Song Yanxiang would definitely refine the soul renewal pill, so the Song family could survive the upcoming beast tide and overcome this calamity. Song Yanxiang naturally understood the old Marquis's intentions, so he stepped forward to check Great Uncle's body. Just as he was about to check Great Uncle's pulse, Great Uncle quickly pulled his hand back. He extended his left hand toward him and said, my right hand is a bionic prosthetic. My right arm was severed during a great war years ago. I almost lost my life because of it. That is why I faked my death and hid here. Song Yanxiang finally realized what was going on. So that is how it is. No wonder the Star-Lord system did not respond. This prosthetic does not look like a product of this era. It is likely ancient civilization technology, unearthed from some ruins. As he touched Great Uncle's left hand, the Star-Lord system immediately began reading the data. But when the reading reached 70%, a data error occurred. Song Yanxiang was momentarily stunned. What is the situation? How can this be? Meanwhile, the old Marquis and Great Uncle were completely baffled. Seeing this, he immediately let go of Great Uncle's hand. It is nothing. It is nothing. I think it is because Great Uncle's physical body is incomplete. It has affected the star soul meridians within him. Grandfather, Great Uncle, I will go find the materials for the soul renewal pill first. Then I will find a way to help you regrow your severed arm, Great Uncle. Great Uncle was instantly stunned. He did not expect Song Yanxiang to be so capable that he could even regrow a severed limb. Song Yanxiang then took out another pill. Great Uncle, this is a 5-star spring renewal pill. Although it can't increase your lifespan, it has extremely potent healing effects. It can alleviate the pain in your body. After giving the pill to Great Uncle, he was about to leave. That is when the old Marquis told him that all Song family resources were at his command. He just needed to notify the two stewards. As soon as Song Yunshiang entered the elevator, he asked the system, "What is the deal with the data error for Sao Ren?" The system replied instantly, "Data corruption due to unknown causes." Now starting to map the missing data segments. A seemingly ordinary maid. To think that a spy was lurking right by my side. But no matter how well she hides her tracks, she can't escape my sharp eyes. Not only did I find the micro device implanted in her body, but I also plan to play the long game to catch the big fish. I will take this chance to wipe them all out in one go. It all started not too long ago, when Song Yunshiang was copying the Sao Ren mech. After a data error occurred, he had no choice but to instruct the system to mark the damaged areas. First, he will refine pills to extend great-granduncle's lifespan. Then he will help his right arm regrow. Once he is recovered, the copying can proceed. Meanwhile, on the other side, the maid, Lian Yi, was tidying up Song Yunshiang's room. She worked tirelessly just to make sure Song Yunshiang was satisfied. However, she was mocked by the maid, Ru Lan, who teased her for being a fool and letting Song Yunshiang bully her. Lian Yi blushed with shyness and told Ru Lan not to speak about their young master that way. Yet Ru Lan did not care at all. She teased Lian Yi for being so thoughtful, to even go as far as preparing incense for that useless pervert, Song Yunshiang. Hearing this, Lian Yi immediately countered. Young master is no longer a loser. He can already cultivate normally now. Seeing this, Ru Lan shrugged her shoulders. While she admitted Song Yunshiang was no longer a waste, the fact remained that he was still a total pervert. She did not understand why Lian Yi defended Song Yunshiang so much. Did you forget what happened last year? He even tricked you and Zisu into joining him for a squeaky clean bath. Lian Yi instantly snapped upon hearing that. All right, Sister Ru Lan, please stop talking. Just then the head maid, Qingdai, stepped in to stop their bickering. She immediately scolded them for being so unruly, telling them to hurry up and finish their work. The two of them quickly bowed and complied. Meanwhile, the maid nearby, Zisu, could only think about eating. She had absolutely no heart for working. Naturally, Qingdai saw right through her, but she could not stand Zisu's endless excuses, claiming she had to answer nature's call. Qingdai speechlessly let her leave. Zisu was like a wild horse let off its leash, skipping away as she tried to sneak into the kitchen. She wanted to find something tasty to help her grow faster. Unexpectedly, she bumped into the maid, Su Wen, on the way. She playfully reminded her that Su Wen needed to work hard. Who knew the other girl would look so cold and even just ignore her as she walked away? This made Zisu absolutely furious. She immediately put on the airs of a superior. Let me tell you, if you want to be promoted to a regular in the East Court, you must listen to your seniors. Otherwise, I will send you back to the outer court and let you go back to hauling manure every day. Suddenly, a large hand patted her little head. Zisu turned around in confusion. The person standing there was the very young master she adored. She happily threw herself into Song Yunshiang's arms, only to be met with Song Yunshiang's mock disgust. He even reminded Zisu not to get any snot on his clothes. Meanwhile, Su Wen was coldly staring at Song Yunshiang. She had finally found the target of her mission. However, Song Yunshiang also keenly felt Su Wen's icy gaze, but he did not seem to recall seeing this person in his past life. Looking at Su Wen wearing an apprentice maid's uniform, he could not help but wonder if she was a new recruit. Just then, Zisu's words confirmed his suspicion. Moreover, she did not miss the chance to lecture Su Wen. Song Yunshiang remained vigilant. He immediately ordered the system to scan Su Wen. In an instant, everything about her was completely exposed before his eyes. There really is something fishy going on here. To think she is using a miniature device to mask her mid-stage yellow tear cultivation. Could she be another spy sent by the Milan nation? Just then, Zisu spoke up, interrupting his train of thought. Stop staring, young Master Yunshiang. What is so interesting about that washboard anyway? I have been listening to you very carefully. You know, I have been eating well and working hard to grow my assets. Song Yunshiang broke into a cold sweat. Only now did he realize what a complete scumbag he was in his past life. Upon hearing Song Yunshiang's voice, Liani had already rushed outside the room. She had finally seen him again, the young master who was always on her mind. She felt both excited and shy at the same time. However, the two people behind her wore entirely different expressions. At this moment, Qingdai's heart was filled with shock. She never expected the young master to break through to the early earth tier in less than a year. It was simply unbelievable. Yet Song Yunshiang was equally surprised. He had not expected Qingdai to actually be at the early earth tier as well. In his memory, Qingdai had been serving by his side for a very long time. He could not help but wonder, is this another one of the old man's arrangements? Just a moment ago, he was a handsome and dashing young man. The maids all looked at him with nothing but adoration. But who would have thought a single mask could trigger appearance from the heart? In the blink of an eye, it turned him back into his elderly self from the previous life. This left him feeling momentarily flustered. He had completely lost his usual calm and composed demeanor. It turns out that not long ago, after Song Yanxiang left the underground courtyard, the old marquis immediately instructed steward Mu to start making arrangements. From that moment on, all members and resources of the Song family would be at Song Yanxiang's disposal. Any order from Song Yanxiang must be carried out immediately. Furthermore, they were to operate in the shadows to ensure his safety at all times. Steward Mu understood the intention instantly. That is right. Even the command of the shadow guards was being handed over to him, because the old marquis knew that only by putting the shadow guards in Song Yanxiang's hands could their immense value be truly realized. Meanwhile, Song Yanxiang was being pampered by the maids in his room. This long-lost feeling of luxury felt incredibly refreshing. The extravagant life of a young master, free of worries and cares, made him want to linger in the moment forever. After taking the tea handed over by Zissou and finishing it, Song Yanxiang suddenly remembered something. So he instructed Zissou to carry out a task. That was to keep a constant eye on the movements of that maid, Suwen. At the same time, she had to stay safe and ensure she was not discovered. After giving all the instructions, Song Yanxiang dismissed them to go about their own business. The maids tactfully took their leave. Subsequently, Song Yanxiang took out the wooden box his mother had left for him. The material of the box seemed ordinary enough. Let us open it and see what is actually inside. To his surprise, just as he was about to open it, array runes suddenly flickered into existence. So the wooden box was actually set with a level 3 encryption array. To think it actually needs a password to unlock. Could it be that something precious is stored inside? Why did not the old master tell me the password? Looks like I will have to let the Star-Lord system crack it. With a crisp ding, the system begins the decryption. While waiting, Song Yanxiang suddenly recalls the words the old master once cautioned him with. Your mother once said, humans cannot defy the laws of time. Time itself cannot be traversed, but the chessboard can be reset. All under the star net are but pieces on a board. But no matter how deeply Song Yanxiang ponders, he still does not understand what his mother was hinting at. Before he can gather his thoughts, the system has already cracked 12 sets of passwords. So he begins to enter them one by one. As he inputs the correct code, he suddenly finds the numbers familiar. Yet for the life of him, he can't recall why. As the wooden box clicks open, at the sight of the item inside, he is struck like a bolt from the blue. The star-treading gate. In my past life, after joining the Black Armor Guard, I heard rumors about it. They say the Black Armor Guard has many secret combat techniques related to it. Yet these 3 words are a total taboo within the Black Armor Guard. As for this jade lock, it is quite exquisite. I wonder what its purpose is. Just as Song Yanxiang picks up the mask from the box, unexpectedly, the mask activates on its own. Suddenly, 4 large characters appear on the front. All beings without form, while the back reads, appearance from the heart. This leaves him utterly bewildered, looking at the mask which has no eye holes. Out of curiosity, he puts it on. Little did he expect that in an instant, he would transform into his old age appearance. Song Yanxiang immediately senses something is wrong. Looking at himself in the mirror, not only has the mask on his face vanished, but he has also reverted to his old age form. This leaves him stunned and speechless. What is going on? Has this thing turned me back to square one? But before he can recover from the shock, head maid Qingdai pushes the door open and enters. She unexpectedly stumbles upon Song Yanxiang in his elderly form. Qingdai immediately senses trouble. She quickly draws the dagger from her leg, taking a stance as if facing a formidable foe. Who are you? Where is my young master Yanxiang? Song Yanxiang hurriedly waves his hands. Qingdai, let me explain. Things are not what you think they are. It is clearly just a mask with no holes, yet it allows one's appearance to stem from the heart. The wearer can change their form in an instant. This almost caused a major blunder. It turns out that just moments ago, Steward Mu was bringing the Shadow Guard captains to see Song Yanxiang. Qingdai asked them to wait for a moment, while she went in to announce them to the young master. Who would have thought that as soon as she pushed the door open, she would coincidentally run into Song Yanxiang transformed into an old man. Qingdai quickly reached for the dagger on her leg, looking ready for a life and death struggle. Who the hell are you? Where is my young master Yanxiang? Song Yanxiang hurriedly waved his hands to explain, but Qingdai did not give him the slightest chance. Brandishing her flying dagger, she lunged at him. He had no choice but to sidestep her attack, then grabbed Qingdai's wrist in one smooth motion. He pinned her against the mirror, warning her to calm down. At the same time, he warned Qingdai to calm down. He also warned Qingdai to keep her cool. Who would have thought it would turn out well? Surprisingly, it worked out. Qingdai simply started shouting at the top of her lungs, "Assassin." In the heat of the moment, Song Yunxiang hurriedly covered her mouth. "Qingdai, please do not blame me for this. You were the one who started screaming first. I had no choice but to resort to this." Although he had Qingdai under control, Song Yunxiang was still pondering the matter of turning back into an old man. This mask's appearance from the heart feature. Could it be that it can transform my appearance based on whatever I am thinking? With that thought, he decided to test if it was true. As his mind shifted, he instantly transformed into Qingdai's likeness. At this moment, although Qingdai could not move a muscle, her heart was filled with utter shock. Looking at the reflection in the mirror, Song Yunxiang showed a hint of delight. It really is like that. It can change shape according to my will. No wonder I reverted to my original form earlier. It turns out my inner thoughts were the cause. After hearing Qingdai's cry for help, Steward Mu and the others immediately rushed into Song Yunxiang's room. But by then, Song Yunxiang had already changed back to his original self. He awkwardly signaled to Steward Mu that everything was fine. He claimed he was just messing around with Qingdai. Ma Jinhua immediately gave him a thumbs up in praise. "Young master, you really know how to live it up. You truly are a role model for our generation." Unable to watch any longer, Steward Mu hurriedly cleared his throat. "Your fiancé will also be attending tonight's banquet. Young master, please mind your manners." An annoyed Song Yunxiang immediately stopped his nagging. Meanwhile, Qingdai finally snapped out of her panic. She was about to express her joy when Song Yunxiang cut her off. He also reminded Qingdai that this was a secret between them, not to be known by outsiders. Then he asked Steward Mu what he was looking for him for. Steward Mu did not say it outright, but simply asked him to step into the study for a detailed talk. Song Yunxiang immediately told Qingdai to tidy up the items on his table, then followed Steward Mu to the study. "Uncle Mu, tell me the truth. Qingdai was arranged by my grandfather to protect me, right?" Steward Mu did not deny it. Logically speaking, he was supposed to keep this a secret from Song Yunxiang. But now that the shadow guards must obey Song Yunxiang's command, he had no choice but to tell the truth. Actually, Qingdai belongs to the Song Marquisate Shadow Guards. She is an Earth rank expert from the 3rd unit. Technically, she is my subordinate. The Shadow Guards are divided into 3 units. Each unit has its own duties. They operate independently without interfering with each other. Unit 1 is responsible for direct operations. The old Marquis just issued an order. From now on, you are the sole master of all Shadow Guards. These 2 are the leaders of Unit 1 and Unit 2. After Steward Mu's introduction, Song Yunxiang learned their peculiar names. One is named Gao Gaiga. The other is Ma Jinhua. Before Song Yunxiang could start roasting them, Steward Mu, knowing his temperament, asked him to choose his words carefully. Because both Gao Gaiga and Ma Jinhua were orphans, it was Song Yunxiang's mother who took them in out of kindness. She was also the one who bestowed those names upon them. For this, they are deeply grateful to Song Yunxiang's mother. The origin of those names also holds a deep meaning. They all date back to the super ancient civilization era. Names of the hero and the demon god. Upon hearing about the scheme involving the ultra ancient civilization, Song Yunxiang could not help but feel curious. His mother, of whom he had no memory. What exactly was her true background? Final word on this. Comic author. You are really padding the plot, are not you? Living a second life, he became the hero who turned the tide. For this reason, his grandfather entrusted the family's future to him, hoping he could lead the clan through the coming catastrophe. And he did not refuse, immediately beginning his strategic layout. But upon learning that 2 of his subordinates were orphans adopted by his own mother, Song Yunxiang could not help but recall his parents. In his past life, he had absolutely no memories of them. In his impression, the old master once mentioned that their whereabouts became unknown 16 years ago. Afterward, it was publicly announced that they had passed away in an accident. I was only 2 years old when my parents went missing, which is why I did not retain any memories of them. Add to that my youthful arrogance and wild indulgence. I did not really care about any of it back then. Later, I spent my days drifting and running for my life, having absolutely no time to worry about anything else. Decades of wandering between life and death made me completely forget about them long ago. Could it be that I overlooked something in my past life? Thinking of this, Song Yunxiang turned to ask Steward Mu, "Uncle Mu, about my parents. It was 16 years ago, was not it? Back 16 years ago. You should be very clear about what happened, right?" Song Yunxiang's sudden question, directed toward the steward. Song Yunxiang's abrupt inquiry left Steward Mu momentarily speechless. He had no idea how to respond. Seeing Steward Mu's awkward and conflicted expression, Song Yunxiang immediately recalled his impressions from his past life regarding his parents. They had always been extremely tight-lipped. Song Yunxiang then waved his hand, deciding not to pressure Steward Mu any further. He then told Steward Mu to make arrangements. He wanted to visit the Song family cemetery to pay respects to his parents. Only then did he step out of the study. When Song Yunxiang saw Qingdai waiting respectfully, he immediately turned back to ask Steward Mu if Qingdai was also at his beck and call now. Steward Mu did not deny it, so he signaled Qingdai to come over and greet Song Yunxiang formally. At the same time, he informed Qingdai that from now on, Song Yunxiang is the master of the Song Manor Shadow Guards. Qingdai immediately knelt before Song Yunxiang, reporting that she was an undercover operative, number 28 of the 3rd Shadow Red Unit. Song Yunxiang immediately pulled out a storage card. It must have been tough for you, silently protecting me from the shadows all these years. You have worked hard, Qingdai. Take this pill as a small reward for you. Though it seemed like nothing to Song Yunxiang, the others were so shocked their jaws nearly hit the floor. This was a 5-star Earth Spirit pill. Its value was at least over $1 million. Not to mention it could raise an Earth Realm cultivator by a minor stage, without any side effects. Qingdai was overwhelmed by the favor. Something this precious would be considered a priceless treasure, even within the Tiandu imperial family. Yet Song Yunxiang did not care at all, because he had plenty more where that came from. Now that he needed reliable people, he had to select his best candidates and boost their strength to ensure loyalty. At the same time, Song Yunxiang did not forget to remind Gao Gaiga and the other that as long as they performed well, they would get theirs too. Upon hearing this, they hurriedly knelt to thank him, vowing to serve Song Yunxiang unto death. Wherever his sword points, no enemy shall be left standing. Wherever the sword points, not a single soul remains. Steward Mu feels a deep sense of relief witnessing this scene. He knows that having the Shadow Guards follow Song Yunxiang is the best possible choice. Afterward, Song Yunxiang instructs the 3rd unit of the Shadow Guards to investigate a certain individual. Then, the group begins their journey, heading toward the Song clan's ancestral cemetery. On the way, the driver, Sha Beijo, asks curiously why the gatekeeper Ma San is tagging along. But Ma San gives a completely irrelevant answer. Don't you think the young master has become quite different since his return this time? The two of them then sneak a glance back at Song Yunxiang. At this moment, Song Yunxiang is on a video call with Manager Hong. He hands Manager Hong a list of medicinal ingredients and asks him to find a way to acquire them. When Manager Hong looks over Song Yunxiang's list, he immediately expresses his concern. He has not even heard of several of these herbs before, so he asks Song Yunxiang to wait for a while. He is currently at the Southern Continent headquarters of the Hong Clan Merchant Guild. He needs to consult an alchemy expert. Only then can he give Song Yunxiang a definitive answer. After ending the video call with Song Yunxiang, Manager Hong immediately goes to see the head of the headquarters, and this person is none other than the Hong family's direct lineage successor, Hong Yushui. She is in charge of all Hong Clan Merchant Guild business in the Southern Continent. At this moment, she is looking meaningfully at Song Yunxiang's files. This is indeed quite interesting. She then tells Manager Hong to make arrangements. She wants to personally meet this young marquis of the Song family. She is an assassin trained by a secret organization. At a young age, she became the host of the Chongbu Mech. While she was carrying out a mission, she unexpectedly encountered a strange man. The man not only knew her favorite food was candied haws, but also gave her a storage card. He even said it would be of great use at a critical moment. With these doubts, Asan returns to Taiyuan. After passing the organization's ID verification, Asan drives her flying vehicle through the waterfall to enter the base. But just as she is about to report in, a little girl runs toward her. When the little girl sees her, she bursts into loud tears. This little girl is her junior sister, Sinan. Asan asks Sinan curiously why she is crying so hard. She also asks if she was not supposed to be with their master, going to the northern continent. Why did she suddenly return to Taiyuan? Sinan wipes the tears from her eyes. Master did it to save me. Unexpectedly, we fell into an ambush by the Milan people. She is now lying in the infirmary, hanging on by a thread. Asan is struck as if by a bolt from the blue upon hearing this. She immediately demands Sinan take her to see their master. She demands Sinan take her to see master right away. She does not even care to pick up her hat when it falls off. Meanwhile, the physicians are trying to save Asan's master. They have already performed 12 detoxification tests, but without exception, every single one ended in failure. Just as they are preparing to test again, Asan pushes the door open and rushes in with Sinan. She goes directly to her master's bedside. Asan looks on in utter disbelief. After all, her master is an early heaven-grade powerhouse, the trump card among the Taiyuan assassins. Those who could even wound her master can be counted on one hand. Mistress looks at her beloved disciple and speaks weakly. Is that you, A-san, it is good that you have returned safely. The physician then reports to A-san about her master's condition. Senior mistress's external wounds are no longer a major concern, but there is a strange toxin eroding senior's star soul meridians. When she hears about the erosion of the star soul meridians, A-san is deeply shocked. Could it be that even with Taiyuan's advanced technology, they still can't formulate a proper antidote? Left with no choice, the doctor tells her the hard truth. Currently, they can only rely on filtration technology to block the toxins from invading the brain. But even so, the time they have left to keep trying is running out. This toxin seems to be a new strain, born in this era. Within Taiyuan's vast knowledge base, no corresponding detoxification protocol can be found. In fact, looking solely at the structure of this toxin, the chemical substances are ingeniously linked together using soul force, forming these toxic units. To me, this feels a bit like the signature techniques of an alchemist. However, it is a pity that in the Eastern continent, the development of alchemy has been stagnant. Moreover, alchemy is a craft that requires an alchemist's personal experience and intuition to make critical judgments. Taiyuan's medical AI is struggling to replicate that expertise. Upon learning that an alchemist might have a way to neutralize the poison, A-san immediately recalls the pills that Song Yunxiang gave her earlier. She instantly pulls out that storage card, and with a clatter, pours out every single pill inside. The two doctors are instantly overjoyed. They grab the pills and begin identifying their medicinal properties. Soon, one specific bottle catches the doctor's attention. A doctor quickly uncaps the bottle, sniffs the aroma of the pills, and confirms these white pills could indeed be the cure. The two doctors immediately take the pills for detailed analysis. At this moment, Simam asks A-san out of curiosity. At this moment, Simam asks A-san out of curiosity. At this moment, Simam asks A-san out of curiosity. A-san, sister, how do you have so many pills? You did not happen to rob the Hong Clan Merchant Guild's pharmacy, did you? Hearing this, A-san can't help but break into a cold sweat. How could I possibly have robbed anyone? These were all given to me by a very eccentric man. Before long, the results of the pill analysis come out. The structural units of the pill and the toxin match perfectly. According to the medical AI's calculations, just 3 pills can neutralize the poison in Lady Zan. This leaves A-san unable to stop wondering. Was it just a coincidence that Song Yunxiang gave her those pills? Or did he foresee all of this? Just who exactly is Song Yunxiang? Meanwhile, at the Taiyuan headquarters main hall, the high priest is inquiring about Lady Zan's condition. A subordinate reports that Lady Zan's poison is under control, but she was treated with pills obtained from the target individual by A-san. She immediately pulls up the target's file. Song Yunxiang, a replicated origin star soul general. This is a method only that Great One should be capable of. Could it be that this ordinary-looking male body has already been possessed by that Great One? Why did not you use the vessel I prepared specifically for you? Is it really you? Have you finally returned? Doctor. At the same time, at the Song family cemetery, Song Yunxiang sneezes as if sensing something. Damn it. Which bastard is talking behind my back again? In his past life, he was young, arrogant, and reckless. He had not cared at all about his parents' untimely passing. Later, when the beast tide broke out and his clan was tragically wiped out, he began a life of wandering, constantly running for his life. Through decades of drifting between life and death, he had long since completely forgotten his parents. Now that Song Yunxiang has been reborn back to age 18, he finally realized what he had neglected. So he brought his subordinates to pay respects to his parents, only to be constantly sneezed at by someone's unwanted thoughts. The nosy manhwa immediately spoke up to tease him. Young Master Yunxiang, sneezing does not necessarily mean someone is bad-mouthing you. Maybe there is a young lady out there thinking of you right now. Hearing this, Steward Mew could not help but glare at Majinhua, signaling him to stop talking nonsense. Majinhua had no choice but to purse his lips and whistle a tune. Meanwhile, Song Yunxiang had already confirmed his suspicions. After a thorough system scan, his parents' remains were nowhere to be found in the grave. It was just something the old man put together, a cenotaph to deceive the public eye. Judging solely from that, all beings without form mask, he already knew his parents were no ordinary people. But who exactly were they? What secrets did they take with them when they disappeared? Just then, a light ping was heard. Ma Jinhua immediately opened the video feed. Turns out, he had already found Gosha's profile. This man came from the slums of Yanggun City. He was once in prison for grave robbing. Now, he has formed a group called the White Dragon Gang, proclaiming himself the leader. Their main business is laundering loot for grave robbers. Upon hearing this, Song Yunxiang asked Ma Jinhua directly, "Where is Gosha right now?" An abandoned manor at number 13. dog-beating alley in the north of the city. The guys from Team 2 are already keeping an eye on it. Ma Jinhua replied without hesitation. Song Yunxiang immediately decided to head over and take a look. At the same time, near the tarmac, Ma San and Gao Gaiga were also chatting. Ma San believed Kong Xinxin was up to no good. Now that young Master Yunxiang has had a lucky break, not only repairing his soul meridian, but also seeing a massive surge in his cultivation. There is no longer any need to lay low for the Song family's sake, or marry a wicked woman who has ulterior motives. However, Gao Gaiga felt that the old Marquis would definitely not agree to this, because the old Marquis is simply incapable of such an act of bad faith and broken promises. On second thought, Ma San agreed. However, it was not as if there was not a solution. Young Master Yun Rui from the second master's branch has always had a crush on that Kong Xinxin. At worst, we could just transfer the engagement to the West Wing. Let that silly boy be the one to pick up the leftovers. Little did he know, just as he finished speaking, Song Yunxiang and the others had already arrived at the tarmac. The two tactfully shut up and greeted Song Yunxiang. Shortly after, they began heading towards dog-beating alley in the northern district. On the other side, Gosha's lackey Pao Yazi was carrying a large bag of items into the abandoned manor. Boss, we have hit the jackpot today. Monkey and the guys found a lot of treasures on this run. After saying that, he laid out the treasures from the bundle. With a sycophantic look, he gestured for Gosha to take a look. Gosha looked at the treasures on the ground, feigning deep thought. Elder Du, are you there? Please help me identify which of these items are worth money. Elder Du wasted no time and pointed them out for him directly. Afterward, Gosha told Pao Yazi to keep the ones he pointed out and reject all the others. They would be sold on consignment according to the White Dragon Gang's rules. He would take a 70% cut of the selling price. Moreover, transportation costs and such would have to be fully covered by Monkey and his crew. Hearing this, Pao Yazi was a bit worried. After all, the leader was still withholding a month's worth of payments from Monkey. But Gosha did not care about any of that. The sales channels were in his hands. Right now, his word was law. If Monkey did not behave, he would continue to withhold payment for another month. At this moment, Song Yunxiang and the other were crouching on the roof observing. Ma Jinhua was filled with curiosity. The invisibility array the young master deployed is truly impressive. Not only can it block out sound, it even blocked the soul power fluctuations. This is basically the ultimate tool for infiltration and assassination. At that moment, Song Yunxiang suddenly spoke up. I need to get a bit closer to observe. Ma Jinhua could not help but break into a cold sweat. He worried that getting too close would lead to them being discovered. But before he could even ask, Song Yunxiang had already leapt down from the roof. Left with no choice, he had to quickly follow suit. Meanwhile, Gosha was reclining leisurely in his chair. Elder Du, among these items, is there anything that can boost my cultivation? Upon receiving a negative answer, Gosha did not seem to mind at all. After all, one can't be that lucky every single time. Still, if I flip these items and sell them, making a quick 100,000 or so won't be a problem at all. If I had not been fortunate enough to meet you, Elder Du, a kid like me would not have achieved this much so quickly. By the way, can I really become the host for the Soul General, Cao Ren? After hearing this, Elder Du told Gosha that he could rest easy. As long as they worked together as one, Soul General Cao Ren would naturally be within his grasp. Furthermore, he could already sense that the current host of Cao Ren was about to have his life's flame extinguished. At this moment, Song Yunxiang's heart was filled with suspicion. Why does this Gosha feel so incredibly ordinary? He is completely different from how he was in my past life. Wait, that is not right. Their soul power fluctuations are entirely different. That ring on his hand, the soul power fluctuations it is emitting, are the ones belonging to the person I know. Having been reborn, he had become a monstrous genius. Not only did he repair his defective soul meridians, but his cultivation had also skyrocketed because of it. The pills he refined casually were of master-grade quality. Even the mech design blueprints he drew left the engineers completely awestruck. In order to improve their own design expertise, those engineers would shamelessly beg to be his disciples. Now, the engineer Nanguo Dongfeng, to complete the commission from Principal Gu, was working day and night to rush the mech production. He told his secretary to inform Principal Gu not to worry regarding the technical difficulties of the two test mechs. He would definitely overcome them within 3 days. Subsequent mass production would not be an issue at all. As for yield and production capacity, as long as the materials were supplied on time, they would surely deliver before Song Yunxiang's deadline. Moreover, he had prepared a huge surprise for Song Yunxiang. That was, after staying up all night, he had been constantly thinking about a masterpiece that would blow Song Yunxiang's mind, a masterpiece that would truly dazzle Song Yunxiang. It would possess the defensive power of a heavy armor shield type, while also having the destructive force of bombardment and hazard types. Add to that, the mobility of an aerial strike backpack, combined into the ultimate form of the Wei Yuan mech. He believed that if Song Yanxiang saw this work, no matter what, he would be willing to accept him as an official disciple. On the surface, the secretary was praising how incredible the work was, but internally, she was mocking him. Isn't this just piling every single piece of equipment into one big heap? Even if this could be successfully constructed, the soul power consumption would likely be far beyond what anyone could handle. Nanguo Dongfeng seemed to realize that there was still room for optimization, and so he began muttering to himself again. The nearby students watched him, completely speechless. They then informed Tang Jinshui that the master was working on something very powerful, but the specific details could not be disclosed to outsiders. Tang Jinshui immediately replied that he understood the rules. After all, he was once a member of the forge factory himself. However, if materials were needed for forging, he could provide them. Because his wife's family, he was right in the middle of managing that side of the business. If needed, he could find a way to prioritize the supply. As for the price, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. But the other party said they needed to report to Nanguo Dengfeng first. They would contact him again if there was a need. After that, the video call was abruptly disconnected. This left Tang Jinshui completely bewildered and staring blankly. So he tried to contact someone else, an old classmate from the Tiandu Forging Academy. No matter what, he had to secure this business deal to make his father-in-law acknowledge his business acumen. At the same time, while monitoring Go Sha, Ma Jinhua suddenly received a transmission. He hurriedly reported to Song Yanxiang in a low voice. Young Master Yanxiang, informants from Group 1 say that Miss Kong is currently heading this way. Unbeknownst to him, Song Yanxiang was not listening to a word he said. At this moment, Song Yanxiang was deep in thought. The soul power fluctuations emitting from that ring, that is the Go Sha I recognize. But then, who is this person in this identical shell of Go Sha? Could it be that this Go Sha is the original owner of this body? Ma Jinhua quickly leaned in toward him. Ma Jinhua leaned closer to his side and informed him about Kong Xinxin's arrival. Only then did Song Yanxiang snap back to reality when he saw Kong Xinxin and realized she was only 2 intersections away. Song Yanxiang immediately asked Ma Jinhua how he could be so certain she was coming here. Ma Jinhua had no choice but to answer truthfully. According to earlier intelligence, it seems Miss Kong has some private dealings with this gang leader, Go Sha. But young master, please do not be angry yet. These are all just unverified rumors. Actually, we have moles within the Kong family as well. I will go verify this right away. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang quickly spoke up to stop him. Then, the two of them began to retreat. Before leaving, he took one last look back at Go Sha. That bizarre ring had put him on high alert. So, he instructed Ma Jinhua to arrange for men to keep monitoring the situation. He then handed Ma Jinhua a storage card. Inside were 200 shadow concealment talismans for the stakeout team to use just in case. Upon learning they were shadow concealment talismans, Ma Jinhua was instantly stunned, his jaw dropping in shock. Although these were just simplified versions, they still possessed the effect of concealing one's presence. At the very least, it gave them something to rely on. After thanking Song Yanxiang, Ma Jinhua immediately vanished from Song Yanxiang's sight. Song Yanxiang looked up at the night sky. He knew it was about time to return to the marquisate for the banquet. Meanwhile, at the outer courtyard of the Song Manor, the people from the West Wing were standing in front of the reception hall, just as they saw Song Yunjin returning. Song Yunsho's face filled with mockery. Well, if it is not our eldest sister, Yunjin, how do you have the time today to drop your busy military duties and come back? Don't tell me your budget has run out again and you are back home to beg for more. Although Song Yunsho disliked cultivation and was only at the early Black Realm, she relied on her sharp intellect to control the Song family's external investments. On the other hand, Song Yunjin was the eldest daughter of the first uncle, Song Qing. Her cultivation was at the early Earth Realm. She was the commander-in-chief of the all-female Crimson Transformation Army. Right now, she was looking at Song Yunsho with a look of utter disdain. This kid is the #1 genius of the family. His outstanding talent made him exceptionally arrogant and self-centered. Because of this, he looked down on his brother whose soul meridians were flawed. He was even more disrespectful in the way he addressed his brother. He even jokingly said that if he wanted him to willingly call him brother, then his cultivation level must be higher than his own. Who would have known that this brother is no longer that same person? The reborn Song Yunxiang certainly was not going to indulge him. So, he immediately revealed his early Earth Realm cultivation. But Song Yunchi still refused to accept it. After all, Both of them were at the early Earth stage. Seeing this, Song Yunxiang did not waste any breath on him. He simply took out an Earth Spirit pill and swallowed it. His cultivation instantly broke through to the mid-Earth stage. Unexpectedly, at that moment, Song Yunqi suddenly grabbed Song Yunxiang's leg. He claimed that from now on, Song Yunxiang was his true blood brother. The speed of his change in attitude left Song Yunxiang utterly dumbfounded. You sure know how to give in fast, do not you? But right now, Song Yunqi only had eyes for the pills. He did not care about dignity or who was who anymore. Brother Shang, forget just calling you brother. If you want me to call you grandpa, that is totally up for discussion. Hardly had the words left his mouth when his head was struck by the Marquise's heavy fist. What kind of nonsense are you spouting, you brat? Get up this instant. Well, would not you know it? Song Yunqi did indeed get up, but he immediately clung on to Song Yunxiang instead. Brother Shang, what kind of pill is that? Could you spare your little brother just one to try? Seeing her son lose all his pride for a pill, the first aunt covered her face in speechless embarrassment. Meanwhile, the second aunt fell into deep thought. Just then, Aunt Zhao suddenly spoke up to ask Song Yunxiang, "Nephew Yunxiang, that bottle of pills in your hand, the pills you are holding, could they be the legendary Earth Spirit pills?" Upon realizing they might be 5-star pills, the first aunt looked absolutely incredulous. After all, the entire Whiting Marquisate only possessed a single one, and it had been passed down through generations for 400 years. At this moment, the second aunt was thinking about the recent auction at the Hong Clan Merchant Guild, because the Hong Clan Merchant Guild had recently caught the eye of a certain alchemy grandmaster. Just a batch of 3-star pills was enough to multiply their revenue several times over. As for the value of the pills in Song Yunxiang's hand, it was likely beyond estimation. Seeing Aunt Zhao recognize the pill, Song Yunxiang was quite impressed by her insight. To his surprise, Aunt Zhao even knew the specific effects of the Earth Spirit pill. She had once read an ancient text passed down from her ancestors. In it was recorded that the Earth Spirit pill could elevate an Earth stage expert by a minor realm, and it came with 0 side effects. The only downside was that for everyone, it was only effective upon the first consumption. Right now, the Marquis was considering how to best utilize this bottle of Earth Spirit pills. After all, they could elevate the Song family's core strength to a whole new level. Moved by this, the first aunt suddenly stood up. She knew this was a rare opportunity. If she could secure 1 Earth Spirit pill for each of her 2 children, what did sacrificing a little pride matter? However, although they had not mistreated Song Yunxiang over the years, they were not exactly close either. If she acted overly affectionate now, would she be seen as a shallow person sucking up to power and be looked down upon? Unexpectedly, while the first aunt was hesitating, the second aunt had already taken action. She quickly urged her son to pour tea and apologized to Song Yunxiang. Song Yunqi acted decisively. He snatched the tea set from before the Marquis. In a flash, he was at Song Yunxiang's side. "Brother Shang, please have some tea. I was being immature just now. It was all just mindless talk. I hope you won't take offense, Brother Shang." Seeing Song Yunqi being so sharp-witted, Song Yunxiang told him to behave well from now on. When the time comes, he might give him a little push. Helping him break through to the heaven stage was not out of the question. Song Yunqi was instantly overjoyed. But right at that moment, Song Yunshou and her brother also arrive at the banquet hall. Song Yunshou quickly senses that the atmosphere is off. Strange, how is that little piece of trash sitting in father's seat? Even if the Marquis is incredibly biased toward him, it should not be enough to make mother change her attitude too. Mother never does anything unless there is something in it for her. Why is she being so polite to him? It has practically reached the level of sycophancy. Before Song Yunshou can snap out of her suspicion, Song Yunrui is already hurling insults at Song Yunxiang. Seeing this, she quickly covers Song Yunrui's mouth. She uses the excuse that Song Yunrui is in a bad mood today, and tells Song Yunxiang not to take it to heart. Song Yunxiang does not care about this at all. He just sees Song Yunshou in a new light. Song Yunshou might dislike cultivation, but her mind is incredibly sharp. Her mind is indeed exceptionally bright. She knows how to read the room and when to back down. She is the same breed as that vixen, Dean Jiyu. Unlike that idiot Song Yunrui, he is stubborn, takes everything too seriously, and is extremely competitive. He is stubborn and overly competitive. He works tirelessly just to maintain his genius persona. Too bad he is just Kong Shinxin's lapdog. Because of that, he has always been at odds with Song Yunxiang. In the previous life, he narrowly survived the beast tide. 3 years later, during the decisive battle at Tiandu City, the Black Armor Guards were wiped out. Asan unfortunately perished, and Song Yunxiang, protected by the Empress, fled to Qishui Nation. The two of them met again in the capital of Qishui Nation. At that time, Song Yunrui was hunting someone down. Because of that bastard, the Song family was destroyed during the Beast Tide. An unexpected encounter, followed by a hurried parting. As time passed, they eventually reached a reconciliation. Recalling the bastard Song Yunrui mentioned, Song Yunxiang immediately makes a connection. Could there be a traitor within the direct line of the Song family? Just as he is speculating who that bastard might be, Song Yunjin is already standing before him. If she had not seen the report from the Crimson Transformation Army, Song Yunjin truly would not have believed it. The hero who saved Yuanting City was actually him. Facing a god-tier beast, he stayed calm under pressure, and even led everyone to a safe retreat. Song Yunjin really can't figure him out. Meanwhile, Song Yunxiang is bowing to greet Song Yunjin. In his memory, Song Yunjin was always struggling with budget issues, but her personality made her too proud to talk about money. This anxiety left her very conflicted. Song Yunxiang wants to take this chance to help her out, so he intentionally thanks her for sending a ship to pick him up. Song Yunxiang's move catches her off guard. She then smiles and says it was the Marquise's idea. Catching the hint, the old Marquis immediately tells her to list the combat losses. Then he will reimburse her. Upon learning Song Yunjin came back to settle accounts, Song Yunsho immediately mocks her, but it also lets her see how the wind is blowing. If Big Sister is being this polite to Song Yunxiang, it seems my judgment earlier was correct. Song Yunxiang is likely destined for greatness now. Right now, Song Yunxiang is telling the Marquis that the expenses should be covered by him. Seeing this, the Marquis does not stand on ceremony. The Marquis knows he has made several fortunes lately. A few paltry millions are nothing to him. Song Yunxiang can only scratch his head awkwardly, though he still has tens of millions on hand. He is currently spending money faster than he earns it. Just then, a few more people arrive at the banquet hall. The newcomers are the Marquise's adopted daughter and fourth son. The adopted daughter, Song Shi, is currently in Yangon, serving as the director of instruction at the Mech Martial Preparatory Academy. Her cultivation is at the early earth grade. As for Song Kang, he is a lifelong bachelor who is good at neither pen nor sword, a simple-minded shut-in who lives off his parents. He has always lived in the shadow of his three brothers and the younger generation. He and the previous life Song Yunxiang were two peas in a pod when it came to partying and having fun. At this moment, Song Kang was happily putting his arm around Song Yunxiang's shoulder. He even leaned in and whispered to Song Yunxiang, asking if he wanted to go out for a few drinks tonight. Song Yunxiang held his hand and politely declined with a smile, signaling that they should talk about it later. At the same time, he was sensing Song Kang's true cultivation level. To his surprise, Song Kang was genuinely at the early stage of the black grade. This made Song Yunxiang wonder if he was overthinking things. This man had been born with defective soul meridians, leading not only to discrimination from his family, but also being treated as a nobody by his own fiancée. She had even effectively cheated on him, and now she intended to show up at his door to call off the engagement. Little did she know, he was already prepared. He planned to take this chance to give his fiancée a serious reality check. It turns out that just moments ago, after Song Kang finished making small talk with Song Yunxiang, he immediately invited Song Yunxiang to take a seat with them. Unexpectedly, Song Yunxiang told him that he wanted to sit right next to the old master. So, without wasting any more words, he simply gestured for Song Yunxiang to catch up with him later. Regarding the rumors about Song Kang, Song Yunxiang had heard a thing or two. He was the son of the old master's second wife. His talent was far inferior to his three elder brothers. Nearing 40, his cultivation was still stuck at the early stage of the black grade. His status within the Song family was even lower than Song Yunxiang's in his previous life. As Song Yunxiang prepared to return to his seat, Song Shi enthusiastically and politely greeted him. But in the next second, Song Shi was completely stunned. How is this possible? This kid's cultivation level. Could it be that he has already surpassed me? I can't even tell what his cultivation stage is. Meanwhile, Song Yunxiang waved back at Song Shi, even complimenting her on becoming more and more beautiful. In his previous life, Song Yunxiang never paid much attention to her background. He only knew she was a teacher at the preparatory academy, breaking through to the early earth grade before the age of 30. Her talent was not exactly legendary. It was not exceptionally outstanding, but at least she was stronger than many instructors at the Mech Martial Academy. If neither of them is the problem, then the traitor Yunrui mentioned in the previous life, could it be someone else entirely? Does this guy know who the culprit is? Who exactly is that so-called bastard from the future? Maybe I should just go for it. I will create an opportunity to test him out. But before Song Yunxiang could take action. Song Yunhua suddenly appeared and pounced into his arms. He dotingly patted her head. Song Yunhua was the daughter of Aunt Chu. She had been the closest to Song Yunxiang since they were children. Then Song Yunjiao came over to greet Song Yunxiang as well. Song Yunxiang could only respond with a slightly awkward smile. In his memory, Song Yunjiao was the quiet and reserved type, not exactly the kind of person he was good at talking to. And because Song Yunxiang adored Song Yunhua, he told her to sit right next to him. Surprisingly, Song Yunhua turned him down flat. She even warned him to watch his back and not get slaughtered, because where he was sitting was definitely not a safe spot. The Marquise's face immediately flushed with awkwardness, so he quickly asked everyone to raise their glasses in celebration. Eager to show off, Song Yunqi immediately suggested pouring wine for Song Yunxiang, but just as he was about to pour the wine, Steward Mu hurriedly reminded the Marquis to wait a moment, because the people from the Kong family had not arrived yet. The Marquis then realized he had completely forgotten about them. When Steward Mu suggested sending someone to rush them, unexpectedly, the Marquis waved his hand to stop him. No need to rush them. That kid Kong fan is at least a city lord. We should still show some respect to the Imperial Court's lapdogs. When Song Yunrui heard that Kong Shinshin was coming to the party, he became as excited as if he would just had an adrenaline shot. But he was immediately brought back to earth by Song Yunsho. You would better remember, kid. Kong Shinshin is technically engaged to Song Yunxiang. That makes her your future sister-in-law. Don't lose your cool. Who would have thought Song Yunrui would not listen to a single word? He even claimed that once his cultivation broke through to the earth rank, he would go to the old Marquis and demand to take over the marriage contract for himself. He could not fathom how a parentless, talentless loser like Song Yunxiang could ever be compared to a young genius like him. He believed City Lord Kong would naturally weigh the benefits and choose him. However, despite all that, Song Yunsho was still a bit puzzled. Why were both her younger brother and Song Yunxiang so obsessed with Kong Shinshin? She could see right through Kong Shinshin's manipulative green tea act. Seeing his sister's prejudice against Kong Shinshin, Song Yunrui immediately spoke up to defend her. He even mocked Song Yunsho for being as flat as an airport runway. Song Yunsho instantly saw red. She began to educate Song Yunrui right then and there. The second aunt could only watch helplessly and remind them to mind their manners. Song Yunrui took the chance to make a quick escape. He hurried off to welcome his precious Kong Shinshin. The second aunt was about to call him back, but the old Marquis spoke up, telling her to let him be. At that moment, Qingdai arrived to report to Song Yunxiang. She stated that Ma Jinhua had already uncovered some valuable information. She was currently waiting in the side hall next door. Upon hearing this, Song Yunxiang and the others immediately prepared to head to the side hall. Song Yunqi saw all of this unfolding, so he quietly followed them. He decided to tail them in secret. To his surprise, Qingdai shut the door right in his face. Meanwhile, Ma Jinhua already pulled 3 photos out of her pocket. These were taken by our lookouts in Dog Beating Alley, captured by our spies in the back alleys. Then, she produced a recording device. According to the report from our Shadow Guard group, too, planted within the Kong family, Old Man Kong has already broken through to the heaven rank. Right now, they are planning to recruit Go Sha as a son-in-law. They plan to publicly break off the engagement at the banquet. Old Man Kong even had the nerve to claim that he wants to challenge our Song family's influence. Just now, Kong Shinshin brought her family to secretly observe Go Sha. That is how our lookouts managed to record part of their conversation. When Ma Jinhua turned on the recording, the content was simply unbearable to hear. Everyone's worldviews were instantly shattered by what they heard. The old Marquise's face was now full of mockery. What a joke. He thinks he can flex his muscles against my Song family. Is he trying to kill me with laughter? Yunxiang, how do you plan to handle this matter? If you wish to keep this engagement, our Song family can show a few of our hidden cards. Unexpectedly, Song Yunxiang firmly refused. He had no interest in this marriage contract whatsoever. Calling it off would actually save him a lot of trouble. As for the Song family's hidden cards, there was no need to reveal them yet, but the old Marquis felt that since they are stepping all over our faces, we can't just let them bully us like this, right? However, Song Yunxiang actually had a plan all along. We won't show our hidden cards, but we can certainly play some new ones. Then he reached into his pocket. Gaiga, Jinhua, Qingdai, I am going to help the 3 of you break through to the heaven rank right now. Then we will go and see just how thick Old Man Kong's wrists really are. He was once a self-loathing piece of trash. Because of that, he was looked down upon by his own family. Even his fiancée treated him with utter contempt. Not only did she do outrageous things behind his back, now she is coming to his door to call off the wedding. This infuriated the old Marquis to no end. So he called Song Yanxiang to the side hall to discuss a counter-strategy. He was even willing to reveal his hidden strength, just to stand up for Song Yanxiang. But Song Yanxiang had his own ace up his sleeve. That is to cultivate 3 heaven-tier powerhouses, and then go head-to-head with Kong Fan. At this moment, Song Yunqi was pressed against the door eavesdropping, but an isolation array had long been set up in the side hall. In the end, he heard absolutely nothing but silence. Frustrated, he could do nothing but grumble incessantly. But just then, Song Yunjin suddenly reached out and grabbed his ear. She barked at him to go back and sit down properly. Howling in pain, Song Yunqi had no choice but to yield. Before Song Yunjin could even pull her hand back, a violent surge of soul power erupted from within the side hall. The 2 siblings were instantly stunned, staring in wide-eyed shock. Did you feel that? Those 2 muffled thuds were faint, but they felt exactly like the fluctuations of a heaven-tier breakthrough. Song Yunqi nodded in agreement, because it felt just like when father broke through last time. Seeing Song Yunqi about to blurt something out, Song Yunjin quickly covered his mouth. All of this was witnessed by Song Yunsho. She had already picked up on something from the siblings' behavior. She had already picked up on the clues from them. She noticed the signs from the 2 of them. She suspected it was a surge of soul power, and an extraordinary one at that. Pity her cultivation was too low, so she did not actually sense much of anything. She could not feel the details of the surge. However, it did not stop her. It did not stop her at all. From smelling the sweet scent of money, she could smell a golden opportunity. At this time, Songshi also turned her head toward the side hall. Songshi also looked back at the hall. That aura just now. It felt like the heaven tier, but it did not seem to be father's soul power. The thought alone sent a cold sweat running down her back. Song Kang looked at her with a face full of confusion. He even asked her concernedly if she was all right. She could only force a calm expression and signal that she was fine. Meanwhile, Song Yunqi was so excited he was practically walking on air. I knew brother Yanxiang still had some good stuff hidden away. The commotion of a heaven-tier breakthrough. He must be the one behind it. Sister, you have no idea. Right before you guys showed up, brother Yanxiang swallowed an earth spirit pill right in front of us. Then he broke through from early stage earth tier to mid stage instantly. Song Yunjin was shocked to hear about the earth spirit pill. That is a pill that can save someone 2 or 3 years of bitter cultivation. But then she had a second thought. She still believed Song Yanxiang had the mindset of a pampered young master. Such a precious treasure. And Song Yanxiang just wasted it on a whim just to show off. If he had sold it instead, it would have been enough to cover the Crimson Transformation Army's expenses for months. Just as she was lamenting the waste, Song Yunqi's next words made her jaw drop. She grabbed Song Yunqi and started shaking him violently. What did you say? He has more than one of those rare pills. By now, Song Yunqi was already being shaken until his head spun. Helpless, he could only blurt out that there were about 10 of them. The siblings' exaggerated behavior left Song Yunsho completely baffled. She knew this pair of siblings must have discovered something again. If she wanted to know what was going on, she would have to find a chance to ask mother. Meanwhile, Song Yunjin had completely regained her composure. She knew that as the commander of the Crimson Transformation Army, even if a 5-star pill was worth a fortune, she could not lose face in front of her family over it. But right at that moment, another burst of soul power erupted from the side hall. Song Yunjin and her brother were instantly knocked to the ground. Even the wine flask on the table shattered from the shockwave. The 2 siblings could no longer hide the shock on their faces. In such a short amount of time, 3 waves of heaven-tier auras had burst forth. Song Yunqi thought to himself, if only I had been thick-skinned enough to follow him inside earlier. Wait, did I just break through to the heaven-tier too? Meanwhile, in the side hall, Song Yanxiang is sighing with regret. After all, this array was set up in such a rush. It could only withstand 3 heaven-tier breakthroughs. But for the old Marquis, it is a completely different story. I never expected this kid to be just as skilled in arrays as he is in alchemy. To think a temporary isolation array could be this powerful. At this moment, Qingdai is looking on in utter disbelief. She can't believe her eyes. Breaking through to the heaven tier this quickly. This makes Song Yanxiang sweat a little from embarrassment. Gao Gaiga and Ma Jinhua were already at the peak of the earth tier. They only needed 2 barrier-breaking pills to advance. But Qingdai was only at the early stage of the earth tier. To push Qingdai all the way to the heaven tier, Song Yanxiang practically emptied his entire stash. Upon learning this, Qingdai immediately bows to Song Yanxiang in gratitude. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Qingdai immediately bows to Song Yanxiang. She swears an oath to serve Song Yanxiang until death, wishing only to become the sword in Song Yanxiang's hand, slaying every enemy that dares to cross him. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang immediately takes out a purification talisman. He knows that although Qingdai's natural talent is limited, using external force to shove her into the heaven tier is still a win. He then activates the talisman, enveloping Qingdai. Before long, a brand new Qingdai stands before him, radiating power. By now, Gao Gaiga and Manhwa have finished stabilizing their realms. The power of the heaven tier has Gao Gaiga bursting with energy. Right now, he really wants to find someone to have a good old-fashioned scrap. Meanwhile, Manhwa is walking on air, literally. This sensation feels absolutely surreal to him. Seeing this, Song Yanxiang promptly warns them not to get cocky. After all, the heaven tier is just preschool. The saint tier is where the real game begins. As for their potential, reaching the saint tier should not be a problem. They just need to keep their heads down and play it steady. Suddenly, Ma Jinhua speaks up. I can faintly feel the soul power within me, connecting to somewhere high up in the sky. Hearing this, Song Yanxiang can't help but be shocked. I did not expect Ma Jinhua to actually sense the existence of the star net. It seems his talent for divine sense perception is exceptionally high. I should build him a custom machine later, a mech specialized for sensory reinforcement. As for Gao Gaiga, he seems to be more of the brute force type. I will have to get him a suitable unit when the time comes. To clear Ma Jinhua's confusion, the old Marquis immediately claims that what he is sensing is the heavenly way. Upon hearing this, Ma Jinhua is enlightened. So, it is true that soul power comes from the will of the heavenly way. Seeing that Ma Jinhua has been successfully gaslighted, the old Marquis immediately shoots a look at Song Yanxiang. Song Yanxiang catches on instantly. He knows the old man is worried. If he mentions the starnet now, it will be too much. Using heavenly way as a cover is much more appropriate. At this point, Gao Gaiga asks Song Yanxiang, should we just go grab Kong Fan and give him a good thrashing? Song Yanxiang quickly waves his hand, signaling no. There is no need for a direct conflict with the Kong family yet. We only need them to go out and intimidate Kong Fan a bit. It is best to handle this in a gentle, low-key manner. Ma Jinhua immediately raises his hand, saying he has a plan. They will disguise themselves as guards of the East Wing. Then they will join Qingdai to welcome the Kong family's VIPs. Song Yanxiang thinks this is a great idea. He immediately praises Ma Jinhua's wit. However, Steward Mu worries that showing such strength might bring trouble to the Song family. But the old Marquis thinks it is actually for the best. After all, the Song family has been keeping a low profile for over a decade. It is time to show those people what we are made of. Otherwise, they will just keep mistaking us for a toothless tiger. Meanwhile, at the main gate of the Song family's outer courtyard, Song Yunrui is waiting to welcome the Kong family's VIPs. Just as they are about to greet them, Song Yunrui suddenly senses something is wrong. The newcomers are heaven-tier experts, walking through the air, and yet they are dressed just like the guards from the East Wing.